obviously have some slightly different expectations for the team depending on how we think the end game will end up looking like unless there's some change in the roster or development for those players. But I was just trying to decide like a simple thing, which is how many wins is extra motivation after a terrible season worth, you know? Because there is and there was for the longest time, this like visceral, I'm Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to rip your heart out mentality to things for a while. And so coming off this terrible season, coming off the injury, Andy Reid's creative flow going in the offseason, I would think that it's worth at least a win or two to me. We're going to do this again, and we're going to prove you all wrong again. Mahomes, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. I think it's worth a win to me. Maybe two, depending on the circumstance. So if I think they're a 10-win team, I think they're 11 because of just pure hate. Pure, I'll prove you all wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
I understand. I think there's value in that in sports. There always has been.
Yeah, I don't know if I really buy into that, though, carrying over to another season. You know, I think it's a bigger deal. You get embarrassed in the middle of a season in a particular week.
Oh, okay. And then you can carry that into the follow.
And the next week, you maybe try to prove people wrong. I don't know. I mean, you're a 6-win team last year. You weren't a good football team. You go into this year, yeah, you want to prove that you're better than a 6-win team. But I don't know if that like locks you into an extra win or two. I think what it caused was this offseason for the team, hopefully, and based on some of the staff changes, I would argue it is true, which is to revisit and recognize, okay, we've got some flaws. We've been able to cover it up for multiple years with our Super Bowl runs, but there were some things that needed to be addressed. And we kind of put it off because, well, we were winning a bunch of football games and we were going to Super Bowls. Well, now the bottom fell out on us last year. We were a 6-win football team. I think that's what you kind of say. And if you're Andy Reid, you pivot and you regroup. I think from a front office perspective, how they invested in running back is clearly different than how they've invested in running back the last 3 years. So I think some of their actions in the offseason have done that. I don't know if it necessarily is, all right, you win 6 games, now you're extra motivated and it leads to an extra win. I think the motivation is there, but I don't know if there's an actual win number that you add to it. I just think it causes you to rethink things. It causes you to find a new OC and find a new running back coach, and you know it allows you to now have maybe a good pivot point when you're in the middle of a dynasty. You're just trying to extend it. This causes you to have a little bit of a retool, and that's what I think we've witnessed this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get what you're saying in the sense that I'm never going to be able to prove the number, right?
Sure.
Like, and you're never going to be able to just prove the number. It was worth 5 wins. They went from 6 to 11 out of pure hate. So it is like conceptual in that way, right? So like I understand the idea that it can't prove or disprove anything one way or the other. But what I do think is, I think there is something to, and the Chiefs have been happy to, in a lot of ways, prove people wrong. And this would be the single greatest opportunity to do so in their entire time from a fresh season perspective. I understand there's like they got their ass kicked in the Super Bowl, then they had to go back out and prove it to the rest of the league again motivation. But you made it in the Super Bowl. So some of that had to be, I would say, manufactured. As in you're having to like tell yourself that this is how people feel, but it might not necessarily always be the case. In this case, it is the case. People very seriously question you. They think Denver might be better, or the Ravens. They think you're not going to win the division again, or that your run is over, or that you'll never have another dynasty. And in his history, Patrick Mahomes has been happy to prove people wrong.
For sure.
And to like take it to him. And he does hold that chip on his shoulder as a result of it. And you know, like I think the greats do find motivation in unnatural places sometimes. But when it's free and in their lap, Gold, he's not even going to have to work to find it. They're coming off a 6-win season. He's coming off a major injury. He's not even going to have to try that hard to find that extra motivation to prove everybody wrong in the NFL. And so I think it's worth at least a win, genuinely, is that if I think, and this is how I end up getting to 11 wins versus what we've talked about is, if you made me predict right now, it's like, well, maybe I think they're a 10-win team, and you and I aren't as far apart as you think when you're like, they're 9 or 10. But I'm happy to give them the boost of a win or two just because of that alone in a lot of ways. And so I think it's there. Someone says, I think it'd be worth an extra win or two because, you know, counting on Chris Jones an entire football game instead of this. The funny thing about Chris Jones is his success rate is still way higher. Nobody had an issue with Chris Jones' effort level until they were a bad team. The way that he works, the way that he plays in a game, defensive linemen take snaps off. I'm sorry, that's common.
It does happen, but I think go back even prior to last season, people were still upset because the stats weren't there, right? The sacks weren't there. Even in the year where they went to the Super Bowl against the Eagles, people were starting to talk differently about Chris Jones. Now, you're right. I think last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars game was the one that really kind of set people off. Where he was clearly worn out. This goes back to the personnel problems on the defensive line. They had nobody else to rotate in with him that was effective. He was gassed at the end of the game, and he was just standing there. We went through that whole thing. I mean, that was a big story for that entire week because on that particular play, it looked like he just stopped and thought somebody was going to wrap up Trevor Lawrence, I guess it would have been, in that particular game. And so that was the one where I think it kind of caused fans to get really, really frustrated. And hopefully everybody's rejuvenated, whether it's because of the bad year or just, hey, they finally had a real offseason. I don't know. Maybe that's what they needed in terms of to feel fresh again. I don't know.
They were going deep.
We'll see.
I don't know. Like, we'll have to, this will be a conversation 10 years from now, or when some of these guys are retired, when you get the honest answer. I don't think it's nothing, Gold, that they have played like 20 additional games versus most teams in the NFL over Patrick Mahomes' career.
Got to be a factor.
I mean, the AFC Championship game, at minimum, the Super Bowl 5 times. It's like they've been playing deep into this thing for some time. The idea that Mahomes pretty much, and I know he's got to train and all that other stuff, but the idea that they've been off since like mid-January is crazy. Early January, they've been playing between parades or anything else. They've been busy until March this entire time. Like they're off months early based off the way this schedule has been. So like, look, maybe that's more of a factor than the actual like, we're motivated to prove you all wrong. And they do have a problem in the sense that this is still a huge year. The next 2 years are huge years in the pillar category. We've had that conversation. Mansour Delane Mansour's got to eventually, like, he's got to do it like now. Like he has to become a pillar immediately. And it's a lot to put on a kid, but when you're taking 6th overall, life is life. Because it can't keep going into every year being like, well, Chris Jones can do it all on his own. Or I hope Travis Kelce can do it all on his own. Or Patrick, like, these guys are getting old. At some point, the young crew have got to be George Karlaftis or R. Mason Thomas or any of these other guys they just drafted. They got to become like the everyday we count on you types.
Sure.
Let Chris Jones be counted on 3 out of every 4 games.
The hope is that hopefully, even from a free agent perspective, though, that Tonga, their veteran signing for the Patriots, that he helps Chris Jones, not only be a little fresher there on the interior, but allows him occasionally to bounce outside as well. I mean, that they just did not have anybody else on that defensive line other than Karlaftis and Chris Jones last year. I mean, the interior, Derek Nottie was awful last year for the Chiefs. We've talked about Mike Dana was very disappointing a season ago. Charles Omenihu, kind of was a no-show for them. There are too many pieces that just did not contribute in 2025 on that defensive line that really highlighted some of the other issues and really caused Chris Jones to stand out in a negative way, because it was so easy for teams to focus in on Chris. And then he got frustrated, and it just continued to compound as the year went on.
And then as the season got worse, I'm sure, do you want to guess, Mike? Chris Jones' effort level probably got worse as the season got worse. And you'd be like, well, I don't want my highest level competitors to be like, I don't know, man. Chris Jones has proven it to me. I know he can turn it on when the lights are bright and he is needed. Because I don't go back to that Super Bowl in which they could get zero pressure. The one they were in a couple years ago against Philly. That was Chris Jones. Was supposed to single-handedly? Like, it wasn't effort in that game. It was that they didn't have other pass rushers that could help him. That man's been carrying the defensive line on his back for a couple years now. That's why they drafted Peter Woods and R. Mason Thomas. That's why they took George Karlaftis a couple years ago. And I'll say, Karlaftis has been fine. I don't think he's overpaid. But I would have loved for him to be underpaid, I would love for him to be like, hey, based on defensive line contracts, you could be getting plus value out of this thing. If you could just get 8 to 10 sacks out of the guy. And he hasn't been able to provide that in any way. I do think there's a motivating factor in the sense that you can drive yourself back into like, no, we got to get back to greatness. The problem is like how much of the team now, because of the way they've shifted the roster, how much of even just 2 years ago roster is still left? I mean, some of the wide receivers, certainly, but the defense looks dramatically different than it did from the team who played in the Super Bowl against the Philadelphia
Mainly
Eagles.
in the secondary. Yeah, mainly the secondary.
But the defensive line, it's really just Karlaftis and Jones left.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone else has shifted hands. It's, it's not, not Mike Pennells and Charles Omenihu's and those guys of the world anymore. They've left town. Or Mike Dana's, whoever, right? They've all found new teams. They got to find new motivations and that. But the secondary is quite a bit different. The safeties, the corners, that's all look different. Now, in fairness, the wide receivers, I mean, you all got one chance to prove that you're worth whatever money or contract or anything else you want down the road. Like, I think Worthy, he'll be on the team for 2 years, but he's really got 1 year to prove to the league that he's serious. Because he puts up another 600 yards this year, well then, the league's just going to be like, well, that's who he is. Even if he puts up 900 in the final year, he'll get paid, but not the amount that the league would have done if he had done it 2 years in a row.
Thinking of getting paid, we'll get to a quarterback that got a new deal yesterday and what that just says about the quarterback market. And remember, at some point in time, Patrick Mahomes is going to get a new deal, a new structure of a contract. And so now an updated number with a different quarterback, how that could play a role in that for Patrick Mahomes. But don't forget, as we talk some Royals baseball, this year we have partnered with KCUC, who's donating $50 to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for every home run the boys in blue hit this season. 1 in 8 men will face prostate cancer. Early detection saves lives. And at KCUC, Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team, you see the best in KC. Scheduled today at kcuc.com. Jake Eisenberg is going to join us, as we said, coming up at 10:30 to talk a little bit more about this weekend. Yesterday, I kind of was mentioning, Michael Wacha and how well he's been pitching, and people have brought up, could there be a lot of interest for him closer to the deadline, especially if this season continues the way it is for the Royals as a team. And certainly, yes, I think there will be interest, but he's got multiple years of control. And I briefly just kind of in passing was like, hey, if you do trade him, though, what's your rotation like next year? And so I think if you look at the current pitchers on this team, who do you actually think they could afford to move on from that doesn't jeopardize still a team that, for in large part, next year is going to have a similar core group and will be expected to compete? And I understand they are failing miserably at that right now, 10 games under 500, but this is not as if all of a sudden next year the season is going to be expected that they just it's okay that they're suddenly a 70-win team. No, next year the expectation once again is going to be for them to get this corrected and that they're a playoff team. So no matter how this year ends. So if you move on from somebody like Wacha, knowing that Chris Bubich's contract is done at the end of this year, do you have the pieces to fill 2 vacancies in the rotation next year?
I mean, unless you're big believers in Burgert and Kolek, and I want to point out that Burgert be coming off a massive season-ending injury, in which case we know they handle these things. They'd be very protective over the number of starts he could make.
Yeah, inning limit.
So at best, he's going to be a part-time starter the way it was for Bubich a year ago, and so I can't say that he'd be some huge part of the plan, right? So, it makes it pretty hard for me to assume that he would be a regular part of it. So then I'm down to Kolek, who I could see, right, as a 5th starter, fine.
But if he's your 5, suddenly you're asking Noah Cameron to be what? And the way Noah Cameron's pitching, it's below kind of what you're expecting from a 5th starter,
Well, yeah, it's right at that line, right? Over the last couple of starts, he's closer to being a 5th starter than he was in the early part of the season, but he's still in the French. He pitches tonight, by the way. Look, unless there is some back of their brain part where they think Kudrna coming off an injury, Burgert coming off an injury, and Kudrna hadn't even made it to the big leagues yet. So I just want to point that out.
Way too far away, I think.
It's like, well, at least he was in Double-A versus Kendry Churio and David Shields, who are even further down the list. My answer would be the 4 guys you mentioned and a free agent starter. They'd have to be back into the well. They can only afford to trade Wacha or Lugo if they're willing to get back into free agent starting pitching territory. As in, their starting pitchers would be Cole Reagans, because, again,
he's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere, and the trade value wouldn't dictate him going anywhere. So it just doesn't make sense from a fan base. I think it wouldn't be Wacha and Lugo they trade.
No, my guess is next year, no matter the 2 locks of the rotation, no matter how this year plays out, my guess would be Reagans and Lugo. The question is Wacha in the rotation next year? Because teams are going to call on him at some point. Teams are going to call on him, and are the Royals willing to pivot? He's been awesome for them. You got years of control. He's also not exactly, 28 years old by any means. So, that's an interesting conversation. I just don't know if you can afford to move on from him, because suddenly that rotation is what? Reagans, Lugo, Cameron, Avila, and Kolek?
Yeah.
And Cameron? Like, you feel good about that next year?
No, I'd want a free agent starter if that were the case. And I guess this is still the issue that they're in, because they could become sellers. I mean, it logically makes sense on May 22nd that that's the direction that they're certainly heading. And the easy ones are, you trade your bullpen arms, right? Daniel Lynch or anybody who you think is pitching well for you at that time. Bullpen arms are expendable. They just are. It's life as you know it. They command a higher price tag than the value to your actual team at that moment, especially if you're outside the playoff run. So, okay, fine, you trade your bullpen arms. Maybe you trade away one of your bats who are on an expiring contract. Maybe somebody says, we need a guy who can hit lefties. Congratulations, Lane Thomas is available, right? Those are the easy ones. The
Yeah,
question is,
you're getting,
no, I know, but the question is, and I'm just pointing out like the things that like, those are just moves. The question is, are you willing to make a big move? Are you willing to trade away? Because I'll tell you right now, the conversation of what does your starting rotation look like if you even get rid of one of them gives me deep concern. It does. Because I do think it would be the 4 guys we just mentioned and hoping you hit in free agency again the same way you hit with Waka and Lugo. And maybe you're good at identifying it in free agency. You found certainly those 2 guys. But it doesn't bring me any kind of confidence, Gold, that they would be, like that would hit again or hit at that rate again. Because I'm with you. I think the only 3 locks at this point for the rotation, just based on the numbers, are Noah Cameron, Lugo, and Reagans. I think those are the 3. I think Bubic is almost a 0% chance, and Walker's a 50-50.
And I think for a lot of fans out there, Reagans, when he comes back from this injury, needs to show some signs of being the guy that he was, a year and a half ago. I mean, that's the other part. It's like, he's in the rotation, but also is he going to get back to being the ace, the opening day starter? He hasn't looked as sharp.
How far away is he? Is he getting any closer?
I thought there was an update that he was throwing a bullpen earlier this week.
Yeah, he threw 30 pitches in a bullpen earlier this week, and then he was scheduled to throw again, but I guess I don't know. Just thought I'd check to see if there'd been an update since then, and I don't know. I don't see it. I'm still hoping he's back towards the front end of that. It probably depends on how his arm bounces back over the next couple of days, and if not, we'll ask, JJ Piccolo next Tuesday what he thinks about where he is, at least as it relates to that. And so, I don't know, man. It's just, there are good, I think, over on Twitch, it was put the same way. So it feels like the late 90s were all some good pieces, but a terrible team. That's what I think frustrating about it is like, as a unit, as a 26-man, there are very serious flaws. But there are some, like, really good pieces. So how do you not win? Right? How do you not win with that kind of talent on the team, knowing that you have Bobby and so many others, right? And some of the starters we just talked about, like Waka pitching well. But it just feels like, it doesn't feel like it's come together as a team versus these are just some pieces that are good. You haven't put them, you don't have all the pieces that are good, but you do have some. And so, like, it gets frustrating where, how do you fix it in a single offseason other than just, like we mentioned earlier, throw cash at it? I don't know, man. It's tough. I think we're going to be stuck in a difficult spot, I guess, to say that. You had mentioned, though, there was an extension, not a big one or anything. I don't want to try to, like, overplay it, for Matthew Stafford yesterday in the NFL as he got a $55 million one-year deal with the Los Angeles Rams. Now, as you know, he wanted a pay raise. This gives him the pay raise. It also now ties him through the 2027 season, but with a very low cap number right now that you and I both know would have to be raised if he wants to come back. The way I view this is he's not going to play at $10 million next year.
Yeah, right now.
And instead, they're just negotiating the money in a way where, like, we have your rights, and then we can talk about whether or not you want to come back and play football for us next year. But they just drafted a quarterback. How long are they planning on benching Ty Simpson for?
Yeah, but Ty Simpson, there's a real chance he never starts for the Rams unless something terribly goes wrong with Matthew Stafford this year. Or, look, if the Rams go and win the Super Bowl, they're Super Bowl favorites. If they win the Super Bowl, you could see Matthew Stafford just riding off in the sunset and saying, all right, I got my second ring, right? And now I don't need to do anything. I've submitted my case of what my legacy is. I've got my ring. I'm out. I could still see that. But for this year, you're right. $55 million cap hit, it looks like. And then it's only 9 point something million in 2027 for Stafford, the way they structured it with some void years on the back end of, I think, 3 void years, actually. This was probably something that the Rams and Stafford knew they were going to have to get done this offseason. I don't think this is probably something they've been working on for a while. It sets it up. The minute that he announced at the NFL Honors that he's returning for another year, this was probably something that they had already addressed and felt like this was where they were going to go. They've probably just been waiting to get this thing finalized. So, yeah, Matthew Stafford, this is, I think this is his last year. So it's more about getting him his money this year. I especially believe if they get to a Super Bowl, then he's done after the 2026 season.
Yeah, I think that's probably true, but he comes up short. He's probably going to take another ride at it and continue to try to find one more Super Bowl win because that would get him up into the 2 category, which is obviously different than a lot of other quarterbacks. There aren't that many there's not as many multi-Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. I think it's less than 15.
It'd be perfection for them, right? The Rams, the Super Bowl this year, for those that don't know, it's at SoFi Stadium. So Stafford wins a Super Bowl in his home stadium
for the
in
second
LA.
Time it would have been.
That's true, yeah, because against Cincinnati, I guess. Yeah.
That was in SoFi.
So
it is always kind of weird that that's happened. That didn't happen forever for a gajillion years. And it's happened twice in the last decade. The Chiefs game against Tampa Bay was in their home stadium.
True.
And then, of course, the Rams won their Super Bowl. And both home teams won. I'll tell you right now, if it happens 4 or 5 times and the home teams are 4-5-0, people are going to start complaining. Like, the hell?
Well, it is,
Now,
it
look,
is
I
what
hope,
it is.
I hope Kansas City gets the Super Bowl and that Patrick Mahomes is playing in it. Sounds good to me.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to complain if that takes place. It's also just a risk, you know. And let's be honest, most of the Super Bowls in Miami and Phoenix and New Orleans anyway, and those teams are never winning Super Bowls.
I was going to say, you just need to go back to those places where the teams aren't winning like that.
Yeah,
like,
the rotation,
like
the,
Nashville and
the,
Titans,
the rotation right now is mainly SoFi, Allegiant, and Vegas, and then New Orleans down in with the Saints. And as you said, the Saints and the Raiders aren't necessarily doing anything.
I'm convinced that part of the reason Miami and Arizona do not win Super Bowls and go to Super Bowls so infrequently since, like, you know, the 80s, it's like too nice. Life's too good. You're a millionaire on a beach. You can't be motivated to be like a Super Bowl championship caliber team. Too much work.
You're saying like the nightlife.
Yeah, but they don't all live. They don't all live there, though. They don't all live
They
there.
live there for half the year.
Yeah, but they don't. It's not like you know.
Vegas, too much fun. Go out, get nice food. Too busy.
Yeah.
I can't be bothering winning Super Bowls if I live in
If
Vegas.
you're in Miami, though,
Why is
you're
it
just
that all
living
the
in
Super Bowl
Miami.
cities have the worst run teams?
Yeah, there's a lot. That's
what
just
is-
a
what is the-
coincidence. That's just a
That's a
coincidence.
weird coincidence.
The Raiders also were crappy when they left Oakland to go to Vegas. They've been crappy for a while anyway.
Sure,
It has
they
nothing,
were
it has
crappy,
nothing
but-
to do with Vegas.
They were crappy
Arizona,
about
I don't know what
the
to tell you. I mean, Arizona was at least in the Super Bowl in the last 15 years or 20
What was that
years.
Kurt Warner?
Yeah,
year
against the
was?
Steelers,
Yeah.
right?
They made it to the-
that was the Steelers Super Bowl against them, I believe. Miami, I don't know what to tell you. They have the Dolphins since Dan Marino haven't been all that relevant. So,
I mean, they only went to one with him.
right?
Falcons haven't been that relevant outside of that one that they went to with Matt Ryan.
Yeah, you mean the 28-3? Yeah, that one. Yeah.
They went to the one,
Yeah,
though.
the one that they had in the bag and blew it. Yes, that one.
Why is it? Why is it that the common LA is the only argument for? They've got the one Super Bowl, but it's not like they weren't exactly murderers row for that stretch of time either. I'm just trying to figure out why is it that some of the worst run franchises are the most common Super Bowl cities? Why? Someone explain to me why those are. And now, in fairness, New Orleans had a run with Drew Brees. They went to one. They only go to the one with him.
They only won
They
one.
went to two.
They only won the
They
one.
went to two. Okay, I couldn't remember.
I
They
forget
won
who they
the-
lost to in the other one.
They won the one where, of course, Sean Payton right away had the onside kick to start the game, right?
Yep.
Against the Colts.
Okay. Just a theory.
No, it's interesting. I hear you. It's definitely happened. I don't think, to me, it's like those guys can all go out to nice restaurants in any city that they live in and anywhere they're at. And
almost
if
like
they
the
want to go
owners are
visit
too
Miami,
busy.
they can go visit Miami in
It
the offseason.
works in the opposite way. If it's just a miserable city, you're never good at any either, too. If you're going to live in Cleveland, you're like, the hell
Based
with
on
this.
your logic, now in their franchise history, they have won a ton. But recently, then how come the Packers aren't going to Super Bowls every year? I mean, it's Milwaukee, it's Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's not exactly like there's a ton of nightlife there, Cody.
Same. It's the opposite problem. You got to have like a medium
Oh,
amount
okay.
of nightlife.
All right.
You know?
Somebody
Okay.
suggesting the owners are
Medium
too
amount.
busy.
The owners are too busy. Well, you left off the last part of the text. right?
I mean, yeah.
It says heading out to South Beach and chasing women.
No, I didn't say that. It said owners are too busy chasing women with BBL. That's
Okay.
what the text line said.
That's very
That could have been a
specific.
reference to Miami, I suppose. I haven't been to South Beach.
There was a trash of the day we didn't get to yesterday. That was actually about that. This woman that makes, what was it, $7,000 or $10,000 an hour or a minute or something
something like
something
that. I don't
crazy like
remember the
that.
number
She
now.
spent $7,000 on a butt lift, and now she's an OnlyFans model, and she makes like $10,000 an hour or something.
Good for her.
Crazy on OnlyFans. Yeah. Cody says good for her. Okay.
Get your cash.
Up next, let's get back into the Royals some more. Jake Eisenberg, off day yesterday for him. He's back at it on the call tonight as the Mariners are in town. Let's ask him, where has it all gone wrong so far for the Royals?
BBL Stinky.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
At Liberty Mutual, we love helping people with things like customizing car insurance, just like how we customize a song for you. Catered country tune. Liberty Mutual, saving you bucks by protecting your truck. 'Cause Birdie told me to only pay for what I need. Thank you, Limu, for always trusting Limu with Liberty, 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 Liberty.
Memorial Day's almost here, and I've got a better plan than sweating in the kitchen or over the grill. I'm letting Hy-Vee handle all of the food. I'm ordering my party trays right through the Hy-Vee app. Whether I want custom builds or their huge grab-and-go selection like charcuterie, wings, seafood, sandwiches, or smoked meat, it's all there. A quick stop at their massive wine and spirits department, and I'm done. One convenient stop for the perfect party. So this Memorial Day, let Hy-Vee handle everything, from the food to the beverages, only at Hy-Vee.
If the high cost of filling up is weighing you down, lighten your load this Memorial Day at Hy-Vee. Save 25 cents per gallon on fuel with every $35 purchase. Stock up on groceries and stack up the fuel savings. Earn 25 cents per gallon with your $35 purchase, 50 cents per gallon with a $70 purchase, and so on. The more you spend, the more you'll save. Your next fill-up could be free. Don't miss the Memorial Day Fuel Saver event Monday, May 25th, only at Hy-Vee.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-535-1301. 800-535-1301. 800-535-1301.
J. Rieger & Co. Oh, so good. Quality crafted in Kansas City. J. Rieger & Co. Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Winner of Best Craft Bourbon at the 2025 Ascot Awards. At 90 proof, it's rich, well-balanced, and oh, so good. Quality crafted in Kansas City.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Rob Brennan. We hope you're enjoying Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's biggest sporting event. It's presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. New episodes released every Wednesday on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
So you might have heard the morning show talking about it as well. Cody just went over to the company kitchen area during the break.
Can confirm.
And you confirmed it. There's a half-eaten sandwich still sitting there, correct?
Yeah.
And the theory around the office is that it belongs to someone that has done this before in studio, someone that we actually called up live on the air, I don't know, a month or two ago because there was some food left in the studio. Now there was no food left in the studio. Now it's just left in the company kitchen area. And we think it is
Logan.
Again.
I assume he's left having food twice.
Who just takes a bite or two of a sandwich and just leaves it and doesn't think that, hey, I should finish said sandwich or just throw it out?
We used to do interventions.
At least throw it away if you're done. At least throw it away.
We used to do interventions on this show. We might need to bring it back for Logan.
Yeah.
You gotta either get rid of the food or stop eating at work.
Just finish the sandwich. I mean, was it a good looking sandwich before? Do you know? Like, does it look like it would have been good?
No, it just looked like
homemade, or was it?
It just looked like from the company kitchen area, wheat bread, cheese,
so
and
we have
turkey.
Sandwich Gate at the Odyssey
It's not gate.
Yeah,
Logan
no,
just keeps
honestly,
leaving food
kitchen.
out. He wants us to have rats or something in the building.
Okay.
I don't get it. I mean, my guess is let's welcome in Jake Eisenberg from
Quite the lead-in for Jake.
from the Royals. We'll get to that in a second. I have to start with this topic. My guess is Jake Eisenberg, who travels with a lot of people and ever. There's someone I'm sure that they travel with that does something, but everybody's eating their food or at least throwing it away. I would presume, right?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Someone's just leaving food around that building.
What are you asking?
Okay, well, Logan, who hosts nights here at the station.
I need some context.
Okay,
That's fair.
Logan, who hosts nights at this station, has a history of leaving food in the studio, or in this case, in our company kitchen, there's a half-eaten sandwich that's been sitting there clearly since last night when he was hosting because there was no Royals game. We're just trying to figure out how is this happening on a regular basis.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. Come on, Logan, clean it up.
Do you ever eat during the broadcast, or are you no food for the 3 hours?
No, I'll usually have maybe a snack or two, depending upon the inning and how the game is going, and also what my hunger level is. Like I've got, like a thing of cashews with me, or sometimes we'll sneak into the press room and get some popcorn. That's always nice. It's kind of frowned upon from a broadcast perspective. Popcorn's not a great
that's true.
broadcast food because it kind of gets caught in your throat a little bit sometimes. But I do it anyway.
You know what? Rule breaker. Look at you. You like to live on the edge, Jake.
That's me. I'm a broadcaster on the edge. Popcorn in the booth.
I hope you wear a leather jacket tonight when you wear it, look real tough.
Yeah, I'm gonna grease my hair back.
Perfect.
Just for you guys.
You should. You
the
should
bad
do that.
boy of Royals play-by-play,
Yeah, Jake Eisenberg. What did you don't maybe you don't want to share, but what the off day for you? What do you do on an off day?
So what I do on an off day is honestly try to get my feet back under me, hit the reset button at home a little bit. We hadn't had a full off day at home without travel, I think, in about a month. And this is a little bit more information than you need, but actually we were going to have some friends come to town and stay with us for the weekend and get to, hang out with them. A friend of mine from high school and his wife were coming in, but there was a sinkhole at the airport in LaGuardia in New York.
Yes.
And so their flights were canceled and they couldn't get rebooked because of this sinkhole at the airport, which honestly sounds like a made up excuse. And if I couldn't confirm it myself, I would have thought that my buddy Dan was coming up with some Curb Your Enthusiasm bit. But no, there was actually a sinkhole at the airport. So we had planned yesterday to spend the entire day with them and take them around Kansas City and get some barbecue and go out to dinner. So we wound up calling an audible, and instead my wife and I went to Nebraska Furniture Mart and got a couch.
Oh, hey, all right.
Mission accomplished, Jake. When we talk
mission accomplished.
If if you're Q, sometimes it's sometimes you don't say things every time. Sometimes it's a long season. It's not a requirement to constantly give 1,000 mini speeches. But you had to have told the team to treat yesterday as like a mental reset, the way you're talking about forget everything that took place for a minute. And try to come back on Friday like the season started anew. They give Vinny the day off on Wednesday. I feel like that has to be the mentality or the way they're trying to let the team come into Friday. As in, nothing's happened up to this point, and let's just start from today.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. Look, I don't know that Q even needs to say that to the guys. I think these guys understand the ebbs and flows of a season and what hitting the reset button means. And I can tell you personally that yesterday, for me, was hitting the reset button in a lot of different aspects, not just baseball, but also, cleaning up some stuff around the house and just feeling a little more centered. Again, it was our first full off day in Kansas City in a month. And so there's a lot going on, with travel days and off days here, there, and everywhere. I'm sure there are some guys who took the entire day and did nothing baseball related, as they should, just to hit the reset button and kind of flip the switch. I'm sure there are some guys that still did some baseball activities because that's what they felt was important to do in one way or another. But I do think that it's fair to say that coming into the ballpark today and coming into this series, that there's got to be a mentality of, okay, those first 50 games that happened, they happened. Can't change those. You got to focus on the next, 112 games that are left, because there's still 112 games left. And, you can either let the first 50 games define you, or you can let the next 112 games define you, and you can continue to go one game at a time, one day at a time. You can't go back and beat the Red Sox 3 times from earlier this week. All you can do is beat the Mariners tonight and then try to beat them tomorrow. And Now, I do think as much as that message can be difficult to sustain or hear because it is the same message today, focus on today. And yes, the results do matter because this is a results-based game. Again, you can only control what you can control, and the only thing you can control is your effort today and how you play against your opponent today and how I broadcast tonight's game. I can't go back and correct some of the stupid things I said on the air, a few days ago or last week or what have you. Do they bother me? Sure, but I can't let those things affect the way that I'm going to call tonight's game. And I'd imagine that also transfers to, what happens on the field. Just because you struck out or flied out in a big spot on Monday or Tuesday doesn't mean that that's going to carry over into tonight.
We're talking to Jake Eisenberg here on 96.5 The Fan. Look, this team is 20-30. It's the lowest point of the season. I know we all hope this is as low as it gets, sitting 10 games under 500. Where do you, I'm sure there's a lot of reasons for it, but where has it gone wrong for this team?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's one big answer. And frankly, I think if there was one big answer or one easy answer, then, somebody much smarter than me would have already figured it out, obviously. I think it has to do with a lot of little things overall that kind of just crop up over time. It does feel in some ways like there have been points where the starting pitching's been great, but the offense hasn't necessarily come through. Or the offense has had a really good week, but the rotation had a couple of rough starts, a couple of turns through the rotation. The bullpen struggled to begin the season. Then they turned it around and were great. Now they're back to a point where they're working with some very slim margins. And so even if they give up one run over the course of 4 innings or one run over the course of 5 innings, that one run gets magnified, like it did the other night with the home run allowed to Jarren Duran. If the Royals are up 6-2 at that point and Duran hits a 2-run homer, yeah, you're bummed about the home run, but you're still winning by 2, right? So I think it's a matter of just not everything clicking at the same time, which does feel in some ways to what we experienced last year, where the different parts of the team were really good individually, but it didn't always come together all at the same time. And then I think you could point to just some of the little things. This is a team that has prided itself on doing the little things. They do take the extra base really well. They take the extra base above average in baseball. Sometimes that aggressiveness comes back to bite you, and especially comes back to haunt you in those close games where you try to take that extra 90 feet and you come up short, or you get thrown out here, you get thrown out there. Then there's, hitting with runners in scoring position, which is always going to be something that you focus on, even if it is sort of a random nebulous thing that's hard to pin down why it's good some days and why it's bad other days. The Royals have been great, in terms of sacrifice fly, the most sacrifice flies, I think, in baseball right now, if I'm not mistaken. But in other situations, it feels like there's a leadoff double or a couple of guys on to start an inning, and it's hard to manufacture that one run. That was certainly the case the other night, too. So I don't think it's one big answer. I think it's a bunch of little things that seem to pop up here or pop up there, and it just hasn't all come together at the same time.
Noah Cameron on the mound tonight. His last outing was a quality start. Still not scoreless or 1 or 2 runs like maybe he would prefer, but what did you see anything in his last start that makes you think maybe it's a little bit more repeatable versus where his season has started a bit rocky?
Yes, I mean, I talked to Noah the other day, and we've talked after a couple of his starts, but for him, first pitch strikes is such a key. And when he gets ahead in the count, he is a completely different pitcher. Now, that's true for all pitchers, but his splits ahead in the count versus behind in the count are pretty extreme. And so getting that first pitch strike is really important. He did an excellent job of that against the Cardinals this past weekend, not just getting ahead in the count, but also inducing some weak contact and being efficient. It was 6 innings. He only threw 82 pitches. So it was a really efficient 6 innings, too. And yes, he gave up 3 runs on 5 hits, but what stood out to me was 0 walks for the first time in a start this season. So he was getting ahead and staying ahead and not giving up 3 base runners. That is something that is sustainable. He's also made some adjustments mechanically with his arm angle, which had dropped a little bit, and that had changed some of the movement on the slider and made it less effective. By raising that arm angle back up, the slider's a little bit more effective. It's helped his changeup, too. We saw that in his last start also. So there were a lot of good things under the surface from that last start, in addition to the final numbers, which was a quality start.
Lastly for you, Jake, just the Mariners coming into town, just what should we expect from them, and what stood out? The Royals faced them, a month ago, I guess?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different Mariners team than the group that the Royals faced a month ago. Cal Raleigh is on the injured list. Brendan Donovan is still on the injured list. Victor Robles has been on the injured list all season. Gabe Spire, former Royal, he's also on the injured list right now. So this is a pretty banged-up Mariners team that has some of the same parts that the Royals saw a month ago. One big new piece is Colt Emerson, who was their first-round pick from a couple of years ago. He made his Major League debut this past weekend, called up from AAA Tacoma. He's someone that the Mariners gave a multi-year extension to before he made his big league debut. He is their shortstop of the future, and it sounds like he's going to be their everyday shortstop while Donovan is on the injured list, and it sounds like J.P. Crawford is going to more play third base in the interim, although that hasn't exactly happened yet. That just seems to be the way that they're talking about it. So it's a little bit of a different team. You know, they've also got guys like Patrick Wisdom that they called up from AAA. He had been on the injured list. Expect to see Rob Refsnyder in the lineup, Connor Joe in the lineup tonight. They're right-handed bats that they use off the bench. And then the bullpen's really interesting right now because they got Bryce Miller back from an injury, and Luis Castillo, La Piedra, the Rock, is pitching out of the bullpen for the first time, I think, in his career. He threw 54 pitches or something like that this past Tuesday. So it'll be interesting to see how they navigate their bullpen now, with Munoz still at the back end, and Ferrer's a big piece for them. But it's a Mariners team that's definitely banged up. They're 3 games under 500. There are very few teams in the American League that have separated themselves quite yet. You know, as tough of a stretch as it's been for the Royals, losing 9 of 10, they're still one of, let's see, I'm looking at the standings right now, one of 7 teams in the American League wildcard picture that's within 4.5 games of each other. So it's still pretty compact, and that's one of the things that gives you, you know, some hope and some optimism for these next 112 games that, yeah, the first 50 weren't great, but the first 50 weren't great for a lot of teams. And it's which team can now turn the page to kind of the second third of the season.
Well, be careful with the popcorn tonight, all right? Be careful if you're going to, grab some kernels in the 5th inning or something like that.
Well, so I'm on TV this weekend with Jeremy Guthrie. He is a popcorn expert, so I'm in safe hands with Jay Guts on the popcorn side of things.
We'll have to have him on the show. I need to know what being a popcorn expert actually entails.
I'll tell you what, you know, everywhere we go, he manages to find, I swear, the biggest bag of popcorn you could ever conceive. I remember, last year, I think we were in Sacramento, and they had some, you know, ballpark popcorn in like these giant bags, and it was left over, and no one was going to take it. And they were like, "Do you want it?" And he was like, "Sure." And he brought it on the plane with us. I mean, he just loves popcorn, and that's great. Like I love popcorn too. It's a great snack. You just got to be careful with it. But we're a daring group over here on the Royals Radio Network and on Royals TV.
All right, man. Have a good call throughout the weekend.
All right. Thanks, guys.
There you go. That's Jake Eisenberg, as you heard there. He's going to be on TV for Royals TV throughout the week. And you, of course, always hear him on Fridays here on 96.5 The Fan. And throughout the season, you'll hear him broadcast games on 96.5 The Fan as well. Yeah, popcorn. I mean, it is an all-time snack.
It feels like
it's a top-tier snack. Yeah.
It feels like to be a connoisseur of that, you need to try. You need to have I expect. If you're a
you got to go
connoisseur,
beyond the Topsies try flavor blends. You got to be.
I'll go for a little kettle corn in the right spot, though. Not always. You got to be in the right mood for kettle corn, though. I don't like what's the cinnamon or not the cinnamon.
There's the cinnamon kind.
I don't like that. Just give me the light butter or kettle corn, and I'm happy.
If you're a popcorn connoisseur, though, you need to have those the popcorn tins that have the 4 different
that's
things of popcorn
Topsies.
during Christmas
I
time.
like the cheese kind. I like the regular kind, just lightly buttered. Kettle, it feels like I want to be doing something outside, carnival-y.
Yeah.
I want to be in an amusement park or like
not on your
like,
couch.
No, it's a time and place. It's a time and place thing. I swear to you, we got my kid a popcorn popper for Christmas. Nice. It was maybe his favorite gift. He just throws in the kernels and gets.
Yeah, who doesn't like popcorn? Popcorn's a great snack.
Just a dangerous one if you're going to be on the air. That's all.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, we have some popcorn in the company kitchen over there sometimes.
You can have half a sandwich.
Yeah.
How much does someone have to pay to take a big bite of that thing?
Do we know that that's Jake, or do we know that that's Logan's?
No, we need to call him up again. Is what we need to do.
So we don't know, but we're assuming based on previous.
Yes, I was told the morning show put spec on the case.
Yeah,
like he was doing some investigation work.
It's kind of out of hand that much. We've included the boss in this. Then
the morning show got the boss involved. Yeah,
that wasn't us.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we will get back to the Royals, talk more about Jack Caglione and also something that an NFL team eliminated from their facility, and it's kind of funny to see that it's being discussed as much as it is. But yesterday, towards the end of the show, I kind of mentioned, as we were discussing Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, hey, as we get to training camp, there's always going to be projections out there for individual players. And I saw the first one came out for those that play fantasy football. And I don't want to talk about your fantasy football team. It's a site that gave us some projected stats for a couple Chiefs players. And based on how we've talked about some of these guys, are these numbers you would lock in or not right now? So Sleeper Sleeper is the fantasy site that a lot of people use now. Sleeper HQ put out their 2026 projections. I want to start with the wide receivers because that's a little more interesting than talk about some of these other guys. So let's start with Rashee Rice. We all know the circumstances around him. They project him as the 17th best wide receiver this year.
In fantasy?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
77 catches, 849 yards, and 6 touchdowns. You know that I'm not locking that in because I think he's going to have a much better year than that. Would you lock that in?
This is the knucklehead price to lock in.
17th in fantasy.
He was still 17th with.
Yeah.
It feels like that's low for
6 touchdowns. Maybe helped him out a little bit, but
there were probably like 15 guys who had 1,000 yards last year, so that's probably like you're the guy just outside the line. Plus, Drew, everyone's number. They're not going to have 15 guys projected at 1,000 just because they had 15 guys who had that number last year.
I would not lock that number in, though. I mean, maybe it's crazy that I told you I think he could have 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns. I'm not saying it has to be that to lock it in. If it was 1,000 and 5 touchdowns, I would lock that in. I'm not locking in 849 yards and 6 touchdowns. I think he needs to have a bigger year than that for this football team to have the year that everybody thinks they're going to have.
Because the NFL hasn't technically cleared him.
Okay.
From possible suspension, I'd take it.
Right.
Like I'll just say because of that. If you told me for sure, Gold, he's not getting suspended, and I think it's still a low chance, but a chance.
Okay.
If you told me for sure he's not getting suspended, I'll roll the dice. You tell me I don't know whether or not he's getting suspended, I'll just take the 850 and 6. It's better than I've gotten each of the last 2 years. Right near his rookie year numbers where he had like 950. So like I'd probably take it in the sense that it's better than the floor part.
Okay.
Okay, what's next?
Xavier Worthy.
Okay.
They have him listed. This is from Sleeper, just fantasy football projections. Wide receiver 52,
okay,
which is 55 catches, 695 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Sold. This is an easy one, in my opinion.
So,
you got to be pretty high on Xavier Worthy not to just take the 700
So
yards.
I should lock that in. I guess the only reason why, if talking about the type of season, if you tell me that we're locking in Rice at 849, and you're locking in Worthy
then I'm selling myself short.
and
That's fair.
you're locking in Worthy at 695, and I'm about to tell you where Travis Kelce's projection is, then you should be very concerned about the
it's
offense.
only like 1,500 yards that Mahomes
That's
throwing,
what I'm saying.
It doesn't make sense.
Then and I'll get to Mahomes' projected yards in a second. There's it's much more than that. But yeah, I'm just saying if you look at all these projections, if we're locking in all these, and you're thinking this offense, you're thinking this offense is not actually taking a step forward unless you believe Kenneth Walker's just going to have an unbelievable season.
It's hard.
So Worthy on its own, without knowing the other numbers for Rice or Kelsey, which I have in front of me. Yes, I would lock in Worthy at 695 because I think he's a 750-ish.
But that's because that'd be if you were penciling in Rashee for the 1,000 or whatever you think.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's Travis Kelce's number? Because I've locked in 2 already, so that can't be good.
They list on a projected fantasy number tight end 25.
Okay, I can already tell I'm passing on this number.
67 catches, 680 and 5 touchdowns.
Do you know how much money
He's
I've
still
made?
25th.
Like I'm just
telling you what they have. Yeah.
I am not.
I know, right? That doesn't. How many tight ends do they have? I mean, that seems kind of.
I'll just tell you right now. I'm not trying to claim to be the world's greatest gambler. I'm telling you right now. I have, however, 4 consecutive years made money on Travis Kelce's over on his yardage total every single year. So I don't ever sell on Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce tight end 25 is insane.
Less than 700 yards. You thought his season was ass last year. He went for 850. A full 150
he was the only guy they were throwing to. That's the only.
I don't care. No, Drew, he has never had a receiving season under 800 yards in his career since his rookie season in which he played. But who's he? He actually has less competition this year, genuinely. Because last year, at least they had Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, and at some point Rice was back and Worthy. They only go 3 deep this season. He borderline has less people getting in his way for targets.
I don't know if I agree with that.
No,
I don't agree with that.
I get why you're saying he had 800 last year, but I think we can all agree if Xavier Worthy was healthy all of last year, Travis Kelce is not getting 800 yards last year even.
It's the target part of it is what. Now, I don't have the full list of the other 24 tight ends in front of me, according to Sleeper, so I would love to know, like, if he had 10 more yards, would that automatically bump him to 10? You know what I mean? How close is the gap? To get from 25 to 12, is it only like 70 more yards? I don't know. My guess is it's something like that, because otherwise it's crazy.
And it could be the touchdowns that's hurting him there.
I think Travis. I also think Travis will have over 700 yards, and I think this projection is low. But I told you, I think his targets need to be significantly decreased from a year ago. And I don't know if I agree with what you were saying about there's only 3 guys and less in the mix. You mentioned there's no Hollywood Brown, there's no Juju. I disagree with that because, one, what Drew said, which is Xavier Worthy was not healthy all year. I do think that changed their thought process. And then the next guy we're about to talk about, Kenneth Walker. If he's more involved in the run game / pass game, does that change it? And thinking of Kenneth Walker. Now, here's a projection that I don't know how anybody wouldn't lock this one. I mean, this is, to me, you're kind of crazy if you're not locking this in. So they project Kenneth Walker, running back 12, okay, in fantasy, 1,063 yards.
They haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher in so long.
So 1,063 on the ground, 8 rushing touchdowns, and then 272 receiving and 2 touchdowns. So 10 total touchdowns, all purpose. What is that? Almost 1,300 yards all purpose? Yeah, I mean, that's an easy lock that thing in right now if that was what he did.
Yeah, that one of the bunch, and I was pretty quick on Travis Kelce, but if you only let me take one to not lock in, it would be that one instead. Or one to lock in. Yeah. It'd be that one instead of the Rice or Worthy or any of the others.
1,300 yards from scrimmage and 10 touchdowns? Come on. I don't know what else. I mean, if you're expecting more than that, then we have unrealistic expectations for Kenneth Walker.
Did they have projections for Tyquan Thornton?
They don't. Or
no,
they don't on this list. I could probably go on the Sleeper app and find it. But
he finished with 438 yards last season. Because you guys were saying, like, Drew, you're like, hey, that's only Patrick Mahomes throwing for like 1,500 yards total. But if you locked in those two numbers,
receivers,
Travis Kelce had 851. Hollywood Brown had 587. Rashee Rice had 571. Xavier Worthy had 532 last year. And he still got to 3,500 yards passing, and he missed 3 games. 3.5, really, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, I do want to point out that he can have lower receiving totals for some guys and still get there. And to Gold's point, the leading running back only had 178 yards. 178 for Brashard, or 172 for Brashard Smith, 143 for Kareem Hunt, and 101 for Isaiah Pacheco. So, like, they had 500 yards receiving between the 3 of them. I assume that number's coming up a little bit. Travis Kelce's number's coming down a hair, but not much, and that the other wide receivers will go up. And so, like, but the Ken Walker one, that's the easiest one in the whole bunch you've said.
Yeah, and someone points out maybe the way Sleeper laid out their tweet of the QB whatever that the stats don't match with the average draft position. Yeah, I'm just reading you Sleeper's own tweet they sent out. So
they put the eyeball emojis next to it. They understand where they put him.
Yeah, the stats matter more than like the fact that Rice is listed as wide receiver 17. It's more the conversation's more about the numbers than it is anything. So I don't know if that matters. But like Patrick Mahomes, for example, they go. QB7. I don't know if that's average draft position or stats. More importantly, it's the stats, though. 3,773 yards.
I'm never locking that in.
237 on the ground, 28 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Yeah, I don't think with Mahomes you lock in 3,700 yards passing.
I take the rushing yards based
probably,
but
the yardage is what it is because they got Xavier Worthy down at 695 and Rice down at 849.
If you go back to, he hasn't had 4,000 yards in
a couple years
since 2023, and he barely got over 4,000 then.
But it's still just like when it's Patrick Mahomes, I'm just not going to lock in 3,700 yards. That's
I get
all
it.
But to Drew's point, I mean, he had 3,500 last year when he only played in 14 games. 3,900 the year before, 4,100. So 37's a little low. If you
that
think
was the worst statistical year he
had
had in his whole career last year.
But he
honestly,
but he only played 14 games.
No, I'm saying in the numbers he played, he had 62% completion. That's way down.
Yeah, from a yardage, the yardage doesn't really matter all that much. From a yardage perspective, he would have finished well over the number they're projecting for this year.
Yeah,
easily. My guess is he's going to finish
250 yards a game. He had an additional. He'd have been at 4,200 yards last year if he'd played all 17.
Yeah, my guess is he finishes around 4,100-ish.
Yeah, his number's fairly easy, I think, to ditch. See, but like on the text line, someone just said,
which part?
Mahomes. They said Kelce will be lucky to get 700 yards. Why does anybody think that?
I don't agree with that.
Like lucky? I'd be surprised if it's anything under that. I think that is bottom barrel base. Like if he plays the season, that is like basement. 700 yards is basement.
Go to how many catches did you say he gets in that projection?
Who?
Travis. In that projection.
Oh, let's see.
Was
they
it
had
67? Is that what it was?
He had 76 last
67 for 680 and 5 touchdowns.
Like, so he had 76 last year for 850. So they're thinking he only gets 9 less receptions. I mean, he's going to get over.
His targets are going to be down, but still.
If his targets are down, then the receptions are going to likely be down. But even still, like if he has the same, if he paces at the same year he did last year, if he just paces the way he did last year, Cody, he still gets over 700 yards with 9 less catches.
I don't think his targets are going to go down significantly.
And he had 108 last year, which is the least since 2015.
30 less targets probably than the year before.
But also we can't account for it's so hard to judge because the offense the last couple of weeks with Oladoka. And I think.
And we think they're going to sign another wide receiver, at least that's going to contribute maybe early on, at least the thought process is that.
Yeah,
I guess I don't think it's going to go way down to 108. I don't know how many targets he got in those final few games of the season. Probably pretty much 0. Actually, no, it was a normal amount. He had, I looked it up, he had 6 targets, 4 targets. In the final 3 games, he had 9 in his 4th to last game, the game that Patrick Mahomes got hurt against the Chargers. So just kind of depends on how you look at it.
The question will be the yards per reception for him because it was up. It was his highest since 2022 because he was trending towards 10.6, 8.5, 11.2 last year. So where is that at? So he could still have less targets, fewer receptions, and if his yards per catch is back into the 12 yard per carry or per reception, then he gets there as well. All right, coming up next, let's get back to the Royals. Talk about Jack Caglione and where the ceiling is now for him. Plus, one NFL team got rid of something in their facility, and the head coach was even talking about it.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Cole Reagans, and you're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Imagine buying your next car from one dealership.
With the support of many.
With everything you'll ever need.
When you buy from any of the Balderson Auto Group dealerships, you're getting the support from all of our dealerships.
Like our 100 service bays, collision, and detail centers.
And our free exclusive lifetime warranty. No other auto group gives you that.
From north, central, south, the Balderson Auto Group has you covered.
A family committed to
excellence, growth,
and harmony.
Go to bagkc.com.
Greg here with V's Italiano Ristorante on 40 Highway in Independence, just one exit east of Arrowhead. V's Italiano family-owned restaurant is 60 years old, making us one of the oldest and most popular restaurants in Kansas City. Maybe it's our famous baked lasagna, fettuccine alfredo, or ossobuco. No, it has to be the red sauce. Offering dine-in, carry-out, catering, or private dining, go to vsrestaurant.com. And as Mama V always said,
it's a nice place to fall in love. We look forward to serving you soon.
Hey, it's Rob Britton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And Rob, I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC will feature the biggest names who made the World Cup in Kansas City possible, plus the biggest storylines heading into this summer's tournament. This is not a podcast about soccer. Don't get us wrong. This is a podcast about Kansas City. This is a podcast for Kansas City. And this is a podcast that'll tell the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes will be released every Wednesday starting on March 4th, as well as video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ's social channels.
Subscribe and download to Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series with myself and Rob Britton on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like customer service associate at a dry cleaning shop.
Yeah, hi. I'm here to pick up my suit.
Ah, yes. Here you go.
There must be a mistake. This is too small.
It shrunk a whole lot. Look on the bright side. Now you have a suit you can give to a child.
This is your job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
My dad passed away unexpectedly. Of course, it was awful in every way, but we are very grateful that he had life insurance. So even after he was gone, he was still able to provide for us. And that's why I have life insurance for my family. Ethos.com. They make it fast and easy to get covered. It's 100% online. You get a quote in seconds, and you can apply in minutes. You get covered the same day.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/protect. That's ethos.com/protect. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required. Rates may vary.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My dad passed away unexpectedly. Of course, it was awful in every way, but we are very grateful that he had life insurance. So even after he was gone, he was still able to provide for us. And that's why I have life insurance for my family. Ethos.com. They make it fast and easy to get covered. It's 100% online. You get a quote in seconds, and you can apply in minutes. You get covered the same day.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required. Rates may vary.
Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch all your favorite shows, shorts, and clips. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
$11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Top text says, dude, Jake is so awesome. He's the man. We'll pass that on to him.
I was going to say, yeah.
We'll pass that on to Eisenberg.
He's the bad boy.
Yeah, he's
of MLB play-by-play
eating
guys.
popcorn during a TV broadcast.
Doesn't even care. Doesn't
Uh-huh.
even care if it, lives dangerously.
And according to Bink, he's calling multiple games a night.
I still
Spends his off
Were you
day
here for- you
wreaking
weren't here for
havoc
that.
at Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Cody, that was unbelievable.
Bink
I
is
did,
con-
yeah, he
Bink
was
is
convinced.
convinced that Jake calls other games.
I
as
did
well.
know about it because Jake said something to me when I saw him in the clubhouse. He's like, is Bink still convinced that I'm moonlighting somewhere? I said,
Oh, yeah.
He'll never let it go.
Oh, yeah.
He'll probably say it to you every time he sees you for the rest of your life,
That's
Jake.
right.
So you got to be prepared for that.
Mm-hmm. That's a real thing.
Got to be prepared for that kind of commitment.
We will get to the trash of the day here in about 15, 20 minutes or so. It has to do with bank robbery again, but a new twist. I don't think we've had this kind of twist for a bank robbery. We usually do have some.
We do a lot of bank robbery stuff on this show.
because it's there and it happens unfortunately a lot. This one had a different twist to it though, so we'll get to that in just a little bit. But let's talk some Royals baseball. And we all know about a year ago we were getting super hyped that we were close for Jack Caglione's call up. Right, we were in St. Louis.
Probably right around this time?
It was in June, right? He got called up in June, wasn't it?
Because I just got some of the photos that popped up in the memories thing from when we were there for Bobby Wood Jr. 4 years ago or whatever it was.
And a few weeks ago, it was the year anniversary of our trip to Springfield, the infamous trip to Springfield to watch Cags play.
I used to do a garage sale thing where you could have an experience with Drew at a Springfield restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
That's not happening.
I didn't say which Springfield restaurant.
Any restaurant.
I said, Springfield restaurant.
Anyway, so we all know the hype that existed at that time. And I still think there is a very high ceiling for Jack Caglione. The question is, has it changed at all for you? Because this time last year, we were talking about a guy that was going to be hitting 40-something home runs on a regular basis and had a chance to be a superstar.
Yes.
And a future home run derby participant and all that. And by the way, look, some of that can still happen.
They might still put him in the derby just because he hits the ball so damn hard.
But where are we? I mean, because here we are. This is his first full year in the big leagues. And so much of the conversation around him this year has been more like, hey, give the guy an opportunity to show that he can hit lefties. Mm-hmm. Show that he can. Make him prove to you he can't. But give him an opportunity. That's been a lot of the narrative around him this year. I think we also have talked defensively. I think he's a much better right fielder today than he was last year by far. I think he's way better in the field. So that's a credit to him and yes, the coaches and for getting him right in the outfield. But what's the ceiling? Because I know when he was getting called up, there were comparisons made. We had a couple guests on that said, yeah, he reminds them of Pete Alonso, which is very high praise. There was also the comp where someone said, hey, look, worst case scenario, he turns into Adam Dunn. Bunch of strikeouts, bunch of home runs. Well, none of those comps right now have come anywhere close either way, right?
Yeah.
So do you think fans have lowered the expectation? I'm talking about toward 2026. I'm not talking about this year. Clearly, this year he's not trending to get 40 home runs. I'm talking about fast forward 27, 28, 29. Are you viewing what he's going to be differently?
So I guess from my perspective, I don't want to, if I've lowered the ceiling on him, it's like 5%. And I know that it feels like it should be more because he's only hitting 253 with a 319 on base, which are numbers I'd actually accept just as long as the home run totals were up. His 162 game home run pace for the games he's played so far, which is 62 last year and 45 this year, is only 18. This year's home run pace currently at 16. He eventually hit some home runs late last year, which helped kind of boost that number up at least just a little bit. Actually, the 16's a little bit lower. So I'm not trying to claim it's been world beater. The biggest surprise to me to this point has been he has not been a run producer in really any capacity. I thought the expectation where I've been burned on is I thought he'll hit fifth and he'll put guys home. Bobby will get on base. Vinny will get on base. Michael Garcia will get on base, and he'll drive him in. He'll be a part of that triumvirate of Salvi, Vinny, and then him putting guys home who get on at the top of the order. And to this point, That has probably been his single biggest weakness. Hitting with runners in scoring position. He has 10 RBI on the season, even though the rest of the ancillary numbers are actually not terrible. But I still think the idea of, can he be a 40 home run hitter? That power didn't just go away.
The power hasn't diminished. The only question is, we talked earlier in the year about, what his swing looks like, and is he just now being more of a slap hitter or whatever. The only thing I actually think on a positive end that has really happened here recently, he is hitting the ball to the opposite field a bit more. That in general could and should be a good sign. My expectation, I don't know if it's changed all that much other than like from the home run potential.
You're just saying he might not be superstar. But I remember.
I thought there was a chance that, we were talking about this guy being a superstar and frankly being what Nick Kurtz did last year, that would be the part though that maybe has changed. But in terms of, do I think at some point in his career he's hitting 40 home runs still? Of course. Yeah, I still do.
I don't remember who it was. It might not have been you even.
Okay.
I genuinely don't remember who it was, but it was somebody on this show. Maybe he's a guest. Maybe it was you. I just know it wasn't me.
Okay.
For whatever it's worth. Right. But I remember having this conversation about Bobby Wood Jr. I remember sitting on the air, maybe a national pundit said, and we just discussed it back and forth. I very specifically remember halfway through his second year in the big leagues having this exact conversation about Bobby Wood Jr. Like, well, he's not going to be Julio Rodriguez. He's not going to be a superstar. Let's all just chill a little bit, because in his second year in the league, he hit 276 with a 319 on-base percentage. That sound familiar? It's literally the on-base percentage I just mentioned for Jack Caglione. Now, the difference is he hit 30 home runs that year. Not halfway through the year. That all came late. My expectations for Jack Caglione, or at least my ceiling of what I think Jack Caglione could be, hasn't changed really at all. Jack Caglione's ceiling to me is still a 40 home run hitter who hits in the middle of an order.
I also want to...
Now, I don't know that... I'm not predicting he'll realize that ceiling, but I don't know that I would have done that a year ago. I just knew it was possible, and it's still in there.
The reason why it can't shift too much yet is, Cody, because I still want to see him for a full season get a chance to play basically every day. And against lefties as well, which hopefully that's going to start happening more and more, especially in a year in which the team is 10 games under 500. At some point, it's like, hey, just why not let him figure it out and get our answer whether or not he is capable of hitting lefties? Because that's to change expectations when he has not had the everyday opportunities yet still against lefties or righties. That's hard to completely shift on it. I just think we all know what the conversation was initially. I mean, and maybe they were way out of whack. I don't know, right? But
sure, he could be a superstar.
Yeah, and that part of it, that part of it, maybe that has changed a little bit. But as far as being a everyday power hitter that is one of the best bats in your lineup, that absolutely has not changed, in my opinion.
I will say, I think Eric Hosmer put it really well. Maybe it was on the morning show earlier this week he was on, and he was talking about lefties. Like, how does he get better? How do you get more comfortable against lefties? Like, the only way is literally just to let me actually hit against them. Like, he has a third of the at-bats against left-handed pitching this year versus right-handed pitching. It's like, I can't get better against them unless you let me actually sit down there and face them. And yeah, the numbers are significantly worse against left-handed pitching. His numbers against righties are 271 batting average, 350 on base, 817 OPS. So, like, he's way better against righties this year and way better in his career against righties. So I'm not even saying that's not the case, but the only way I'm even going to get used to hitting lefties is if you actually let me do it. But I'm just telling you, before you just, like, if you're a fan, not you, but if somebody's like, the ceiling's already gone, I hope he's just Adam Dunn now, or whatever the floor would have been at the time we were talking about his career going into it, I'd say relax. Because I know for a fact, fans are trying to say that about Bobby Wood Jr. halfway through his second year in the bigs. Certainly trying to say it after his rookie season, in which he was fine. And he's the second best, in my opinion, player in baseball. And so, like, I chill before you're like, I'll just give up on all the ceiling conversation. No. The ceiling is still very real for Jack Caglione. It could be a portion of what your expectations are for him. But yeah, he's got to start growing. And more importantly, it's like, I think summer, starting like really like June 1st, when that warm weather hits or whatever, I don't care. Just feeling better because you've been hitting the ball the other way. I'd like to see the ball going out of the ballpark more consistently. He's on pace for 16 homers this year. Like, that can't be the number. That can't be your on-base percentage and your batting average and your strikeout numbers. All those things can be your numbers. If the ball simply just leaves the park twice as much. And I know that sounds like a lot and a big ask.
Yeah.
But as hard as he hits the damn ball, it doesn't seem like putting the ball in the air every once in a while. It's just going to accidentally go outside the park. He just puts it on the ground too much. That's genuine. His hard hit rate, his barrel rate, those numbers actually support that Jack Caglione should be a power hitter in the big league, a successful power hitter in the big league. So I'm going to leave all the ceiling talk still very much alive.
We'll get to the trash of the day here in about 8 minutes or so. I did not expect an NFL head coach to be talking about seed oils, but that happened yesterday. Robert Saleh, of course, the head coach now in Tennessee, with the Titans, he had his media availability, and he was talking about an immediate change he made 4 months into the job, or just 4 months into the job, I should say. And he ensured that players would not eat seed oils anymore. No more seed oil in the facility.
I thought one of the first things I think we did here is get rid of all the seed oils in the building, and which I think the players appreciate. I know we've Miss Amy has allowed us to attack the budget and get the players better variety. I think I'll put our staff, and I mean that I've been in 6 different buildings, and I'd put this staff up there with the best of them. I mean the product they put out in the cafeteria daily is outstanding.
Look at Robert Saleh propping up the nutrition staff in the cafeteria there in Nashville, Tennessee. Seed oils, so that is that's like the corn oil and canola oil and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you use a lot of seed oil in your baking?
I have canola oil in the house. I don't use a lot of oil.
Is this the key for Cam Ward to have a breakout season? No more seed oil in the facility.
He's down 10 pounds since last season.
I'll tell you right now. The second any NFL team starts talking about fixing the team and it has nothing to do with football, losers. If they're like, they got to earn their helmet sticker, nothing to do with football, dum-dum, you're a bad team. You're like, seed oils.
Maybe
That'll
their
solve the
nutrition.
problem.
Maybe the
Immediately
nutrition.
bad football team. The second you start talking about things that have nothing to do with football as a solution, I got rid of the ping pong table. And we installed a cotton candy machine. Loser franchise.
Well, those
you can't
two are
win.
different. Okay.
The second you start talking about seed oils or ping pong tables or any of that stuff, you lost me.
Look,
You're just a bad franchise looking for any way to get better.
I don't think the seed oils are going to lead to wins, if that's what you're saying. But it's a little bit different than the ping pong table. I mean, who knows? Like we talk about the NFLPA grade stuff. Who knows? I don't know. We'd have to go back and look and see where Tennessee was. Maybe the food sucked in the cafeteria before, and they got it figured out. I don't know. Robert Saleh does strike me as a health nut, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, ZM over on Twitch said it's giving gum wrapper vibes. Why are you worried about gum wrappers? What about your tight ends, your wide receivers, routes?
Apparently the players like it. So anything to appease the players. I mean, your stadium was considered to not be that great. You're upgrading the stadium. You got
but
your new color scheme.
Him saying the players are happy about it, genuinely. Like, can I ask you something about that? Do you genuinely think the players all went to him, like Rudy style? And they all went to him. They got online like, Coach, Mr. Saleh, we can't have any more seed oils. We can't perform like this.
See, you're over-exaggerating it. See, you're over-exaggerating it.
It's not about performance.
One dude say, do you think even 5 people said anything about seed oils to him?
No, probably somebody said, yeah, the food's pretty good, and he took that as like, see, we fixed it. That's probably what happened.
Who cares about seed oils?
They said
I don't think a player gives a damn.
Or they said the food needs to be better, because I can guarantee you I feel a little bit better after eating a salad compared to eating a bag of hot Cheetos the next day.
No one's arguing that. But I genuinely, I bet it was less than 2 players who said something about seed oils to him. You know, said something to seed oils about him to himself at his house.
I bet you they didn't say
because
anything
he's a
about seed oils. They just said, hey, the food's not that great. Can we have some better food
and
options?
He looked in,
and they changed the seed oil, and it worked.
He had some assistant probably look into it and find out they were cooking with seed oil, and he's like, oh, why are we doing that? Let's get rid of it. I don't use seed oil. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. It's healthier. There is research that suggests that's the case. I don't think it's leading to better athletic performance, but who was it? Yeah, the American Heart Association said that there's no reason to avoid seed oils. The majority of nutrition scientists, however, agree with the American Heart Association stance. There's no reason to avoid them. Now, many fitness influencers claim that seed oil leads to obesity and heart disease. So you can trust the influencers or you can trust the American Heart Association. You decide.
Well, yeah. Which way do you think I'm going to lean? Guy can do a pull up on Instagram Live or the American Heart Association? Yeah. I'll trust you right now.
Or, look, I don't think it's hurting anything, but I also don't think it's changing anything. How about that?
You're right. Well, look, I don't think it's like, in no way is like changing their performance level. I just think that when teams start focusing on the things that aren't football and somehow in their head, this is the solution to their problems, it's always like the gum wrapper stuff or like, everything's got to be too micromanagey.
He didn't say that though. It's not like Robert Saleh said, you know how much better we're going to be because we got rid of it. He just said they made a change because the players wanted it.
Yeah, they changed no seed oils and the players like it, and that was it. I don't think he's not out here saying, and now we think it's going to lead to Cam Ward being quicker out there. He didn't say that.
That's what he's insinuating.
No, I don't think so.
Just sitting in this press conference.
I see both ends of it. I see both ends of it. Like I'm laughing because I've never heard a coach talk about seed oil before. It's funny to me. And I also don't think it's going to lead to any more wins, but also I don't think it is that big of a deal. Like, I don't agree with the comp that it's the same as them removing the ping pong tables. That's to me a completely different thing.
That's always a troubling sign. You know, the second they're like, we got rid of the fun in this locker room.
You see this text? Someone said seed oils, inflammatory for sure. There's an app called Seed Oil Scout that tells you where restaurants are that do and don't use seed oil.
That's why they're getting rid of all the. If you look at the ingredients, you see all the oils and stuff like that. Sometimes you just.
Can I ask the qualifications of Seed Oil Scout, seeing how they're clearly anti them? Can I ask?
No, they're not. They're just telling you who uses it. That's all. They're not saying like that. There's an app.
It's an app driven to show you oil-free.
No, to show you who does or doesn't use seed oil.
No, it's the seed oil-free restaurant app. They clearly have a bias, is what I'm saying. The seed oil app.
Or there's just, how's it any different than any other app that tells you where ice cream is at? It's like, I mean,
but they're
I don't know
not
why
telling you both. They're just telling you the one. It would be like an app that only tells you where lactose-free ice cream is.
That probably does exist.
Yeah, they're probably directing people in that direction. Like if you don't want, if you want to have your inflammatory levels lowered, then you'll go to that app.
I use avocado oil mostly when I'm
Seed Oil app is a community-driven map. It's community-driven. Cody's out here trying to act like there's some like seed oil lobbyists, anti-lobbyists out there going after the seed oil industry.
I think this one might be.
Okay.
It sounds like you're
Cody's pro seed oil. Who knew? Cody's big time. Who knew? Cody's getting.
Yeah.
Cody's
I
part of the seed. Yeah, Cody's all invested in seed oil.
I still think that like part of it is just my general and probably false, admittedly. Part of it is my belief that 100 years from now, 200 years from now, I think we should be self-aware enough in the moment to be the things that they like make fun of us for. The same we do is like, I can't believe those idiots put leeches on their skin to try to cure the disease. And like, these jerks were worried about canola oil and it was sun rays that were cooking them. They're all focused on the wrong things, you know?
But again, I don't think anybody's suggesting that removing seed oil is now going to cause you to live longer and be the best thing ever in your entire life. And like, you're
well,
now.
I don't think Salah's claiming that.
Like that's a bit extreme. You're just saying, look, we changed the food. Players like it, and that was it. It's just funny to me that a coach even brought it up. I don't know was there a question that was prompting it or what?
You know, I thought one of the first things I think we did here is get rid of all the seed oils.
Cody's paid by Big Seed.
They're lining his pockets, is what somebody
How's that
said.
check? What's that check look like each week for you?
If you
Big Seed
a
oil.
week from now hear me do an endorsement for
Big Seed
for canola oil. Hey guys, it's Cody Tapp, and I want to tell you about the benefits of canola oil. A proper seed oil that you should all be cooking with.
Let's get competing commercials. I'll do the ones for anti-seed oil. You can do pro seed oil.
Again, I have canola oil in the house, but I mostly cook with olive or avocado oil.
Avocado's the way to go. We use avocado oil spray.
Avocados from Mexico. That commercial, you guys see that during the Super Bowl a couple years ago?
Yeah, they've got avocado oil spray.
Just like.
Oh, is that not good enough for you?
I've also got regular oil that we use too, but we use the spray most of the time. But yeah,
that's fine.
A lot of people texting in saying they did away with seed oil years ago in their household. Avocado oil, coconut oil, beef tallow is all they use.
Oh, hey, beef tallow guy? Can I just get that at the store?
I mean, I'm surprised that you're anti-seed oil when you use
Someone
avocado.
Says, obviously, Cody's promoting heart disease.
Here's the truth. Drew, I don't care.
Or I'm surprised you're pro-seed oil when you use avocado oil, which is one of the things you replace seed oil with.
I don't care. Well, I just, I cook with what I cook. But, like, I'm not anti anybody using beef tallow or avocado. I'm saying the second the coaches are worried about, like, what seed oils are being used, don't even worry about what's in the cafeteria, as a matter of fact. Your job is football, not... they got burgers on Fridays. That's not your job, Salah.
They probably
shouldn't
have
be working
burgers on Fridays,
routes.
but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Plays. Your running back's job on tackling.
Cody's acting like
literally anything besides the kitchen. He's back there like checking the ingredients from the kitchen staff. He's got gloves on.
Cody, are you convinced that everybody's like Chad Ochocinco and slamming McDonald's every day and he still played good, so it's okay?
All right.
That was a Tyreek Hill thing, too.
Lastly, I'll just say, Cody's acting like Robert Saleh goes in there with a checkboard, like a checklist, and is out there doing temperature checks on the food for the kitchen. Stop. Let's get to the trash of the day. We go to
Trash of the Day.
Arizona for this one, all right?
All right.
Chase Bank in Phoenix. An armed robber made off with a little over $2,000. That's it, okay?
God, you're going to... Rob a bank. Armed robbery and only get $2,000?
That's right. It's not worth it.
Ugh.
Over
too much risk.
Yeah, $2,000 before being caught shortly. So federal officials said this guy entered a bank around 12:30 on Monday with a small dog. That's the twist here. He walked in with his dog as well. According to court documents, he yelled something to the effect of, "This is a effing robbery." He fired his rifle into the ceiling. Nobody was hurt. He then demanded money from a teller, got approximately $2,118 in the suspect's bag. He left the bank in a white Ford van, which was spotted by a police helicopter later on in the day. Police followed the suspect until an officer in a cruiser used a grappler to stop the van about 15 minutes later, or 15 minutes north of the site. Bank surveillance showed him wearing beige shorts, cowboy boots, a dark long-sleeve shirt, and a red baseball cap with something written across the front, which were the same clothing items that he was wearing when he was pulled over.
Who brings their dog to a bank robbery?
He admitted to the robbery right away. And yeah, I don't know why he brought his dog with him. Do you think nobody would think anything of him as he walked in with the dog and think, oh, this guy's not going to rob us?
I don't see people walking into the bank with their dogs ever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you? I mean, I don't know. Anymore, if you walk into the bank, they look at you like, the hell are you doing in here?
Yeah.
Like, or if you bring them cash, they look at you like you're crazy. Like, where did you even get this cash? Nobody has this anymore, sir. What do you need it for? They always assume something's up. I get
$2,100, man. What?
I know. That's crazy. And he discharged the firearm? That guy's going to go to
It's
jail.
armed robbery. It turns into armed robbery.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not just bringing it, it's also discharging it. You're in trouble. By the way, this is a look. Walking in with a dog. Beige shorts, cowboy boots with shorts.
Yep.
Long sleeve shirt. I mean, that's a hell of a look to go with it. You stood out immediately. Dog and all this outfit. You're going to look crazy from the beginning. I would have immediately thought you were
And they knew he
me.
drove off in a white van. Like, dude, you were screwed.
Does this go against your thoughts against Phoenix, Cody? Because I know you mentioned Phoenix and Miami and how they're bad towns. I don't know if this plays into that as well.
Other than in the last 10 years of my life, other than Kansas City, I got to feel like Phoenix is somehow the city I've spent the most time in, or at least the surrounding area. I've been to 2 different Radio Rows or Super Bowls there, lived there for 6 weeks.
Are people nice there?
Yeah, it seemed fine. I didn't have any real complaints.
Seemed fine.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of snowbirds, right? There was a decent elderly crowd of retired people who left from Chicago or New York or these others and just wanted some warm weather. It seemed like it was mostly fine the time I was there. We've yet to get one where somebody's been away or run away for a while, you know? We haven't had an escape in a while.
No,
we
had the New Orleans prison
one,
break was months and months and months ago. They finally caught all of them that broke out of the New Orleans prison. You're right. We haven't had a weird love affair between a security guard and a prisoner or anything like
Need
that.
one of those.
Or a prison guard. No, it's been a while. You're right.
Always keeps things interesting, you know?
It's the time of the year where we start to get them. You know, summertime.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the time of the year.
Someone said, as an Arizona State alumni, that all this checks out. Typical Phoenix. Dang.
I mean,
shout out to Tempe, which is where Arizona State's at.
I don't have anything generally against Arizona, but it's also a state that I don't ever need to visit again.
Well, the only reason I brought it up is because you had said earlier that the reason those teams stink is because they just got a bunch of people there who just care about the warm weather and stuff like that. And I didn't know if this also was a factor into why the Cardinals might stink.
That
is
win
Super Bowls.
The trash of the day. All right, up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour. Something that's happening in another city around their stadium that had us thinking about the Chiefs' future stadium site out over by the Legends. And I don't know if it means extra motivation as much as Cody does when it comes to last season's performance for the Chiefs, but we'll get into that next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like the severe weather's been a little bit worse in Kansas City this year. We've had a lot of those high wind rates. Here comes the hail. Well, if any of that weather got you and you need roofing work, Century Roofing is the company you're going to want to call. CenturyRoofingKC.com is where you can work with a locally owned and operated company who's done over 35,000 roofs in the metro area. Been voted Best of Kansas City from readers over the Kansas City Star just this year, and a 4-time winner in a row, by the way, of Johnson County's Best Roofing Company. That's because they know how to work with your insurance company. They handle good quality product. They know and stand behind their warranty. They're not going to fly by night, leave town, leave you holding the bag if for some reason you need additional work. They'll get you taken care of. And honest, maybe it was 4 years ago now, I thought, man, I don't know if we need a new roof. I don't know if we're there yet. They came in, they said, it's a couple repairs, you'll be good to go. We just had some of that severe weather earlier this year, and they came out and did another repair. Problem solved. Still, no need for a full roof replacement. But the second I do, Century Roofing is the company I'm going to call. If you need roofing work, make sure, sometimes they need more than one number anyway, make sure you work with a locally owned and operated company. Trust the pillars of strength. Go to centuryroofingkc.com.
Hey Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs with Victory CDJ Art the Legends. Once again, we are taking the hassle out of car buying with the Victory Scavenger Hunt. Folks, as always, our hunts are different. We put the price right at your fingertips with our Let's Do Business guarantee. Like walking up to select Ram 1500s, subtracting $18,000 from the sticker, and let's do business. It's that simple. Just visit VictoryMotorsKC.com and click on the large Scavenger Hunt banners directly on our homepage. That's VictoryMotorsKC.com, where our first price is better than their last.
For all the things you have to do and places you need to be, let Uber take you there. Because you had just one more 3 rounds ago. Because the 5 a.m. flight seemed like a good idea at the time. Because check engine lights always appear at the worst possible times. And because parking downtown is a nightmare. Because there are nights out, airport trips, and car troubles in your area, there are drivers in your area. Uber. Request a ride today. Wait time varies. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Memorial Day's almost here, and I've got a better plan than sweating in the kitchen or over the grill. I'm letting Hy-Vee handle all of the food. I'm ordering my party trays right through the Hy-Vee app. Whether I want custom builds or their huge grab-and-go selection like charcuterie, wings, seafood, sandwiches, or smoked meat, it's all there. A quick stop at their massive wine and spirits department, and I'm done. One convenient stop for the perfect party. So this Memorial Day, let Hy-Vee handle everything, from the food to the beverages, only at Hy-Vee.
If the high cost of filling up is weighing you down, lighten your load this Memorial Day at Hy-Vee. Save 25 cents per gallon on fuel with every $35 purchase. Stock up on groceries and stack up the fuel savings. Earn 25 cents per gallon with your $35 purchase, 50 cents per gallon with a $70 purchase, and so on. The more you spend, the more you'll save. Your next fill-up could be free. Don't miss the Memorial Day Fuel Saver event Monday, May 25th, only at Hy-Vee.
Hi, folks. Bob from Blue Springs Ford. Hey, Blaine, my sister Kathy wants to buy a Bronco at an employee price.
What perfect timing, because right now Blue Springs Ford is giving employee pricing to everyone.
So what's the real difference in pricing?
2025 Bronco Sport starting at $29,000.
Wow, that's less than $30,000.
Up to $10,000 off MSRP on 2026 F-150s, and you get a lifetime powertrain warranty for free.
Folks, go to BlueSpringsFord.com right now, because this ends soon.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Shawnee Mission Ford. On a mission to do more. Visit our inventory at ShawneeMissionFord.com.
Hey, it's Gold. I have exciting news. Ford has announced employee pricing for everyone.
over at Shawnee Mission Ford. You pay what they pay, and you still get the rebates and incentives offered by Ford, along with the top trade-in value from Shawnee Mission Ford, who's on a mission to do more in 26.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Rob Brennan. We hope you're enjoying Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's biggest sporting event. It's presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. New episodes released every Wednesday on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Chiefs Red Half Hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Hope you're having a good Friday. Getting set for Memorial Day weekend. Talk about the calendar just flying by. It is Memorial Day weekend. I know some of you may be heading off to the lake, maybe going to the Ozarks or some of the lakes around the Kansas City area.
I don't have any lake plans.
I'm not going to the Ozarks this weekend. Going to Sunday, just going to Hillsdale, which is not too far from me, out south with some people. Just hang out there. Although the water's probably going to be too cold to go in the lake.
Yeah.
With the rain and weather we've had here.
I guess I should make more boat friends, you know?
It is fun to know people with boats.
My brother has a lake
house.
Yeah.
It is nice.
But it's like I can't be driving 2.5 hours or 3 hours every time I want to get on a boat.
No, and that's
I need some more local. I need somebody who's got like one on Smithville. Just let me like cruise out.
And that's kind of what this is for this weekend. For 4th of July, I'll go to the Ozarks for that weekend, a little bit longer weekend and everything. But this is just a quick thing on Sunday and everything. So let us know during the Fan Club Friday, by the way, what you guys are doing this weekend. You can text it 913-586-7965. Fan Club Friday. Rob Collins going to join us in studio from Fox 4. So we'll check in with him a little bit. Thanks to our friends from Jay Rieger & Co. But let's talk some Chiefs and some news actually out of Chicago that got us thinking more about the Chiefs Stadium. So if anybody's remotely followed at all, you know the Bears are wanting a new stadium as well, okay? Like a lot of teams. And they have been flirting with the state of Indiana. Right now, their stadium, they've basically said they're not staying downtown, but they've been looking at some other sites, Arlington Heights, et cetera.
Yeah.
And they put out a statement yesterday essentially acknowledging where they're not looking anymore. And
correct.
They also are looking for big-time events out there in the future. But the city of Chicago, or the Chicago Bears basically said that they're not looking in the city anymore. Like it's suburbs or Indiana now.
Well, look, the fact that they are publicly just the Chiefs didn't even do that. The Chiefs just quietly overnight was just one day was like, we're going to Kansas. They didn't ever publicly say no more Missouri. We knew it was headed that way, Gold. They didn't come out and publicly say, screw you, Illinois. We're looking at Indiana now. So, like, if they're saying that publicly, they're definitely going to Indiana.
The quote was, the Chicago Bears have exhausted every opportunity to stay in Chicago, which was our initial goal. There is not a viable site in the city. As a result, the only sites under consideration are in Arlington Heights and Hammond. Hammond's the Indiana site, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
And so, like, Arlington Heights is still Illinois, I guess, versus the Chicago area. So, like, they're at least still entertaining it. Look, the truth is, this is going the exact same way as the Chiefs won, which is the Chiefs one went where they said, we'll flirt with both. And then guess what? Guess who's going to offer the better tax incentive? Guess who's going to give them everything they could ever possibly want, every single cent they could possibly ever want? Indiana. Because they don't have, they have one, but like they don't have one that close. They'll take it. They'll steal two. Because that's just the way these things typically work. When you can flirt with the other side of the state line, maybe it'll be Arlington Heights. But when you can flirt with the other side of the state line, you're doing that. And also, I've said this before. The one thing I'll say about football is it can be in the suburbs. I like, that's the one thing that I don't think, like, that I do not understand. Matter of fact, I don't even want football downtown. What a mess. 70,000 people going to a game. I don't want football downtown. I don't mind if it's just outside or in a suburb, but like, I don't care if it's 30 minutes outside of town. I certainly don't need it right next to major metropolitan areas because it's just too much to ask for, and it's already a full day event anyway. I was thinking about the Chiefs Stadium too because there were some quotes out there about like, who was it? Not Jeff Darlington. Albert Breer was talking about the Kansas City Chiefs Stadium, and he was talking about, he's like, I don't think the Chiefs are ever getting a Super Bowl. And look, Albert Breer is pretty well known as got a pretty strong
Boston
East
guy,
Coast bias. Boston guy. And he was essentially like crapping on Kansas City in the sense like, Chicago, fine, they'll get it. He was talking about all these other cold weather cities that would get it before Kansas City, who are also building new stadiums. But he's like, Kansas City's never getting a Super Bowl. While I don't believe that that is accurate and that Kansas City has a good chance to get one, I will say, as it relates to the Chiefs' dome part of the stadium, they better for sure get multiple Final Fours or a college football semifinal game or a Super Bowl. Otherwise, I'm going to say, why didn't you just build an outdoor stadium? So help me, if you build an indoor stadium just to get Jelly Roll in December, I'm going to be pissed. You got to get like real big time events if you're enclosing it in Kansas City.
Shout out to Jelly Roll.
You know, like
I hear you though.
Like
I hear you though.
I want like big events, not like you got a concert in November now.
I think the Final Four is a no-brainer. I think eventually a big-time college football playoff game is a no-brainer. The question is the Super Bowl, and I know you talk to most people, everybody's confident. I don't think it's like this 100% done deal the way some people talk about it. I think Clark Hunt's relationship with the league bodes very well for Kansas City eventually to get a Super Bowl at New Arrowhead, whatever the hell they're going to call it, out by the Legends. And I'm with you. It would be a big bummer if that never happens, considering. I think the worry, though, about like the Final Four, I almost would say is 100%. Like, I think the Final Four at some point. Now, is it one Final Four or is it two? There's a big difference there, too. Because so much can be said, they're going to get let's say you get a Final Four and a Super Bowl all in the 2030s. So
and a college football playoff semifinal.
All in the 2030s. So from 2030 to 2039. Okay. But then in 2040 and 2050, are you not getting any of those big events? Because I'm with you. It needs to be more than concerts. And I think the Final Four is almost a no-brainer. If I had to bet when we get a Super Bowl, I would bet yes. But I don't think it is this lock of the century the way people talk about it.
I think every 4 years you need to be hosting a large-scale sporting event. I don't think that crazy. If you're building a $3 billion
WrestleMania could also come here.
That counts. That counts. But I would say, but it's got to be every 3 years, here's a WrestleMania. 3 years later, here's a Super Bowl. 3 years later, here's a Final Four. 3 years later, it does need to regularly be that, in my opinion, to justify the cost. And more importantly, to justify going indoors, impacting your team in that regard, changing kind of the state of football in the city as it currently sit. But WrestleMania counts, Super Bowls count, Final Fours count. They're not some are created bigger than others, right? I'll give you a little more of a pass. You get a Super Bowl if it takes you 5 years to get something huge. But Jerry World's got something once a year. Once a year, something major comes down to Jerry World. Something comes to
that
Eagle.
stadium is also an outlier of all, and that's an outlier. It's Dallas. It's a little bit different.
It is, but I'm not asking for every year either. I just said every 3 years. It can be major concerts too, right? It can be the stadium tours. They can come. I'm not complaining about those, but that can be the justification for building a dome, in my opinion. The justification is Clark says he wants a Super Bowl. Get a Super Bowl. Call in every favor you got to call in order to make sure that kind of event comes to Kansas City. And I was already talking about that article from the Sports Journal World, talking about Kansas City punches above its weight anyway, from a sports perspective.
Yeah.
Because Dallas, New York, L.A., Miami, Arizona, we know the cities that are great at getting these events and have the venue space to do it. Kansas City, it's tough because it can get cold here. People, it's harder to get those events here. And I'm hoping that just becomes a part of it. It is fascinating to me. Chicago's going the exact same way the Chiefs did, though. They're just abandoning Chicago. They're like, I'm out. It's been fun, but you're not going to give us the biggest check, so we'll see you. And I don't think that's uncommon. And I think, you want to know why I think the Chiefs are getting a Super Bowl? I think the NFL and Roger Goodell and whoever's the commissioner after him, they want to reward the cities who are still willing to give the kind of public money that some of these teams have got. You say, hey, you give massive public subsidies to these teams to build these stadiums, and guess what? Even you could have a Super Bowl. It is a dangling carrot, in my opinion, Gold. It is you're trying to reward the cities who are doing the public financing in the way that, as an NFL commissioner and as a group of NFL owners, you'd prefer. And so you give one to Chicago if they get a new stadium in Indiana, and you do one for the Chiefs if they, when they build their new stadium out at Legends, whatever.
Someone says, are there any current dome stadiums that are left open for football for a major majority? What do you mean left open for football? They only have football? What do you mean left open for football?
Yeah, there's plenty.
Yeah. I guess I don't understand the question. What are they asking? Are there any dome stadiums that are left open for football for a majority? They didn't mean retractable roof stadium? Are they talking about literally the roof open? I'm confused by the question.
I'm guessing they're asking, well, it's not a dome, it'd be retractable
if
roof.
It's a dome, it can't open.
No, but I'm assuming they mean retractable roof that are left open. The answer is no. retractable roofs historically, they don't open
They're
them
not
as
open as much
like
as they should be. I lived in Houston for a little bit. That retractable roof was like never open.
But Atlanta opens there sometimes. Dallas opens there sometimes.
When Jim Irsay was the owner, it was open all the time.
Yeah. But like, I mean,
it depends.
It's not zero. But I will say, I don't know. I feel like we're like 25 years away. Whenever the Bills build their next stadium, I don't know how many more outdoor venues we're still going to have unless you're in a warm weather
Bills
city.
just about to open their new one. You're talking about the next one.
They got about what, half the league is maybe open air. How many do we still think? Panthers is open air.
We went through this a couple weeks back.
Panthers, Buffalo, Baltimore, Chicago, but Chicago's not going to be for
Cleveland.
long. Cincinnati's open air, right?
Yep.
Drew?
Right now it is.
I mean, here, real quick. Yeah, so Pittsburgh, Carolina, as you said, Denver, Jacksonville, New England, Miami, Buffalo, Cleveland, Green Bay, San Francisco.
Philly?
Philly.
Yep.
You said Baltimore already. The
Seattle.
Giants, MetLife.
So
Tennessee's about to be indoors. Washington is still outdoors, although they're about to be indoors.
Yep.
Cincinnati, as you said, Tampa. Did we say Tampa yet?
Look, and I get it that Art Rooney, the third or whatever he is, he's like, I'll be dead before they play a game indoors. Yeah, but then the next family member might not feel that way. I think there was a part in Clark Hunt's life that he didn't think he was going to take the team indoors, but he realized, financially for Super Bowl purpose, they're never going to give the Kansas City a Super Bowl in February with an outdoor stadium.
Of course not.
Which I think is his dream because it's his dad who helped name it and all the other stuff that make it a little too obvious
I do
from
think
a want category.
The whole conversation, it is interesting though how, because people, you talk about the advantage being outside and all these other things. How
it is an advantage.
Well, we can get this event to make more money. Forget our team though. The advantage is whatever. It doesn't matter as much. Whereas making
domes
the money
can help you in
is
some regards too. The offensive.
But the Lions have had Ford Field forever, and they stunk for however many years. So, and that building's loud. Based on
and that's an old school dome too, where it's like that it's still dark and stuff in there. Versus like the new ones now, they all bring like the natural light. Like the Vikings stadium does not feel like you're indoors per se the way it would.
Like pretty decent at that.
Yeah, it's not. But they also have the huge glass, on that one end zone side of the stadium, where it doesn't feel as dark like a basement. With some of the old school RCA domes of the world, et cetera, back in the day.
The RCA dome is a pit, man. That place, holy smokes!
I am still one of the curiosity things. It doesn't really. I am very fascinated to see what they try to do with Arrowhead and Kaufman, or if they just take a bulldozer to it.
Say that again.
They already announced some of the plans, Cody. Remember?
No, they didn't announce any plans. They make it seem like they're going to put a 4,000-foot Christmas tree in there and just make it an ice skating
They gave us renderings for that faster than the Chiefs gave us a rendering for the new stadium.
They just plugged that thing into Claude and then just hope that people
they legitimately went to AI.
Yeah, they're giving you just straight dome. You just got to figure out which version of it they're turning it into. Are you kind of curious what they're going to do with those buildings?
Yeah, and that whole site. I mean, you don't want it to just sit vacant, and I don't think it's going to. But also,
just slowly get covered with weeds. I got to drive past it as it looks like a dead building.
I don't think it's going to be that. I do think they will come up with something. But those renderings were just the most far-fetched AI random. Show me what it would look like if we had water, a casino, and a hotel, and it looked like it was designed by AI, and that's basically what they gave us, and it's nothing definitive. And there was might as well have been a beachfront property right there too.
Yeah.
So there'll be something. I don't think it's just going to be a data center when it's all said and done. I don't know if it'll be a public space with other stuff, but who knows?
For what I think are iconic is always strong, recognizable stadiums, and certainly iconic in Kansas City stadiums. Maybe not worldwide or whatever. We don't have to get into that conversation, but they are certainly in this city iconic. The idea that they just bullet over and have some servers in it, be like, oh, this stinks. I don't like this at all.
I mean, it's a huge site. It's like 400 acres if you include everything. It's a massive site.
Someone says the land is worth a fortune. I know. It's a lot of land. Like you said, it's 400 acres. That's a lot of property. Someone says demo and make it a huge farmer's market.
400 acres.
You imagine just walking in the old Kaufman outfield at the farmer's market. Look, I will say,
Chicago's got a massive farmers market in the south side, in the before you get to the city and the suburbs, they've got a huge farmers market.
But before they won't tear it down right away. For a while, it will host some the high school baseball tournament will be down at Old Kaufman.
I don't know.
I think it'll be some of that for a while.
It depends. If they got a project in place, they're going to want to get it going. I don't know. It depends on what project
that is
they end up coming up with, which I think we'll learn more about that in the fall.
Yeah. Even though I'm excited about the stadium projects, I will say, if I got to watch them demolish. It's going to be a depressing day to watch him just bulldoze the stadiums.
Well, no matter,
that's going to hurt.
One way or the other, I think it's going to get demolished. I doubt the new project is going to somehow incorporate the existing structure.
That happens in some markets, but there's still no development around there. So you can't even justify we're just going to turn Arrowhead into luxury apartments, like that's happened in overseas former soccer stadiums. To do what? There's nothing by it. Who lives in an apartment building with zero amenities near it? There's the development part of it is still an issue. The burnt down Denny's. Coco Key Water Resort.
Yeah, Coco Key Water Resort.
And
did you see
Taco Bell.
Did you
it's
see
still the same three things.
Because of the World Cup, you see the old Adams Mark Hotel, they finally have replaced a bunch of the windows that were all boarded up and stuff to make it look nicer. You see that? And now there's pickleball on the lower level. But
I did see this pickleball,
but the building, if you remember, there were windows that were boarded up. If you from Kaufman, you could see the Adams Mark, right? And it was boarded up. They've put in they've cleaned up the Adams Mark a little bit, so it doesn't
trying to
look
clean up
quite
some spots
as
of the
crappy.
city because of the whole World Cup part. Don't want the city driving around. I also just delusional for any mid to major size city. Sometimes there's buildings that don't look great in any city. That's just reality.
You just don't want it right next to your stadiums where everybody's going to be getting.
So they ripped all the GEHA off. Just took a crowbar to the thing and just hammered it all away.
And then they have to put it back up, though.
I know.
So the person that got that job, they get paid to take it down, and then they're going to get paid to put it back up. It seems like a great gig for a couple months.
It's not bad if you can get it. We were talking about the Chiefs earlier in their upcoming season, and I might be delusional. I don't know if there's a bunch of people who agree with me on this or not. 913-586-7965. Of course, over on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook, where I pay attention to the chat over there as well. I am convinced that the over my dead body mentality applies to, we're going to prove to you that last year was a fluke and we're back is worth a win or maybe two to the Chiefs this year. The just pure screw you energy is worth a win or two because they're going to be so pissed off about how the rest of that season went that they're going to want to, punish a team or two this year for not believing in them or punish an NFL, fan base or two for believing that the dynasty's over, the run's over, Mahomes isn't any good anymore, whatever the things that people will try to say in an offseason. And that if you think they're a 10-win team, you should say 11. If you think they're 11, you should say 12. Whatever your number is, add one for just pure unadulterated spite. Unadulterated spite is what I'm convinced.
Yeah, I hear you. And I think I view it more. It depends on what you buy into. I think in a season, if you have a bad performance or stretch and people are saying whatever they're saying about you, I think it can motivate you. I don't know if I buy the carryover from 6 wins last year, how bad it was, that now that's going to lead to more wins this year. I think their actions have shown that they are motivated by their own failure. Yes, right? The fact that when you're going to Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl, maybe there's some things that needed to be corrected, but you don't because you're winning games. Well, you finally bottomed out, hopefully, at 6 wins last year. Yep. And so you pivoted. You have a new OC. You bring in a new running back coach. You bring in a legitimate wide receiver coach. You now invest in the running back position, for example. You make some changes that maybe needed to happen. Does it cause Andy Reid to step back a little bit and reevaluate? We're going to find out when the season happens. So I think in that way it's motivation. I don't know if it's hey, I think they're a 10-win team, but they won 6 games, so I better bump it up to 11 because they're going to be really, really motivated. I don't know if I buy into that as much, but I definitely think last year, of course, motivated their actions this offseason, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but you don't think that's worth any win? You don't think that – because there's a mental part of sports that is good for wins.
Of course.
I think the Royals have more losses this year because they're in their head. Maybe I'm not claiming they're a 30-20 team
sometimes
if they
that's
just
an
had their head
thing.
right. I think they're 23-27 if they could just not let some of the losses get the better of them. And I think that the way last year's season, they are going to be motivated more than they've been motivated because the other years, motivating yourself is I want to go back-to-back or I want to win 3 in a row. That could be motivation too, but it is a different kind.
I buy Mahomes coming back off an ACL injury, motivation and all that, and to prove to people he's still the best quarterback in the league and that he's fine and all that. That to me, I buy in more than the team as a whole is just going to find a way to win an extra game because they're all extra motivated. I think Patrick Mahomes is out, in my opinion, to prove people that, hey, not only was last year did I not play well before the injury, but and there's people talking about, I tore my ACL. Am I going to be the same quarterback? He desperately wants to prove to people that he can be ready for week 1 and still look like Patrick Mahomes out there. I think that is true.
Yeah, and
someone says it's because of the seed oils. Yeah, that's right. Do we know? Do the Chiefs use
that worth
seed
a
oil?
win?
Do we know? Do the Chiefs have seed oil in their facility?
They regularly get an F for facilities, so my guess is
I don't think the nutrition graded poorly.
it might be even worse than seed oil. Something even lower in their category. They're out getting White Castle burgers.
I don't know. The seed oil was fine when they were going to the 3 Super Bowls in a row. The seed oil wasn't a problem then.
No, I was just joking about the. I will say, I've been to five NFL stadiums, and I think and a handful of baseball stadiums from a food perspective. Yeah, it's pretty low on the list.
From a
media.
Oh, well, nobody cares about the media.
But
food.
I'm assuming that whatever they're doing to us is the quality of food. I think would apply to the players as well.
Oh no!
No, not we're getting the same
think
quality.
They're worried about the nutrition of the media as much as they are their players.
What I'm saying
come
is,
on.
if you are the worst at media food, I think you're probably also the worst at the player food.
I think it's completely different people and
different
catering
people making those decisions.
And catering, yeah, it's not the same.
You think it's a different company doing the catering?
Yeah,
I've seen the buffet spread they used to put out on Fridays at the practice facility. It wasn't great. I've sat down there as Chiefs players made a plate on a Friday after practice.
It's not the same food you're getting, though, man.
They also, I don't remember they rated nutrition-wise. They hated the facility,
I have
though.
to go look.
In fairness, all the facility stuff, that's going to be wiped away here pretty quick. Not pretty quick. 4 years from now, plus, I will stay, going back to that thing, the biggest cowardly thing is shutting it down because you got embarrassed. They said they wouldn't say bad things about us.
To answer your question, Chiefs nutrition, food dining area,
F?
C+.
Oh, okay. Still not great.
Now, is that because the dining? Because they didn't
There's not a good dining area size. They don't have
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it the actual food, or is it just that the
combination? Probably
the dining area wasn't great. Like the Jags. Oh, here we go. Nutrition. Sorry. More importantly, not the food. That's the wrong category. Here you go. Nutritionist, dietitian, A-. There you go.
Okay, so they were fine there.
There you go. There you go.
Definly.
No way they're doing
taking away
get an A-
for sure.
Yeah. What was the Titans last year? That's what I need to look after the Robert Saleh crap.
I'm gonna laugh if it was an A.
Let's go Tennessee.
Like the players
B.
didn't even. They didn't care last
So
year.
they got the seed oil away. I bet you that nutrition's now an A- in Tennessee.
I hope it goes to a C+ when we get these grades again next year because I just want to joke about
it. There's no grades next year, remember?
No, they won that. They were fighting it, weren't they?
Is that true? I don't know.
I don't know if they won it, but I think the NFLPA pushed back.
I don't know. Tennessee, we'll check. We'll check it out. Tennessee. Cities. Yeah, I don't know, man. Down in Tennessee.
You never know. They're not going to win more because of the lack of seed oils. That's the only thing I know. It's the only thing I'm sure about. Someone says it'll just be better because it'll be more rested. Look, there's probably some truth in that.
Longer off season for them.
This will be the longest off season they've had ever, and not even particularly close by a mile. By a mile, because those guys didn't have to play as many snaps the final 3 weeks of the season and played a full month less than they have been for 7 straight years. Especially I would think you'd get some better years out of Travis, Chris Jones, the older players in particular. Doesn't this feel like this benefits the most? Not some 23.
Yeah, the recovery of somebody in their 30s versus in their mid 20s is going to be different.
Karlaftis, who was suffering from injuries a lot last year.
Yeah, married this offseason. Congrats to him, by the way. It looked like unbelievable wedding in Greece. Saw some photos like a week or so ago.
Somebody said they just learned that he's born in Greece. I was like, well, how do you
It's
just
been a
learn
well-known thing.
I thought we knew that from the beginning.
His high school sweetheart, though, I think, or whatever. And I believe they went to college together.
We heard he hosts the best dinners, Drew. He flies in seafood from Greece.
Yeah, this is when I
just
think
to
had him
cook
on it
for all
during,
his friends.
during camp, or maybe
seafood
it was
or
during camp.
meats or something.
Meats, some kind of He prepares it special for him,
Yeah, someone says, is Rashee Rice going to be rested this offseason? Huh? I don't think he's getting great sleep in jail, if that's what you mean. I don't think those beds are all that comfortable.
Going to bed every night right after him's got to be like, I screwed this up bad. Yeah, you did.
That might be optimistic thinking that he's actually
learned a lesson,
learning anything from what's happened.
Well, he's learned 0 so far, so I don't know if
I think that's right.
I don't know. I would say though, there's been plenty of people who finally did learn the lesson when jail was involved.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
hope so. Up next, let's get to what's trending. Then let's get back to the Royals and a couple pieces that could be of interest to other teams. But what would that do for the rotation in 2027? And a quarterback got a brand new deal yesterday.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Baseball season is in full swing, and that means the summer heat is coming. The guys over at Climate Control have been serving KC homeowners for over 35 years. They know how to get your cooling system ready to handle our scorching hot summer weather that you know is on the way. Stay cool and comfortable this summer. Call Climate Control today, 816-265-2830. 816-265-2830 for all your cooling, heating, and plumbing needs. Don't wait. Visit ClimateControlKC.com today. Climate Control, heating, cooling, and plumbing.
Chris Stigall lied about President Trump.
Donald Trump's not a conservative. I will not support Donald Trump.
And now he's lying about Nathan Willett.
Woke Willett spent $631,000 of your money on transgender outreach programs.
Those are flat-out lies from Chris Stigall, who attacks President Trump.
And here's the proof.
He voted against trans surgeries and trans bathrooms. Nathan Willett is a Christian, conservative, and seventh-generation North Missourian.
I'm Nathan Willett. I'll fight for President Trump, and I approve this message. Paid for by Nathan Willett for Congress.
Ever wonder why Fanatics Sportsbook is America's fastest-growing sportsbook? Other sportsbooks? Well, their rewards are just the same old. But Fan Cash is the ultimate sports currency, and betting with Fanatics lets you stack Fan Cash. With Fanatics Sportsbook, you can get up to 10% Fan Cash back on your wagers, win or lose. Use your Fan Cash to unlock the world of Fanatics with unlimited profit boosts, exclusive merch, collectibles, game tickets, and so much more. If you want value for bets, Fanatics will always have your back. Did I also mention they're giving away millions in Fan Cash this year with games like Fan Cash Drop? Tap in every Friday and see what the fuss is all about. So switch to a sportsbook that will always give you more to play with. Go check it out for yourself and download the Fanatics Sportsbook app today. Winning hits different here. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MyReset. CT call 888-789-7777. MA call 800-327-5050. NY call 877-8-HOPE-NY. MD visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Offer not available in all states. Terms apply. See Fanatics Sportsbook app.
Hi, I'm Carter. And I'm Charlie. We'd like to share a quick story about a homeowner named Jack. Jack had a home he needed to sell fast. And Jack thought he had it all figured out. So Jack talked to multiple cash buyers. Jack chose the highest offer. But the day before closing, guess what? The buyer backed out, leaving Jack with the moving truck all packed in the driveway and not sure what to do. Jack learned the hard way that the highest offer isn't always the right offer. Jack got suckered. Make sure you aren't hung out to dry. Call our dad at Rex Buys KC. Our dad is local, he knows Kansas City, and he actually closes deals. No repairs, no fees, no showings, no surprises. Just a fair cash offer and a smooth process. Now, don't be like Jack. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
Lunch was great, but this traffic is awful. Can we stop at a bathroom? Are you all right?
I keep having stomach issues after eating, like diarrhea, gas and bloating, abdominal pain, and sometimes oily stools.
Sound familiar? Those stomach issues may actually be a pancreas issue called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Creon pancrelipase may help manage EPI. Creon is a prescription medicine used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall. If you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. Call 800-633-9110 or visit creoninfo.com to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
I'm asking my doctor about EPI and if Creon could help.
Get a $15 O'Reilly gift card after rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems that can keep you up at night, like snoring, aches and pains, or sleeping hot. Our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And now at Mattress Firm, save up to $700, plus get a free adjustable base with select Sealy Posturepedic mattresses. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Cody and Gold Garage Sale benefiting the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum is on Wednesday, June 10th on your home for Kansas City Sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti.
Number one on What's Trending, the Royals are back at it after an off day yesterday. They continue their homestand as the Seattle Mariners are in town. Noah Cameron gets the nod tonight, 6:40 first pitch. Vern's on deck show at 5:30 right here on 96.5 The Fan. The Mariners come in at 24-27. The Royals, of course, 20-30, 10 games under 500. They've lost 9 of their last 10.
Next up on What's Trending, the Knicks go up 2-0 in their series, a 109-93 win at home over the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll get Spurs Thunder Game 3 tonight, but the Knicks officially in firm control after what ended up being an easy win last night. I'm not saying they're going to sweep, but they're definitely winning that series, which means it'll most likely, in my opinion, it'll most likely be the Knicks in the finals awaiting whoever gets this Spurs Thunder game, which very well might be the same thing again. They might just be sitting around for 4 or 5 days waiting for that one to wrap up, because that one already reeks of 6 or 7
Feels
games
like it.
Spurs
I think
Thunder.
the record is 16 wins straight, and the Knicks are at 13 right now.
Okay.
I believe in the postseason, so they'd be on the precipice of reaching that record or getting close to it.
Did you see that Spurs player the other day going to the bathroom in the middle of the game?
Carter Bryant, shout out to Carter.
It's a regular
Dude, just
public
like the
bathroom.
regular public restroom in the stadium.
I legitimately thought it was AI at first.
No.
I never looked into it.
No, he just walks in there. He's in full uniform.
Washing his hands.
Had to go to the bathroom real quick, and for whatever reason, he couldn't go to the locker room.
Carter had to go, I guess.
But he was just like standing at the urinal. He
Yeah.
couldn't just hold it long enough to get down there?
I don't know.
Somebody did, like, in fairness, people were like, hey, don't, you can't be filming people in the bathroom, which is true and you shouldn't do. But also, like, if there was an NBA player standing at the sink washing his hands and I was in there, I'd be like, what the hell's he doing here in the middle of the game?
During the game is the crazy part.
Yeah, that's the part that
I would love to know why he couldn't go to the locker room.
I think he just, I don't know, maybe
he took a wrong turn, and he's like, I'm already in here? Oh, well.
Something.
I don't know. Anyway, elsewhere on What's Trending, the Rams and reigning NFL MVP Matthew Stafford have reached agreement on a 1-year, $55 million extension. It could go up to $60 million, of course, with some incentives. So he was scheduled to make $40 million this year. Of the $55 million extension, $5 million is a roster bonus that gets fully guaranteed right away. The remaining $50 million, according to Adam Schefter, becomes guaranteed at the start of the 2027 league year. There's also $5 million in incentives each year tied to playoff success. He is now tied to the Rams through the 2027 season. There's $105 million remaining on his contract.
Next up on What's Trending, the Cody and Gold Garage Sale is coming up Wednesday, June 10th. Starts at 7 a.m. We'll have the website up and running starting next week, where you can start previewing some of the experiences that will be available to you, some great local businesses we'll be working with. You'll have a Dusty experience, or one with Drew, one with me and Alex, or the show. All of those things will be available. Hell, listen to this morning, randomly, dropped by 1,000 golf balls and 2 of those, like, banker boxes
They
for
were
the
good
Cody
golf
and Gold
balls,
Garage
too.
Sale.
Yeah, which is awesome. Now, I will
Dusty and I
say,
were taking a look.
please do not just show up and bring stuff,
No,
though.
no.
We don't need to just now start getting random stuff dropped off on. I want to be very clear. Dangerous mentioning that on the air, but I don't want us now to have just people dropping off random stuff. I appreciate the golf balls, though, from that listener. But yes, we are not seeking items. Let me be very clear. I don't want people to start lining up and Drew being downstairs bringing up random items. We have enough. We have enough.
We got a lot of stuff.
Yes.
But it was pretty crazy.
But I'm excited for the garage sale, all benefiting the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. We're excited to work with Bob Kendrick again and continue to give you more information. Hopefully we'll have a website up and running for you guys here in a couple weeks so you can go on there and start viewing some of the items. Lastly on What's Trending, and some terrible news. I know, Drew, you were locked into this more than even we were, given the fact your knowledge of NASCAR, but the awful news yesterday, Kyle Busch passed away at just the age of 41, and there's still a lot of information, of course, that people have questions and nobody knows the answers, and it's at some point that'll be the answers that people can get. It's not the right time to speculate. No. It is obviously just shocking and terrible, though. But my understanding, Drew, and you can fill me in, is that he was just racing a week ago. Is that right?
He raced last weekend at Dover. He raced in the All-Star race. He won at Dover. unfortunately, I mean, and right after he won, he asked why he cherishes the win so much, because since moving to Richard Childress Racing, to get in the weeds a little bit, his career hasn't been as successful from a winning perspective as much as it was earlier on. He was like, you just cherish him because you never know which one could be your last. And unfortunately, that was his last one. But he is he's considered to be, by a lot of people who have since told stories, the most talented race car driver, any motorsport, any version of racing on the face of the planet. He had 234 victories, the most among all 3 NASCAR National Series of all time, 63 in the Cup, which puts him in a category which is very esteemed to be a legend in the sport. He essentially was so good, so young, there were rules changed so he could race as young as he was able to, around like 16 and 17. So he also was a 2-time champion. So yeah, just try. I saw the news and my jaw literally dropped. Like it just stunning. I saw that he was going to miss out on the Coke 600 this week, and I was like, dang, that really sucks. And then it was with the illness. I figured, it was nothing too serious, but the reports came in that it was a serious thing, and that's how he passed away, as far as we know, is following the severe illness and that hospitalization.
It said he had like a cold, and then he asked for a shot after a race.
A couple of weeks ago, he
passed out during like a training session, right?
A couple of weeks ago, he was at Watkins Glen in one of the races and said, hey, I'm dealing with like some sinus pressure. I need to, and I guess had a really bad cough, and was like, I need to see a doctor after the race is done. But yeah, he was in the simulator apparently earlier this week, and that's when he something happened and during his session in the sim, and from there he was hospitalized. So obviously just devastating news for the NASCAR community, for racing in general. Just gone way too soon, and I think he was one of those guys who was very polarizing. Either you loved him or you hated him in a way, on the racetrack, because he was so good and he made you know it. And there's he embraced the villain role, and I think that there's some of that's kind of missing from NASCAR now too, in a way. But yeah, Kyle Busch is a legend. So
passing away at the age of 41. I did see this morning TMZ put out some more just details on what maybe led up to this. They just said that there was a 911 call, I guess, around Wednesday afternoon, I apologize. Mm-hmm. Wednesday afternoon at that racing simulator you guys were talking about. And then the caller noted Kyle was, quote, very hot, thought he was going to pass out. He was awake at the time. He was rushed to the hospital around 5:30 on Wednesday. And then the news yesterday evening, early evening, that he passed away. So it all happened very, very quickly. Obviously terrible. He's survived by his wife and 2 kids. So awful news yesterday in the sports world around Kyle Busch. Coming up a little bit later on in the show, don't forget 1 o'clock hour today. It is a Fan Club Friday, thanks to our friends over at Jay Rieger & Co. We'll have Rob Collins join us. I'm sure he probably has some thoughts on Kyle Busch as well.
Yeah, he's covered NASCAR quite a bit.
Yeah, he probably covers NASCAR more than anybody else locally, I would say, on the TV side of things.
From being there with the media, 100%.
He was talking to MJ just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. So we'll ask him about that. Yeah. We'll also, I'm sure, talk about the Royals with him and maybe his thoughts on the conversation we're about to have, which is around the Royals rotation, both this year and moving forward. Because I, in passing yesterday, had brought up just, Michael Walker, I think we all recognize he's having a great year. He's pitching phenomenal for him. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. And so they will get some calls on him at some point this year, whether the team bounces back or not. There will be some teams that at least pick up the phone and say, hey, are you guys are you interested in moving Michael Walker? Or here's what we could offer, et cetera. I don't know if they can afford to do that, though. As great as he has been, he's got a couple years of control, Cody. You start to look at the rotation for next year. I think the only 2 or 3, if you include Waka, locks would be Reagans, Lugo, and Waka. After that, you get into, okay, Noah Cameron, let's see how his season finishes off, and are you stuck with Stephen Kolek? Because Chris Bubich's contract is up. He's probably gone at the end of this year. I'd be shocked if he's back next year with the Kansas City Royals. And so if I tell you then you remove Michael Waka from the rotation, all of a sudden you're down to Reagans and Lugo 1, 2, and then it's a bunch of question marks the rest of the rotation. And the way Reagans has pitched here recently, I think I could put a little bit of a question mark around his name as well. So I just think for a year, while we all want it for this year, for 2027, this team, the expectation, it's not going to be that, oh, yeah, they didn't meet expectation in 26, if that's what happens, and 2027, there won't be high expectations. No, this group is the group that is going to, every year, consistently at least have the expectation of making the postseason. So I need a rotation that's viable next year as well, and I don't know if it's viable without Michael Walker in it.
This is where the trades really become interesting, if they end up being a seller. Because, yeah, you could definitely find a market for Walker. You're not having any trouble. Bullpen, I don't care. bench bats or bats who like are under 1-year contracts. Nobody cares if the Royals end up becoming sellers and trade away Lane Thomas or Daniel Lynch. Like, that doesn't change anything, right? From a long-term perspective. They built their roster around the idea that they had their rotation set up for years and that they wouldn't need the likes of Kendry Churio and David Shields until the older guys had aged out as they're in the middle of a playoff potential run, right? They're supposed to be a team that doesn't even have to think about selling Walker, selling Lugo, replacing them in the rotation next year. That wasn't what they were supposed to do. So the problem is that if you trade him, I do think it's an issue. Because then I think your rotation is hoping that Bergert and Kolek can hold down one spot together, or you have to be willing to make a similar Bergert or Kolek trade again this year where you bring in someone who could hypothetically start for your team next season. That also pushes Noah Cameron up into the rotation, and he hasn't exactly earned that. It relies on you to count on even more Cole Reagans and Seth Lugo, and they've been inconsistent at times this year. So like it's putting even more pressure on some of the points in which you've had issues, or it's asking guys to move up the order, or it's asking you to like fly someone through AAA or spend more money in free agency. It's why I think it's going to be hard. The reason why I asked this question is, if the Royals end up becoming sellers, I think trading away your starting rotation is going to be the hardest thing to let go. Because it's not punting on next year, but it's making next year harder. And next year, but on January 1st next year, we'd have the exact same expectations we did for this year's Royal team. I'm sorry. If it is still Vinny and Bobby and they don't like make some wholesale changes, next year's team should also have expectations. They still got too good of a core to not put real pressure on them to win. Be a playoff team. Be above 500. Compete. Just because they're coming up short of that doesn't mean I won't have expectations for them next year. Right. So if you trade away one of those guys, Gold, you've made life harder in 2027. And I don't know how you can commit.
That's why right now
that.
I would say I don't think, look, there's always an offer that can blow you away and you say, hey, we have to make the trade, right? There's always that. Yeah. I don't look, Michael Walker's having a great year. Because of his age, he's not, yes, there's years of control. They're not going to get, a top 5 prospect in somebody's system. I don't think. Maybe I'm way off on that, Cody. I know you're not getting I don't think you're getting a big leaguer back if in fact you did that. To me, you're getting someone that's in AAA that's close to getting called up, maybe. That would be up for your team. That would be if Walker continues to pitch the way he's pitching. I just don't know, that if they can actually afford to trade him given the rotation. He might be one of their most valuable assets that are realistic. They're not trading Bobby, okay? They're not trading Michael Garcia. But those are the only two that that I would totally be 100% off limits. But Michael Garcia and Bobby.
That's what we've been saying for years.
Yeah, and the same thing, right? Yeah. Those are the only two names where I don't even think I'm picking up the phone.
Salvi?
I don't know what you're getting for him, though. It's not even much worth it at this point.
I mean, sometimes people trade crazy stuff for catchers. Is the only thing I'll say.
Well, it depends if he gets hot. Like, if he gets hot for the next month and a half, then it's interesting.
I really do hope that they treat what we had said with Jake earlier. I hope they try to just wash, and it's easier said than done, just memory erase the 50 games and start thinking about it from this point forward as a completely different season. It doesn't mean you'll go to the playoffs. It doesn't mean you'll solve all your problems. You still got like a 2% shot of being a playoff team this year. But just for a moment, erase and forget that those 50 games ever existed and try to start playing good baseball now. Problem is they're still shorthanded now. They're still without Estevez. They're still without Strom.
Yeah,
they're
Bubich
still without
Reagans.
They're without Bub. Yeah, they're still they're shorthanded.
No, they're in a really
They have to erase their
spot.
season. They have to erase the first part of the season. Salvi and Vinny still aren't hitting, and they're missing guys. And, but Salvi and Vinny, I'm just saying, whatever happened at the beginning part of the season, forget about it. Just erase your memory. That part didn't
But you and I
exist.
both know the only way you really can erase is if all of a sudden you start having success. That's the only
Otherwise,
way. I mean, deep down,
compounds.
all of a sudden tonight you go out there and you lose, and it's the same base running mistakes and all that, and you're like, okay, it's the same story.
That's why I just said I hope.
Yeah.
My hope is that they do that.
So do I. Trust me. I hope 20 and 30 is as bad as it gets. I'm afraid that 10 games under 500 is not as bad as it's going to get, just because of some of the injuries now on top of a team that already was making mistakes. I mean, the base running stuff is the one thing that probably ticks me off the most whenever I watch this team. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to be upset, but the base running is the one thing that to me is just absolutely unacceptable. I don't care if you're a first place MLB team or a last place MLB team. The base running mistakes is stuff that should not happen at the big league level. It is been horrendous. We went through the numbers a couple days ago. They're top 5 in caught stealing or something like that. I don't have the numbers again. They're top 5 in too many base running categories on the negative end.
They made 41 outs in the base paths
in 50 games.
Yeah, which is, for I think fairly obvious reasons, an absurd number.
So the base running probably ticks me off more than anything. And then just as you acknowledged before, Cody, they got the second best player in all baseball, and it feels like you're wasting it.
Yeah,
and of course, in Bobby Witt Jr.
I'll be honest, it'd be the same thing as like if I were a Cincinnati fan and I were Joe Burrow, or if I were a Cincinnati fan and I had Joe Burrow, or I was, for all the years they had Mike Trout. It doesn't matter the sport. It doesn't matter the team. If you have one of the 5 best players in the sport and your team's going nowhere, that should piss you off. It should. Even in baseball where one player can't just save it, right? Like in the NBA, one player can completely turn your franchise around. In the NFL, at quarterback, for the most part, one player might be able to turn your stuff around. I understand in baseball, it doesn't work that way. You can put Shohei Ohtani on this team. They might not make the playoffs, right? The rest of the way. It just doesn't work that way in baseball. But it still feels like you're wasting it. How do you not get a team around that guy? How do you not make sure that you're getting the right thing? Because he'll make the rest of it easy. And I'll tell you right now, it's easier to win when you got a guy putting up 30 homers, 40 doubles, leading the league in batting average or steals or whatever he's leading. It's easier to do it. And like people are like, yeah, like if I were a Bills fan about Josh Allen or Joe Burrow, but it's even more frustrating when you don't give yourself a chance. I don't feel like they're wasting Bobby Witt Jr.'s career in baseball if he makes the playoffs most of the time and they just come up short.
Years where you miss the playoffs.
Make the playoffs.
Yeah, years where you miss the playoffs, it does feel like every one of those is a waste. Absolutely.
Yeah. It'd just be like, oh man, Bobby Witt Jr. is going to put up those numbers. And look, his ceiling is, this is what's great. Baseball players' ceilings typically are the couple of years after Bobby Witt Jr.'s current age. Like, it's like 3-4 years. The next 3 or 4 years should be maybe when he just like runs the show. He could still be better.
Yeah, he's 25.
He turns 20. He could easily be better.
He turns 26 next month. So he's right in the. I mean, he's just about ready to enter his prime.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't want this to happen. And like someone's like, JJ keeps signing this Hunter Renfroe deal. This year, at least they're getting some production out of the guys he signed. It's not like 2 black holes. Now, they should have never kept India. That was a mistake from the beginning. I thought it was a mistake from the beginning.
They doubled down on it.
I'm frustrated by the fact that they didn't spend that $8 million literally anywhere else.
Yeah, they doubled down on it because they made the trade and they wanted to prove that it worked, I think, and it was the right move, and they doubled down and it blew up in their face.
And $8 million is not a lot in baseball terms. It's just if you were limited on budget, you could have spent that $8 million everywhere else. But part of that came from the fact that they were probably in the same boat as me, which is I wasn't a big believer in Nick Lofton. And Nick Lofton's been a much better player. If they realized Nick Lofton was going to be this good paired in a righty-lefty platoon, maybe they don't pay Jonathan India $8 million.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. So they just kind of got stuck in
Royals, Mariners tonight. Open up a little 3-game series. Then the Yankees in town on Memorial Day coming up on Monday. So the Royals still got 6 more at home on this homestand. Right now, 0-for on the homestand. We'll see if they can't.
I got to make a selection for Vern's pregame tonight. What am I going to? Which route am I going? You got any bets you like already? Should I be leaning a certain way? Last time I mean, bet. Are you going to tell me to bet against the Royals?
No, I'm just saying you might want to not just do a bunch of Royal home run bets. I mean, I don't think that's smart.
No.
The Royals are
day off. Should I be betting Vinny? Is it a righty on the mound tonight for the
Logan Gilbert?
Okay. I don't know what his career numbers against Logan Gilbert are. Logan Gilbert doesn't exactly impress me. Maybe I'll do a race to 3.
He's a righty, if you're wondering.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I don't know. Bet-wise, I'm not sure, Cody. A pitcher props with Noah Cameron on that over under 4.5 strikeouts.
I lost. One of the times I lost with Vern this year is I took over 5.5. I bumped it up so I could get plus money, and he ended up with 5. And he had 4 in like 3 innings. You know how it works.
I mean, Julio Rodriguez plus 490 to homer, kind of like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, you think so? Now I'm just looking at batting versus pitching stats for Logan Gilbert. Jack Caglione is 1 for 5 in his career against him. Michael Garcia is 2 for 13. Isbell 2 for 10. Salvador Perez 7 of 19 against Logan Gilbert in his career.
Okay.
Hot damn.
Well, he is plus 470 to hit a homer to record 2 or more hits. Salvi is plus 270.
Bobby Witt Jr. 7 of 14 against Logan Gilbert in his career.
He is plus 180 to have 2 hits, and he is plus 470 to homer.
Oh, okay. There's a couple of guys who hit Logan Gilbert pretty good. Vinny's
looks like you've got some options, though.
Yeah, I'll find some.
You got some options. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we will get into our first round of projections that are out there for individual players on the Chiefs, including the wide receiver room. I think it's very interesting to now have some numbers to at least say, hey, are you willing to lock those in right now and what it would say about the offense? Talking about Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy. So we'll take a look at what one site put out there just the other day, coming up in 10 minutes or so. I mentioned during What's Trending, Matthew Stafford gets a new deal, or 1-year extension, really, $55 million. And it's kind of clear where the Rams are at as an organization. I know they drafted Ty Simpson. Like, I get it.
Yep.
But that pick, I mean, there's a real chance Ty Simpson never plays a snap for the Rams if Matthew Stafford stays healthy. Unless you think, okay, Rams win the Super Bowl this year. They are favorites to do so. Stafford rides off in the sunset, and then next year they have a competition. It's Ty Simpson and somebody else. Maybe that's the case. Otherwise, I don't know if Ty Simpson's draft pick really does anything for the future of Matthew Stafford.
I mean, they could Aaron Rodgers him, like he can sit for a couple years before he's the starter.
Do you think Stafford's playing beyond this year? I know he signed an extension that locks him in through 27.
If he doesn't win the World Series, or the World Series, just not baseball. If he doesn't win the Super Bowl, I think he is. Why not? Why wouldn't he? He does. It's not like he's playing at a bad level. He's been an MVP candidate the last 2 years.
He won it last year.
He's playing certainly. Yeah, but I just meant like he was a candidate the year before. But you're right. He did win the MVP last year. So like, I have a hard time imagining that he would want to walk away if he's still playing at an incredibly high level. He's not even playing at like the Aaron Rodgers level. You know what I'm saying? Like where Aaron Rodgers playing at like, I'm a league average quarterback.
Even
whatever.
if they win, I think he comes back.
If Stafford stays healthy, he's still playing a that's been always the issue. Remember last year it was all about the neck injury heading in or the back injury. And that was the big question mark. Would he be ready and all that? And he was healthy he didn't miss a single game, I don't think.
If they win this year and he has 2, he could, let's say, just for the argument's sake, he gets to 3, he has as many as Patrick Mahomes does.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's adding 2. I hear what you're saying. Yes, but he needs 2 more to get there.
That's why. Like,
it's a big if.
But I'm saying if they win one this year and he feels fine, why not come back and try to be in that category of Aikman and Mahomes and Steve Young?
I guess
if you feel good and you know the team, the Rams are gonna. The Rams are. I think we talked about this pre-show. The Rams operate differently than everybody else. Whether it's the F those picks or whatever it is, they'll be in a position to be good after this year. It's not going to be, can I win with this team? Conversation with Matt Stafford. Is the elbow okay?
It's crazy. I was actually reading a story about the Rams today. He was talking about the 13 personnel, and I was curious just because that became kind of the trend of the NFL. He did not run a single snap in that formation until week 6 when Puka Nacua got hurt. Puka Nacua got hurt, and he's like, okay, I got something for you. Single wide receiver, 3 tight ends, take this. And then he just kept increasing it. And he realized how good at a play action Matt Stafford was. And they just kept building and building and building off of it. And if they found something that's going to work for him late in his career,
they have the running back doing
it. Then they're going to take advantage of it, and they're going to do it. I only think he retires if he wins the Super Bowl. Otherwise, I think he's coming back. I think he set himself up to come back. He's openly said that he doesn't necessarily want to retire right away. I think he has hinted at the idea that he didn't necessarily want it to just be 1 year, and everybody hinted at that. That's why the Ty Simpson trade up was surprising to people.
Yeah, I just think people thought he was going to retire after this past season. He announced to the NFL honors he wouldn't. I feel like usually we don't usually go like 5 years of people thinking you're going to retire and you stick around for. Usually it's like, all right, we think you're going to retire, but you stay around for another 2. Like I don't think it's Matthew Stafford's not be playing 3 years from now kind of thing. I think it's basically, is he playing one more after this is the question.
10 years from now when we discuss Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers, 2 guys who could be in the final year of their career. Aaron Rodgers, we know he is. Who do you think people will say are better quarterback? We're sitting around the bar, you and me and Drew
resume or
just like when people
who was the better quarterback? Who was the better
quarterback?
Aaron
was it
Rodgers.
Matt Stafford or Aaron Rodgers? What do you think the answer would be around the bar? Because some of this is personal bias, admittedly.
Yeah, I mean,
people
I think my answer,
liking one person versus another.
My answer is still Aaron Rodgers. Let's not forget. While the back half is not going to be as good for him,
he's 4 MVPs.
Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback. Matthew Stafford is phenomenal and should get more credit than what he. And now he's starting to finally get the credit I think that he deserved after the years in Detroit. But Aaron Rodgers, like if I had to select the quarterbacks all over again, coming out of college, going back to Aaron Rodgers, the answer again.
I think that's probably the answer.
And I know Stafford was the higher pick. Stafford was the higher pick, you know, but I'm just saying from a career and everything and ability, I still would choose Aaron Rodgers over Stafford.
Their numbers aren't going to be crazy in the sense that the MVPs are a blowout. Both have 1 Super Bowl win, both have a ton of yards, both have a ton of touchdowns. Like, there's not going to be some massive gap there. Aaron Rodgers did win 4 MVPs. And Matt Stafford just got his first one just last year, and it felt not like a gift, but it felt like one of those like, well, we got to give him one eventually.
Right.
MVPs in some capacity, and so I'm just curious. I think, people just dislike Aaron Rodgers. So, there'll be people who make the argument for Stafford. Stafford was also put in a difficult position right away. He was on a loser franchise immediately. It wasn't until he got to a good one that he actually got to start winning.
If we're talking stats, too, though, Stafford had Megatron. Aaron Rodgers had Jordy Nelson, Donald Driver, Javon Walker, those guys. He was elevating other players. I mean, he had Devontae Adams, but it felt like
Rodgers did things I didn't see other people doing. Stafford was good.
Stafford was very good, yeah.
Stafford feels like I could see Justin Herbert having the exact same career as Stafford. As then he just puts up a ton of numbers, then eventually gets with a franchise who knows how to win. He goes to the NFC, and figures out, somebody knows what they're doing, and actually, maybe punches through late. He's got arm talent. He's got, ability to process, but Aaron Rodgers is still special in this time. I'm not saying that.
All right, coming up next, though, let's get into some projections that are out there for some Chiefs receivers in particular. Are they good enough numbers where you'd lock them in right now? And the random question of the day.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
FanDuel can make watching the NBA playoffs more exciting because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's right, you can turn $5 into $150 in bonus bets just for getting started. FanDuel makes it easy to get closer to all the action, from those player props on your favorite stars to the stats and trends. FanDuel has all the tools you need to back them up. It's everything you need all in one app, so don't miss your shot. Head to FanDuel.com/local to get started. Bet on the players you love the way you want. Visit FanDuel.com/local. FanDuel, an official partner of the NBA. Play your game. FanDuel Sportsbook's the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and over in President, Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. First, online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
You've heard Cody and I talk about our friends over at Centric, and they're gearing up for an AI sales event on Thursday, May 28th.
They'll teach you how to use AI as a daily sales assistant, draft emails, prep calls, maybe do prospect research, strengthen follow-ups, or even apply AI to help you analyze deals and pipelines. They can do all of that over at Centric.
They'll even help you build repeatable AI sales workflows that support your daily selling activities. So take part in the AI sales event over at Centric, Thursday, May 28th. Go to Centric.com.
Memorial Day's almost here, and I've got a better plan than sweating in the kitchen or over the grill. I'm letting Hy-Vee handle all of the food. I'm ordering my party trays right through the Hy-Vee app. Whether I want custom builds or their huge grab-and-go selection like charcuterie, wings, seafood, sandwiches, or smoked meat, it's all there. A quick stop at their massive wine and spirits department, and I'm done. One convenient stop for the perfect party. So this Memorial Day, let Hy-Vee handle everything, from the food to the beverages, only at Hy-Vee.
If the high cost of filling up is weighing you down, lighten your load this Memorial Day at Hy-Vee. Save 25 cents per gallon on fuel with every $35 purchase. Stock up on groceries and stack up the fuel savings. Earn 25 cents per gallon with your $35 purchase, 50 cents per gallon with a $70 purchase, and so on. The more you spend, the more you'll save. Your next fill-up could be free. Don't miss the Memorial Day Fuel Saver event Monday, May 25th, only at Hy-Vee.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a data analyst.
Hey, what model did you use for these quarterly projections?
Astrology. If Mercury's in retrograde, sales tank. If Venus is rising, we crush Q4.
You built our revenue forecast off horoscopes?
Yeah, the Zodiac never lies.
This is the job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
A cool and crisp Modelo tastes good. But you know what tastes even better? That survived the evening rush Modelo. That post-12-hour shift Modelo. That fought for every rebound Modelo. That just clocked out on a Friday Modelo. That Modelo you earned is just better. That Modelo is the markable fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55-plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Brought to you by the Kansas City Win Nelson Trade Show. This Friday, May 22nd from 10 till 2 at the Boulevard Drive-In. Contractors ready to simplify installs and take on bigger jobs? See Champion HVAC at the Win Nelson Trade Show this Friday from 10 till 2 at the Boulevard Drive-In. Meet the team, see the equipment up close, and find solutions that actually work in the field. Food, giveaways, and 30-plus vendors. Don't miss it.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Rob Brennan. We hope you're enjoying Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's biggest sporting event. It's presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. New episodes released every Wednesday on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up in a half hour, Fan Club Friday, brought to you by Jay Rieger & Co. We'll have a couple drinks, get set for a long Memorial Day weekend. We'll ask Rob Collins about Royals heading into the weekend. We'll also talk more about awful news in NASCAR yesterday around Kyle Busch and his tragic passing at the age of 41. We'll talk some Chiefs offseason. A lot to get into with Rob Collins coming up in a half hour. Don't forget, video stream up and running in 4K over on YouTube, Twitch, X, and Facebook. And, of course, the Jay Southland Tow Service text line always open, 913-586-7965. We've got a random question of the day coming up in about 8 minutes or so. But it is the first projection for individuals I've seen in the Chiefs season that came out. It's more geared towards fantasy football players, but it gives us an idea maybe of what some of the numbers could be. And we'll have more when we get closer to training camp. But the folks over at Sleeper put out some number projections for Chiefs wide receivers, running back, and, of course, Patrick Mahomes. And so given what we've been discussing this week around Rashee Rice and his decision-making and all that, I wonder if this is a stat line you would lock in or not, because I can't lock in this number, but I get why for Rice someone might be wanting to because of availability concerns. But they have Rashee Rice projected numbers over at Sleeper. 77 catches, 849 yards, and 6 touchdowns. You know, I think he's capable this year of having a 1,200, so I'm not going there at all, especially when I know what some of the other numbers are at projected-wise for Rice, or for Worthy, I should say. So, no, I would not lock in. 77 catches, 849, and 6 touchdowns. I'm not locking that in. Not at all.
No, it's right on the fringe, admittedly, Gold. And I'll tell you the reason why I would say yes, and the only reason I'd say yes is I don't know if he's getting suspended. I don't think he is, but the NFL, under their guidelines, technically can investigate it again. He's being looked at again by the league, and the last time he was being looked at by the league, they said, nothing to see here, and told him he's fine. He wasn't going to be suspended under the personal conduct policy. Maybe because they passed the last time doesn't mean they're going to ignore it this time. And so a probation violation, as it sits, could technically be something that falls under that. So do they get him for a game? Do they get him for 2 games? And while I also think any number of the last 12 games in which he's been on an NFL football field support the fact that he's like an 1,100-yard guy, so I shouldn't just take 900-ish, right, or a little bit below. I'd lock it in just because I don't know. And I'm done counting on him to do things too high until he proves he can be on a football field, either through injury or through stupidity. I don't really care what the reason is. He just hasn't proven enough to make me not want to just lock in almost 850 yards. So I'd take it. I'd have some reservation about it versus the other Xavier Worthy, whose numbers you put out there, or even Travis Kelce's, where I would definitively not lock it in. But yeah, I'd take it for Rice, but I'd take it with some caution.
Well, then Worthy's projection is 55 catches, 695 and 4 touchdowns.
Well, it seems like that's about where I think his year would go, isn't it?
That number in general is probably one I would lock in because I think he might be best case 750 yards.
But not if you're locking in Rice.
But the issue is if you're going to lock in Rice at 849 and you're going to then lock in at Worthy at 695, well, then you think this offense is going to be a problem this year.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you do.
No,
maybe you do.
I'm mediocre on it. I think it's got some possibilities. But at the same time, I don't want to get kind of I don't want to get too locked in or hoping that it's something outside of that. But look, I know you're saying you're locking in Rice, you're locking in Worthy. That's locking in some pretty low numbers. But I'd be higher on Travis Kelce's. Maybe I think Tyquan's going to do more. And I still think they might bring in another wide receiver. And so I'm locking in what seem like lower numbers. But at Xavier Worthy, what's the ceiling above that? If I don't lock that in, what am I hoping for? Another 100 yards? Like at least with Rice, if I don't lock it in Gold, I might be hoping for another 250, 300. For Xavier Worthy, if I said 700, you'd slam the button. You'd say lock it in a millisecond. And so if the ceiling is 100 yards above it, I take it. So like Rice is with some caution, Worthy without question. And then they give Travis Kelce's numbers, which is 680 yards. And I'm telling you, that's foolish. I don't know why. And tight end 25, by the way, from a fantasy perspective. He has never finished below 800 total yards ever. Ever. And while you and I might disagree with, and I'm a little not surprised, why do you think that he has? I think he has even less competition this year for targets. Who's taken the targets away that he had last year? He had 108 of them. Who's taken away the targets from him? Rice will just take him away from Hollywood or Xavier.
They run the ball out all a little bit more.
Maybe that's it.
You know, if Xavier Worthy's not hurt from 3 plays into the season, you know, for the entire year like he was this past year, I think there's a chance his workload is asked to be a bit more. So that would be.
But I could just get those from Juju and Hollywood. I don't even have to rip those away from Travis Kelce. Right now there's only 4 people who are regularly receiving the ball, other than let's say the running backs up it. Right. Yeah. Let's say that Kenneth Walker and Emmett Johnson and whatever, Brashard Smith, their numbers just go up some. Fine. Okay, great. But I mean, I still got yardage to give out because I still think Patrick Mahomes getting to 4,000. So
yeah, the Kelce projection, we all agree, seems low.
It always
for
is.
Sleeper, they have him at 67, 680, and 5 touchdowns.
That'd be the lowest of his career in every single category.
Yeah, that
since
feels
he's not
low.
been hurt.
Even if I think the targets need to drop down a little bit, his yards per catch can still go up. He was at 11.2. He used to be at 12. He was, that's something that's still a possibility. I do think 680 yards from Kelce is a bit low on the projection. If you think he's healthy all year, I would be shocked if he's not at least at 750. And then the one that I think is a definitive, everybody's locking it in right now. Why would you even not? Kenneth Walker, they project 1,063 yards on the ground, 37 catches for 272. So basically 1,300 all-purpose. 8 touchdowns on the ground, 2 receiving. So a 10-touchdown, 1,300-yard all-purpose season.
So
yeah, absolutely.
That one's the easiest in the entire.
For 913, Kelce will have 1,000 and Walker 450 receiving.
Well, then they're going to have a top 5 offense.
I don't think Walker's getting 450 yards receiving.
The last 1,000-yard rusher the Kansas City Chiefs had was Kareem Hunt in 2017. So if you tell me 1,000, I don't even need to know any other number, Gold. If you say 1,000, I'm in. I'm in. Immediately in. 1,300 all-purpose? Hell yeah. I don't even have to think about it. And I get Pacheco was close to the 1,000-yard mark. And on this end, he's certainly better. But, that one's easy. Now, I will say they're low on Patrick Mahomes because they're going up at 3,700 yards. My guess is still that they have to do a projection for fantasy purposes that pretend like he could still miss a game or two. I think that's why his numbers are low. In an awful season last year, had he played 17 games, his yards per game average would have put him at 4,100. So, they got him 400 yards short of even an awful year in the NFL. He's finished around 3,900 or 4,100 the 2 years before that where the offense still stunk. So, it's if he's on the field, 37's not close. He'll be above that. And again, it depends on you happen to think Worthy will have a better year and that Rice could have a really big year. And if that's the case, well, then Mahomes' numbers are coming up anyway, so you can't lock in anything with him. He's also just a player that borderline I'd never lock unless you're giving me 5,050 Gold. Do you know ludicrous the numbers you have to give me to just say I'll take it from Mahomes? It's 40 touchdowns and 4,500 yards.
You wouldn't if I told you 4,500 yards, 34 touchdowns.
It's that or higher.
Okay,
right?
okay.
But that's bare minimum. You can't give me just some low ball numbers and expect it. I wouldn't take 30 touchdowns and 4,000 yards. I wouldn't even lock that in.
Yeah,
so really, he hasn't thrown 40 touchdowns in.
I said 30 touchdowns. Sorry,
he hasn't thrown 30 touchdowns in 3 years.
I still wouldn't take it. I'm not locking that in for Mahomes.
Yeah, where can I place these? These are not on betting sites yet. This is from a fantasy football website doing their projections.
It is interesting how we've talked about how little they've done really for the offense, and you think he's going to be better than he's been in either of the last 3 years.
I just think
it's just interesting.
Well, I guess part of it, Drew, is do I think so? Let's be clear. I have the benefit of hindsight for the previous seasons, in which I know his leading wide receiver was Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore one of those years. One of those years, he had a bad offensive line, and for one of them, he was hurt. So you're right. In the 3 years in which he did not throw 30 touchdowns, I know what took place. I also think they have more weapons or a better position to have a better offense this year than they have in those 3 years because I know what happened in those. They have a running game, hypothetically, now. I like their offensive line as much as I liked it any of the previous 2 years, and yeah, I don't know. Hopefully regression to the mean as it relates to missed time from Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. And I just don't think Kelsey's any worse than he was 2 years ago. He's about the same. Like, do you think Kelsey's going to be worse? At bare minimum, it will be the same. Maybe he gets less targets, Cole, but he's not going to be a less productive as far as when he plays player. I don't think.
I just wonder, just based on, because in 2023, when he had 27 touchdowns, 14 picks, 4,100
And they
yards.
won the Super Bowl. If you tell me they win the Super Bowl, I'm in. Sure.
I know, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about his stats right now.
Yeah.
Rashee Rice and Travis were just under 1,000 each.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think Rice should be better than rookie year Rice. You know?
I mean, yeah, I think that if he plays all the games, because I know you don't know if you can trust him to play all the games, then yeah. But he played in every game that year. He played in all 16 games.
But so like Travis, okay, so 2 years ago when you're talking about the 27 touchdowns, I don't think Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice are dramatically different, good or bad. Right? I think they're relatively close. The difference is that, Drew, is Xavier Worthy, even if I could be down on him, or Tyquan Thornton down, their second wide receiver on the team is Justin Watson or MVS. The weapons after Rice and Travis Kelce stunk. And Ken Walker is definitely better than Pacheco. So, like, I just think the overall units are better, don't you? Than 2023's offense?
I mean, yeah, I just wonder because of the talk of them, are they going to run the ball more? Because if they run the ball more, they're not throwing it as much. I think that I don't know if that means, if that equals it. Somebody had texted in earlier, too. If Kelsey gets 850, Rice has 1,000, Xavier is 750, that's 2,600. Where's the next 1,100 to 1,500 coming from?
In any given year, 550.
It gets divvied up pretty
550 to 600 comes from all the running backs. So there's another 650.
And then you're talking about splitting another 500 between Tyquan and
Noah Gray gets 300.
Is Tyreek Hill part of the equation? Is who's that veteran they bring in? He gets another 270. Like it seems crazy. Like, oh, they need another 1,000, but between four players, it's not asking that much.
Yeah, I just think you forget. Like, I happen to have 2023 pulled up, Drew. It's like you get 100 at a time from guys like Richie James had 114 that year. Justin Ross had almost 100. Kadarius Toney had 170. You know, like, it builds up. You get 500 yards from just, like, literally throwing it to anybody. You get 600 from throwing it to the running backs. And then you get, more from guys like you mentioned, Gold Tyquan or Cyrus Allen or whoever ends up being the fourth wide receiver on the team. That's all.
Random question.
For you, Gold, you, Drew, text line 913-586-7965. And, of course, over on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. I'll interact with the show over there. I see a text right now. It says Worthy will have more targets and yards than Rice. I don't think that's going to be the case. But at least there's that version of it on the other end. So we can always interact with you over there as well. And at the text line, 913-586-7965. Random question today I have for you today is actually about school. It is my kid's final day of school before summer hits in. They got a half day, so they're already at home, actually. They already made it back. So they've finished their final day of school. I guess the question I have for you is, do you remember a shift, or were you always excited about being done with school? Because I have two kids. One's going to be going into fifth grade. One's going to be going into second. The fifth grader is fine. Summer's here. Great. I'll talk to my friends some other time. It's summertime. Excited about it. My first grader, bummed. Very disappointed he's not going to see his friends anymore. Sad about not going to see his friends. Very much talking about it. He's got a plan to handle his emotions over the next 4 days, but sad about not going to see his friends. Do you remember being disappointed school was ending, or were you always just be like, screw this, summer's here?
No, I was always thrilled to have time off and be home. Yeah, I was always thrilled to be done with it. Yeah, absolutely.
There was never a time when you're like, oh, man, it's going to be tough transitioning.
No.
I think it's got to be harder for kids
always,
now because they don't just like live in the streets like we did.
Yeah. No, I was always excited to the feeling of knowing that you were off for 3 months was an all-time feeling that you will never have as an adult. So.
I was surprised because like my younger one, he is hurt by the end of school. And I was like, man, did I have a transition? Because like I do remember in elementary school being like, oh man, I'm going to miss my friends a little bit. But then pool, summer, freedom. And certainly anytime after like middle school, nobody's like bummed out that school's over and summer's getting ready to hit. But it's also, I send my kids to summer school. Summer school when I was a kid, and I'm pretty sure when you were a kid, was for the kids who weren't doing so good.
Right.
Summer school is like, oh.
Yeah, I never did
Little
summer school.
Little Timmy's behind on math. Your ass is, it was like a punishment. They'd be like, if you keep this up, Alex, you're going to have to go to summer school.
It was
like a threat when I was a kid. Now I just send them there and they just do like cool, fun stuff all summer.
What do you mean by like transition? Like, were you ready for it to be over?
Do you remember a time in which you were sad regular school was ending and you weren't as excited about summer school? Or were you always just like, screw it, I can't wait to get out of this place?
I was never in summer school, so I didn't have to worry about that, thankfully.
Yeah.
But no, I never was mad that school was ending because I knew I'd be hanging out with my friends and I could do whatever I want. I wouldn't be at school hanging with my friends. I would be
our neighborhood.
doing,
we had friends in our neighborhood.
I would do whatever. Plus, when I got to high school, I mean, you're involved with sports so much during the summertime. Like, I'm seeing them anyways, but like for cross country, like in high school, we'd be off 2 weeks of summer. We'd have 2 legit weeks of summer, do whatever you want. Then summer workouts start. Like I start 2 weeks after school's over, but a ton of my friends ran cross country anyway. So, or you're hanging out in there, or football workouts start out, and after I get done running, my friends are hanging out on the football field, and I joke around with them on the football field for a little bit while they're in between workouts and practice. I was around my friends enough where I never missed it.
Admittedly, my neighborhood's not perfect for this, so that could certainly be a portion of it. Are there people who still just let their kids hop on their bike and it's like, I'll see you in 4 hours? I just pop by the old neighbor's house. Now, in fairness, I think this is the difference, too, is
probably not.
The reason why I think it was more acceptable when I was a kid, Alex, when you were a kid, is we didn't go into those people's houses. We rode over to their house just to, like, be out in the yard, drink from the hose. I wasn't, like, if one of my kids' friends just showed up at the doorstep and be like, what's up, Mr. Tapp, and just start coming in and be like, what the hell's going on here? This has not been the vibe up until this point, and when did this vibe change? And there's a few that it wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't care. But, like, if they come over now, it's like they ask. Their parents are like, hey, can they come over and hang out?
Right.
Or they're like, hey, my friend's texting me. Can they come over and hang out? Like, when I was a kid, I've told you this before. Across the street from me, there was a family of 3. There are 2 families of 3. Up the street, another family of 3, another family of 4. There were 11 kids at the bottom of the street. We were 7. There was another 4 at the top of the street. There were legitimately 35 kids on my block. Like, on my street is a kid. There's like 4 on the street my kids live on. So, like, it's not that many. I just didn't know. You just remember, like, first grade on, you're like, sweet summer, I'm ready to get out of this place.
Absolutely.
In elementary school, I don't think I looked forward to summer quite the same way as I did. Once I got to, like, 5th, 6th, 7th, high school, all that, you were happy to be free. But in elementary school, I still remember a little bit of a transition of, I'm not going to get to see these friends as much. And, you had to get their home phone number, whole different vibe. And I already told you, I don't give my kids don't have cell phones or anything.
Yeah.
It's like they can text their friends. Maybe on their iPad a little, Drew. She's recently been introduced into a group chat with some friends, so maybe that'll happen.
There you go.
The other random question I was going to ask you about was I had saw this headline talking about they've officially made their plans for the Netherlands. You're going to go to the Dutch game, right, for the World Cup?
Yeah, Tunisia, Netherlands. Yep.
So
I think Drew will be there as well.
They've officially made their plans for where they're going to walk through downtown as a part of it. And I was just trying to decide, if World Cup's in town, that feels like a unique World Cup event. You throwing on some orange and marching through downtown?
No.
Just to feel like to be a part of it?
No, but I'd go.
I want to see the visuals of it. Yeah, but
you don't want to participate.
I'm not going to, because I'm not a fan of the Dutch.
I know, but just like it's a unique experience.
No,
but I don't need to walk. If I was in Netherlands and I was going to a soccer game there and I was like in their country, then maybe I would feel what. But no, I want to see how their tradition. I'm not going to now throw on a Netherlands jersey and walk and how they normally walk to a game, or it's a fan fest in this case. Or
going
whatever.
to see it would be cool, but I'm not going to participate. I'm not going to act like I'm Dutch.
Yeah.
I don't feel the need to do that.
You're not acting like you're Dutch. You're just participating in a Dutch tradition, is my opinion.
Yeah, but isn't that?
You're not acting like you're not acting like you're Italian because you eat pasta. You're just participating. You know, like I don't understand why like you can't participate in somebody
That's
else's
not the same
culture.
comparison at all.
What? You don't have to be, you have to be a Dutch fan in order to do it?
No, but I'm saying like their fan tradition of walking to a game is not the same as all Italians have to eat pasta. That's not the same thing. That's what you just said. That's not the same thing at all.
I'm sure they don't. I'm sure they wouldn't
Not at
care
all.
if GoldenEye joined, but they've got the chance. They probably are speaking the language, and they've got everything.
But Gold says he'll do it, but
down.
only if he's in if he's in a country.
Yeah,
like, he'll do the chance
I don't
if he's
think
in
I would do it
Canada.
at all,
I don't
unless it was
understand
like
what the difference is. What's the difference on the country part? Like being there and not being.
Because I'm in their country and it's their tradition, and I'm there. I went there. I'm in their country. Why would I go? Why would I go?
Because they're here and they're doing the tradition, and you can be a part of it for maybe the only time.
Why would I be part of their tradition though? I want to go to a World Cup match and watch and see what they do. But why would I now pretend to join the middle of their section? Like when you go to a Missouri Tigers game, you hop in and start, or you go to Manhattan, you just start doing the Wabash Cannonball with them because you're at a K-State game?
I think there's a difference between like a local and an international thing. This is a more unique experience and something that's only going to take place.
Unique, yeah.
Something that's only going to take place this one time.
Yeah,
I think it's slightly different to take it from like a local level to international.
To answer your question, Cody, even if I was in the Netherlands, I would not feel the need to do it because I'm not Dutch. Like I think that,
so you wouldn't like if you went to a Man U game, you wouldn't or whatever you wouldn't do the chant.
No, because I'm not a Man U fan.
Well,
so,
whatever
no.
the team is you cheer for.
But yeah. Oh,
I don't care.
Hold on.
If you were at a Bundesliga game and they were doing chants, I think you don't want to take part.
I think it's different if it's club versus country. Like Rob is a huge Chelsea fan. If Rob went to a Chelsea game in London, he absolutely should be doing the chants. But
you just went to a Bayern game. You don't hate them. You don't like them. They're not like you're
it's
in
a club.
Yeah,
It's different.
Correct.
That's
but,
different.
But if it was Cody, if it was a Bayern game,
it's the country thing. It's the same thing that you brought up with the WBC, where you were like you were going to root for Italy. Like no,
Cody,
I don't root for another country to win a sporting event.
You don't have to root for the Dutch. You're just doing part of their.
But even
you're
still,
just being
Cody,
a part of an experience.
If it was a Bayern game, I'm not going to go and participate in the chants. One, because I don't know the chant. Two, because I want to go and witness. I want to go and witness that. I don't want to be a part of it. Like I don't root for Bayern. I don't feel the need to be a part of everything. Where if I root for the team, then absolutely I'll participate because I know the chant. Probably got the scarf and everything like that too. But
I don't really see the harm in the country difference. If it's here specifically,
I wouldn't
Kansas
do
City.
it. Yeah, no,
I wouldn't say you
wouldn't
just
do it.
travel to like a different city. It's like it's in your city. I think you're taking part of something taking place in your city. It just happens to be as a part of a different country.
Now, if the U.S. fans wanted to do it, sure, great. But that's not a tradition. So it,
Interesting.
But if I think if you're from the country or if you're a fan of the team, for club, then sure.
I finally made some headway earlier because people were saying, I think seed oils are made by American farmers. Finally, Cody, supporting Americans is what someone said earlier, and now I'm back on this Dutch thing, and the text lines against me. They're comparing it to the WBC. Earlier, you were anti the American farmer because I was being on the side of seed oils, and you were being anti them, and now I'm right back.
Yep.
I'm stuck with the Dutch. I'm just saying, like, it's a unique experience in our town. To me, it's not the same as like doing the Wabash. But if I were coming over from London and my big thing was I wanted to catch an American sporting event, and they were doing another Kansas City first down. Why wouldn't I?
No, I think the correct.
Why can't I participate in the social norm that's taking place?
I think your comps are just off. I think
what's different in that comp?
I think your comps are off there. That would be like them coming and saying, "Are they going to now start doing the tomahawk chop with a bunch of Chiefs fans?" Not just saying first down or incomplete.
But that's what we're talking about, like the chants in the soccer matches. That's all the game day experience of an American.
I think the country part of it is also a huge difference. This goes back to the WBC thing as well. Like you're asking, why would an American not want to do another country's tradition?
They don't say down with the U.S. in their chant.
No, but why would you do another country's tradition? Why?
One, because you don't know it, and two,
I don't think there's anything wrong with participating in another country's culture in that.
Cody,
even here, I don't.
If Gold threw on the,
we're not talking about having the same food that they're having. You're asking me to have something that is unique to their.
If you throw on the Dutch jersey and went on downtown Kansas City and walked, I don't think the Dutch fans would have a problem with you doing it.
They wouldn't even notice, Alex. There's tens of thousands of them.
But like I don't think they'd be offended. But it would feel weird to be a part of it when you're not from the country and you don't root for the team. I think it would just feel.
It's just a unique cultural experience.
That's why you go and you watch it because it's cool to witness it, but you don't have to participate in it to appreciate it.
I don't understand the difference between like if you somebody invited you to a traditional Hawaiian luau and you went. I don't like why can't I participate in somebody else's
that's also
culture?
not another country. That's the United States.
I understand, but that's a different it's a different culture than the one that you're accustomed to being in. I don't understand why it's weird to participate.
Yeah, I mean, if your best friend was Dutch and he invited you to go walk with him, different story.
I worked with the Dutch guy who still lives in town.
If it's your best friend or somebody that invites you to go do it with them,
I think
that's different. Then you're just like, oh, I want to show up because I want to say I was part of it. That just seems like you're doing it for yourself more than anything.
Yeah, to participate in an experience, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't mean I'm like, I'm not swearing allegiance. I'm not American anymore. Go Dutch! I'm not.
Careful.
Handing in my passport.
You were rooting for Italy earlier.
He was.
In the
That's
WBC.
why. I think that's why the Dutch. I can't trust Cody on this take because of his take going back to Italy.
Okay.
I am excited to see
Cody,
them take over downtown. Though it's going to be very cool.
You know what?
Cool.
When we go to Cincinnati, you need to sing the Who Dey chant after the Bengals score a touchdown.
It's not those are not the same to me. The local and regional stuff is
join
completely.
Everybody.
I think it's the country thing is just different than the sports team.
I think so.
There's a massive difference. Alex cheered for the Canadian hockey team. We're not saying he's anti-American because he cheered for a Canadian hockey team at a Canadian hockey match.
Yeah, that's
it's not crazy.
But if their tradition was to walk to the rink, I wouldn't have walked to the rink with them.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't think.
I guess.
Because that's too deep into the tradition of what it is.
You're really.
I was at the hockey game, and when they scored a goal, I clapped because I was with everybody. That's different than doing something that's like the hardcore tradition of another country.
I'm not
or
saying you have
team.
to sing the Canadian national anthem.
Yeah,
Cody. When the Chiefs play in Spain,
like someone said, it's true. Someone said, your Hawaiian luau thing doesn't work either. That's fair. They're like, yeah, you can go and watch it, but you're not going up there and putting on the skirt and dancing with them.
Do that,
but you're not. But
I'm not saying. I'm not saying. I'm saying that's an experience. But you're just saying you're willing to participate in the tradition to a point. I'm saying I would take that point further.
Someone said you're going to go in.
What it seems like we've turned into.
Someone said you're going to participate in the run of the bulls in Spain whenever you go just to be a part of it.
Lots of people have done that from different cultures. That's not crazy.
That I do.
That's very normal.
I do agree that is different. It's like attending a marathon. You're running in a London marathon.
That's just going to a sporting event. It's not doing a tradition necessarily. It's just that's a sport.
Yeah, I do think that is different.
You're participating if you're running.
All right, up next, Rob Collins. It's a Fan Club Friday. Rob Collins from Fox 4 going to join us in studio thanks to Jay Rieger and co. We'll talk about this, I'm sure. We'll also talk about the Royals and the Chiefs next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs with Victory CDJ Art the Legends. Once again, we are taking the hassle out of car buying with the Victory Scavenger Hunt. Folks, as always, our hunts are different. We put the price right at your fingertips with our Let's Do Business guarantee. Like walking up to select Ram 1500s, subtracting $18,000 from the sticker, and let's do business. It's that simple. Just visit VictoryMotorsKC.com and click on the large Scavenger Hunt banners directly on our homepage. That's VictoryMotorsKC.com, where our first price is better than their last.
We are still in the month of May. That means you have time to head over to Shawnee Mission Ford and take advantage of employee pricing. You're going to pay what they pay right now at Shawnee Mission Ford. So that's for everybody, whether it's a 2026 Mustang Mach-E like I'm driving right now thanks to Shawnee Mission Ford, or a Bronco Sport, of course, the great F-150, or maybe a 2026 Ford Escape. It's going on right now at Shawnee Mission Ford. Employee pricing, you pay what they pay, and you still get all the rebates and the incentives that are offered from Ford, along with the top trade-in value from Shawnee Mission Ford. We're talking about American value for American values. At Shawnee Mission Ford, they're on a mission to do more in 26.
Hi, folks. Bob, Blue Springs Ford. Hey, Blaine, I know we've got employee pricing going on right now for everyone, but what's the difference in pricing?
Great question. 2026 Escape starting at $26,000.
That's thousands of dollars off.
2026 Expeditions?
Oh, I know this is going to be good.
How about up to $10,000 off MSRP? And Lightning up to $18,000 off. Plus, you get a lifetime powertrain warranty for free.
Folks, go to BlueSpringsFord.com right now, because this ends soon.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water?
I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement. Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
There's a pill version of Ozempic. Hello, I'm Ozempic, and I'm other GLP-1s kind of like him. Hey, did I hear there's a pill version of Ozempic?
Yep, you sure did. Ask your doctor about which FDA-approved uses of the Ozempic pen or pill may be right for you. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and learn more about Ozempic semaglutide tablets 9 milligrams and Ozempic semaglutide injection 2 milligrams.
There's a pill version of Ozempic.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Range Bait with Dusty Likens is now up on the Fan's YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter channels. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station. Welcome into the Fan Club.
Step 1, we buy into this club. Step 2, we roll over to the club, either in your Mercedes-Benz or my pre-owned Acura Legend.
It's not as much as a club as it is a couple middle-aged dudes in sweatshirts talking about sports.
Bounce, 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 bounce. Now all the ladies saying bounce, 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 bounce.
But you get the gist. Here's Cody Tapp and Alex Gold.
It is a Fan Club Friday here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Thanks to our friends over at J. Rieger & Co. We have got our good friend Rob Collins hanging out with us, Fox 4 sports director. A lot to get into with you. How have you been? I feel like it's been a while since we had you in studio. You've been busy golfing. What's up?
Yes, it has been a while. Drew texted me. He's like, hey, man, can you come Friday? I'm like, bro, I got a tee time. Because usually...
We asked a couple weeks in advance this time. We planned.
Yes. I usually play around 10 o'clock on Fridays, right? Because it's my day off and, whatever.
Sure.
But been raining all morning. Got a tee time at 2:45, so we'll see if that happens.
Because I know you just like whiskey,
Yes.
I brought in 2 whiskey choices for you today.
Okay, perfect. What you got?
So I brought a Redbreast, so a 15-year, even though we're brought to you by J. Rieger. They like other whiskey there, too. I was just talking to Ryan. And Weller.
Okay.
What do you want? What do you want? I brought you 2 choices. I wanted you to have a choice.
Whichever one's open, do that one.
Okay, that's that one.
I don't care.
Drew, you want some whiskey? Sure, there's no way.
Sure,
just drink-
why not?
Wow, really?
Really?
Make a man out of you yet?
I don't mind. I don't mind the whiskey. I've had the whiskey before.
Wow, that surprised
We're
me,
all
man.
surprised.
Yeah.
We're all pretty
For sure,
shocked.
it's like-
I've had whiskey
I
before.
was sure you're going to be like, no, I got a Mike's Hard back here. I'm all squared away.
I'm going to high Newton this baby.
Look, I'll do a little whiskey as well, but there's nothing wrong with a little high noon or Surfside as well.
It's a holiday
You guys
weekend,
all reaction
right?
single.
Text line is big fan of Rob Collins already. Big fan of you now that you're in 4K, which you normally are over on Fox 4, but now that our video stream, someone says, GD, he's handsome. Rob's the ultimate bro.
I don't know what any of that means, but I appreciate
those
it.
Those are the
whatever
texts
you got to
coming
say.
in.
I'm just trying to do my best as a guy who's turning 55 next year.
55?
Yeah.
He also brought in a Cody Gold Garage Show.
I see that.
He gave us the fantasy football trophy last year.
Yeah.
And this year he brought in the Chiefs overalls for us.
Absolutely.
You and I got a pair of these at one point.
Yes.
Still sitting in the closet.
Yeah, the plaids.
Yeah, I can't remember at some
That's a
point.
medium, I think. So
I think it'd be kind of a slender.
look at the size. If you're buying, be a good gift for
medium.
a kid.
Yeah.
Kid might like it,
Absolutely.
or maybe your wife or
someone for
spouse,
their get ready for Chiefs camp up in St. Joe. Maybe they can rock it up there. Be a little warm.
We appreciate, obviously.
Yeah, that might be warm.
Although there's some people that won't, they won't have a shirt on over that
or
underneath that,
undergarments.
Yeah. Was that in Pittsburgh? It was Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, yeah.
We were doing our show for the draft, right? So the way they had it set up, it was kind of cool. We were at PNC Park, which is a really cool park, and we're right there by the Allegheny River. We're in the outfield area with some other radio stations, and there must have been a bigger guy, I would say.
Yeah.
In overalls.
3 bills plus.
And we're convinced there was nothing underneath the over. At all. But they were, Rob, it was loose fitting, and he was a bigger guy, and it was all out. It was all hanging out.
At that point, it's like, if you're doing that to stay cool, why not just do shorts?
Yeah, maybe
Why
they
go
don't
in
like to wear
overalls?
shorts.
Jeans
I don't
is
know.
not the Not the most breathable fabric known to man.
No, it's true. I heard you almost got into a fight in Pittsburgh.
Well, I was just like, we were risking some Yinzer talk inside the local bars.
There was a bar right down the corner from us.
I still think that place, you'd have gotten your ass kicked just for walking in. I'm convinced
Just
that's
the
the kind of bar.
Towny hole in the wall.
Towny hole, still smoke. You can still smoke in there.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was like if I had walked in there just wearing like
They have video poker in the corner.
if I didn't have if I didn't have grease under my fingernails as I still walked into the bar, they'd have been like, "Who the hell is this guy? And what is he doing here?" Hi, everyone.
That's the thing, Rob. Is Cody would have walked in like Cody would have walked in and just very loud, like, "Hey, what's going on, everybody?" And everybody would have slowly turned over and like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
That, so I'm generally known for being pretty loud, which is
I don't believe
fair.
Yeah.
Believe it
Good
or not,
thing we have microphones. Otherwise, we would never hear them.
That's right.
Believe it or not, Rob, when I drink, I get louder, and I become less aware of my surroundings. And like, I don't know how many times in my life, including with Alex.
That sounds fun.
But anyone else in my life where Alex is like, "Hey man, be cool." Like
settle down.
So my problem is I'd get in that bar and I wouldn't even say something inappropriate. I'd just be like, "God, this place is a dump." I'd say it too
You'd
loud.
offend all the locals.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just piss everybody off.
I
don't need that.
He's not a good wingman, I'm guessing, Gold.
We did okay in the past.
I've helped out. I'm relatively chill about it.
But he's definitely correct that we will be at a place. Cody will be either telling a story or talking, about something, and I'm like, dude, hey, everybody can hear you. Like everybody can hear you, man. And like that has definitely happened a few times.
Yeah.
That has definitely happened.
So everybody in my life who's been around me long enough has had to tell me to be a little quieter.
Well, I've
in
gotten
a
that
setting
before
in which I
as
should
well,
be a little quieter.
Yeah. Let's start with the Royals for a second, and we can get into some other stuff. I also do want to get your perspective.
Need more drinks for the Royals.
Your perspective also on the awful news yesterday. We were talking to Drew about it. We were on NASCAR.
Terrible,
I know you're
man.
locked in NASCAR with the awful news around Kyle Busch. I do want to get your perspective on everything there. As far as the Royals go, 20-30. I would love to sit here and say it's the low water mark. This is as bad as it gets. And to this point, it is. But what have you seen that makes you think that this is a team that can string together some wins again?
Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, lately, you look at the past games, how they've lost them. Little league base running errors, which we've talked about for several years. I don't understand why that's still happening.
Yeah.
And then not executing with runners in scoring position has been awful. I mean, the pitching hasn't been that great. Obviously, you're without Reagans, you're without Estevez. Noah Cameron's coming off an injury. I mean, Michael Walker's basically your guy right now. I mean, he's the only one you can really go out there and say, hey, this guy's going to give us a quality start. But they waste him. They wasted his quality start the other night by not getting runs. I know Vinny hasn't hit. I think he's, 2 for 18 with 5 or 6 strikeouts in his 5 previous games that he's played. So I understand why he got the day off. So hopefully this day off for them will be a reset. But Seattle and then the Yankees, we know what happens when you play the Yankees.
It's been pretty ugly for.
If I told you they'll
probably
win
in the history, but
win one
the last
game
5
against the
years
Yankees, you would probably take it.
I think so.
Yeah, probably.
Right. So
they've been running them out.
Just
of
to be 500,
building.
you got to go 2 or 3, and then 1 and 2.
And look, I'll hope for that, I guess, at this stage. But at the same time, they're stuck in a place where I'm not counting wins right now. I'm just looking for some stability.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would take 500 over the next 20 games just to be like, can you stabilize rather than further into the problems? Because what happened was they had stabilized and then they let away by losing 9 of 10, by losing 6 in a row for the second time this year. I mean, the only team in baseball to do it. And some of them do seem curable. Like you can't just hit better with runners. You can't just hit league average with runners in scoring position. I'm not asking for the world here. They get plenty of offensive opportunity. But yeah, they're hoping that this is a reset. I think that that's why they give Vinny the day off. Like 2 days off to just wash whatever away. And then you can be back to business tonight.
You brought up Michael Walker, and yeah, I'm totally with you. He's been sensational. One of the best pitchers in baseball. We were having the conversation earlier, though. There's going to be teams that call on him at some point. Whether the team gets hot or continues to play like this, there will be some teams that are interested in Michael Walker, but he's got a couple years of control. And then you look at 2027 and what the rotation may or may not be. Chris Bubich is probably gone, right? His contract's up. Can they afford to trade Walker, knowing what that would also do to the 2027 rotation?
At this point right now, no. Who's going to pitch? I mean,
I don't think
you think 10 games is a low water mark. They get rid of Walker, you're looking at 15 square in the face.
I got to be honest. If you are a big seller, not like you move Lane Thomas or Daniel Lynch. If you become a big seller, I think on 2027 too, and that's not the deal we all signed up for. You were supposed to be good this year, next year, 2028. You have the roster in position to win multiple years in a row. You start trading guys like Walker, you're punting on next season. Not punting, but making it hard.
Yeah, the optics will look like you're punting for sure.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of baseball left, and they preach day by day. But think about it this way: over the next till August, right? So May, June, July. If they go +1 for a week, they'll be 500 1st August. I think we'd all take that.
Sure. Yeah,
and happily. No, because if they're 500 in the 1st of August, they're probably 2.5 games back of a wild card spot.
Probably so.
Yeah. And I'll take that.
But it
I'll
doesn't seem that hard with the team on paper.
Easy.
All right, it sounds easy. Just go +1 this week. Go 4-3. Go 3-2. Whatever it is, just +1 for the next 10 weeks, and you're right back in it. But nothing has shown me consistently that this team can do that.
Well, and I guess that's there's just no part of it. I think it's my biggest knock. I'm not like a fire Q guy. I know that the fan base.
Some folks want him gone. Sure.
Yeah. And look, it might be the loud majority. Mm-hmm. I'm fearful it's starting to become the majority, which is not a position you want to be in when you're the manager. But even with that, I'll say my biggest complaint is his job is to manage personality. A lot of times, that is part of your job as a manager. Some of the number stuff, that's all done. That's not just Q. That's a million other people making those decisions before the guy even steps in a dugout to decide who's going to pitch in the 8th. They've already kind of decided who's going to pitch in the 8th.
They have the game plan of
they know who they're good against.
Right.
Yeah, if it's this guy, this part of the order, this guy's pitching, those things are predetermined in a lot of ways. It is his job to make sure that mentally they don't just all throw in the towel and feel like they're going into every night feeling like they're going to lose. Like, that is your job. And it feels like over the last couple of years, that's been their biggest flaw. Not even talent. Their biggest flaw has been, how do you stop the bleeding? And this is another case where, stop it tonight before it gets worse, before you lose another series to the Mariners, before the Yankees come to town.
Yeah, no fans want to see Q blow up, because he was asked about, should I go in there and flip a table or do something? That's not him.
And that was Matheny before. That's what's so funny is that Matheny was like, people didn't like him because look, a hothead, meathead.
Yeah.
Guy can't, like old school baseball guy didn't care about the numbers. Now gone the other way, and they're like, he cares too much about the numbers.
I think what's frustrating, so I do think Q gets too much blame, but I will say this, when it comes to the numbers and the lineup, at times, though, so much been focused on Jack Caglione, right? At some point, especially now that you're 10 under 500, you got to just have the guy in the lineup every single day. Your chance of getting out of this is Vinny, Salvi, and frankly, Cags all of a sudden getting going. Mm-hmm. I think. I mean, Michael Garcia's been a little disappointing too. I mean, he's hitting 258 after being closer to 300 last year. I mean, so he is
he's in a bit of a slump too.
Effective at the plate either. Yeah,
they're getting slightly better starting pitching, and now the offense.
Yeah. Well, we know Salvi's going to heat up. He does that all the time. Last year at this time.
Sure this
last year at this time, he had 5 home runs and he finished with 30. He's got 8 now.
The health this time is
right. It's different, but I think they should give him more days off, which means that Carter Jensen should be in the lineup even against a lefty.
Yep.
I mean, you got this guy who's your talent. You're banking on to be your future behind the dish. How is he going to hit against left-handers when it matters if he's not doing it right now?
Have you changed your ceiling on him at all? We were talking about him earlier. I still think his ceiling is as high as it's ever been, but it's like I'm less confident he might reach it.
He's got to get better defensively.
He's gotten a little better.
Yeah, but catcher though. I mean, they're blocked the.
Yeah, you talking about Cags or Carter?
Both,
sorry,
both. I guess.
We're
talking Cags, but Jensen.
But
he's got to get better.
And Cags much better in the outfield. People don't run on him as much anymore because
he's got a big
he's throwing
arm.
rockets, obviously, because he used to be a pitcher. But I mean, it just takes time. These guys are so young. I mean, it's very rare when a guy comes in the league and just goes crazy.
And they could take time to grow if Vinny and Salvi had been hitting with runners in scoring positions the entire time.
Yeah.
We would notice less that Carter Jensen was in a slump.
Yeah.
We would notice less.
We can see Q's trying. Took Vinny out. They moved the lineup around. So
do you think the lineup? See, that's the thing. It's like they moved that lineup around for one day. I kind of think Vinny's going to still be hitting 3rd or 4th tonight.
Maybe tonight with
I don't think he's going to
Gilbert.
Logan Gilbert. I don't think he's going to be behind Jack Caglione like he was 2 nights ago.
Probably not.
I think he'll be back in the 3-hole and there because the other thing is why shake his confidence? Vinny's been one of your most consistent offensive bats for 3 years in a row. Well, and we've talked about this too. You could say they got to move him down to win. The only way they're winning is if he hits. No offense, that's where I get away from moving him down. The only way they win is if he hits, not if he moves down and he hits. He has to hit.
Right. Otherwise, you're banking on other guys, Lofton, Marte, whomever's in there, Collins in front of him, behind him.
That's not the solution.
Right.
Not unless Cags hits white hot. If you got a player like him hitting great, fine, shift the order around.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not Carter Jensen or Jack Caglione and they're white hot, then Vinny's just still got to hit where he is. Their problem still is all the lefty stuff. We talked
Right.
about
You
that,
can't put 3 lefties in a row because at some point they're going to manage opposite and bite you.
That's why Salvi still hits as high as he does.
Mm-hmm.
For everybody who's like, why do they move Salvi down in the order? They can't put 3 lefties in a row. People are just going to abuse it. They already can't beat a lefty. What's the record against lefty starters?
Yeah,
like
I don't know, but
12?
betting wise, if it's a lefty on the road,
I know.
Sorry,
Money
Royals.
line, other team. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I'm just
Seriously.
going off the numbers.
No, that's been the case here in 2026.
He got kind of crushed, I think, public because the other day after they lost again, he was like, Lane Thomas ran hard. I'm like,
Nobody wants to hear that's the
it,
big
but it's
leagues.
also like it's tough with a manager because very rarely does like a broadcaster or a manager do they come in and be like, that guy sucks.
Yeah.
This team stinks. They don't throw a phone at a reporter. What a phone tape recorder? What did
Phone, Hal McRae?
Phone.
Back in the day?
No, I hear you, Cody, but
You
I
don't see
also
that much
think,
anymore.
whether it's the Lane Thomas comment or going back to a couple nights ago when Michael Garcia tried to go to second and was half-assing it to second, and he was like, I hope it's a learning lesson for him. This is year 3, 4 for Michael Garcia.
Right.
That's the
You're
problem.
majors.
This isn't
You're too
Carter
old to be
Jensen.
learning lessons. Like Rashee Rice. Too old to be learning your lesson at this point in your life.
Yeah. Oh, we want to talk about that, huh? We want to talk about that mess? Aren't you just sick of it?
Yes.
Don't the Chiefs have to be sick of it? But is it now he's kind of got them by the you-know-what because it's May and they got 1 year left of them and then they're just going to let him walk?
100%. Let him walk. I think they should cut him, but they're not going to because they need a receiver.
It's still football,
I mean, send a message to these guys. But we know that they're not going to do that because it's business and they want to win. But I just don't understand the mentality of this dude. You already know what's out in front of you. Just keep your nose clean.
Yeah. Huge payday on the horizon if you play
it's a
right.
contract year, right?
Contract year, you're coming off of an
This
injury.
dude needs other people surrounding him. I think.
Yeah, a whole new friend group.
We see it all the time. With these young guys become millionaires and someone in their friend group or they get bad advice from a handler or someone like that, and they can never get out from under that.
If you got one jailhouse interview between him or Chiefs Aholic, what you going with? What would your
I said Chiefs Aholic, way more interesting.
Say? If your producer said, "Hey Rob, we need you to do one. We got either of these guys lined up for the jailhouse interview."
It would probably be Chiefs-aholic.
Because way more interesting.
Because it would be more entertaining.
Yeah.
Because Rice would.
He's not going to.
I don't think he's going to say anything.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
He's been trained. By
Rice
the
would
Chiefs.
get the initial headline of like, "Oh, I got to hear what he has to say," and then he wouldn't say anything. Chiefs-aholic would be glad to talk to
Yes.
you. That's the problem with that. Yeah.
Yes.
Slightly different.
Only if I could get an intro from his lawyer.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
He could, he could narrate the opening.
I just tell you right now, it's like how sick you must be if I don't know if he's doing I don't know if he just takes cases or if he picks up.
This is not Chiefs-aholic's last drive. And he believes, and we believe, that when the final whistle blows and all of the facts are known,
so good,
that he is going to be redeemed in the eyes of his community, in the eyes of his fans, and in the eyes of the Chiefs' kingdom.
I thought he was going to start preaching right there at that point. He'll be redeemed in the eyes of his maker. It was awesome.
The problem is,
That
he
guy's
talks
hilarious.
like somebody who, if he had the gravitas of like a Muhammad Ali, it would be it would be way punchier.
The cadence is just like that.
Yeah.
From the beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing.
Oh my gosh.
I can't believe did he sign off on the scripts for these things?
I don't know. Maybe he wrote
just
it.
thought I got
think
a
it's
big
all
time
him.
client.
Maybe he wrote it.
If you watch the Chiefs-aholic, documentary or whatever, where it was him and his partner, the attorneys. I mean, the way they. I don't think it was fake. I think that was.
I didn't watch it.
I mean, it was given the fact we spent so much time talking about it. I
felt like
enjoyed
we
it.
had to for the
there
show.
wasn't
I'm
a ton of
surprised
new
y'all weren't in
information. Yeah, there wasn't a ton of new information.
Yeah,
in
we
it.
didn't get
You
any
weren't in
kind
it?
of
No,
cameo. No.
watch the documentary. There was one woman that they interviewed that was in love with the guy.
Yeah, I was
It
a
was
little
really
worried
bizarre.
about.
Well, there's always wackos out there in love with jail people. I mean,
Yeah,
look at the
it's
guy
true.
who shot the insurance guy.
Wow.
Whatever that guy's
yeah,
name is.
man,
Whatever it is.
Luigi Mangione.
That dude.
that guy. Yeah.
And so it's so much of it is I don't know, man. That the Rice stuff. The biggest takeaway is you idiot.
Yes.
I can talk about all the
100%.
stuff, and it probably doesn't. He'll probably be available for week 1 or whatever. But it's still you idiot.
Of
and
course.
you start feeling because if your kid did anything, you're like, are you serious?
Yeah.
You could make tens of millions of dollars, and you can't just stay out of trouble for 6 months.
Well, I have a son near Rashee Rice's age, 2 years younger.
Yeah, and you're you can't stay out of trouble for 6 months.
Right.
I'm sure your kid's more than responsible, but you get the point.
Yes, very much so. I mean, my freshman daughter, who just finished school, is more responsible than Rasheed Rice.
I mean, it's not. I mean, my 9 and 7-year-olds.
I trust her with my keys more than I do Rasheed Rice.
Like it's weird. Like at some age, it's like my kids will admit their mistakes before they seem to learn from them faster.
Yes.
Than
especially when, like you said, your whole life's in front of you. You have this mega contract that will set you and your family, future generations up for life.
Yeah. Despite all the other mistakes you made, you still had a chance to just be straight and narrow moving forward and have a big payday, and you can't even do that. It's
what's the old saying? You can't fix stupid.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like that's where
I'm
we're
guessing
at.
you're in the same boat as us, as in if you were the Chiefs, you'd never give him a long-term
No chance. I would cut him. 100% cut him.
You would cut him?
Yes.
See, like, part of it is just like, it's always like their job stuff. If no consequence, I'm on the same. I don't want him on the team. But it's also, they put themselves in a position where it's like, damn, that wide receiver unit looks bad.
Right. That's why they won't.
Bad.
That's exactly. It's the football side of it.
decision, not a personnel.
It's a bottom line decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As always in sports.
Well, this is and in some other, in fairness, in some other companies, it's not like we've joked about like, people who have gotten radio jobs again after going to jail. It's like you bring in money, people will continue to keep you employed.
Yeah. Do you think they need to bring in a veteran now?
Yes,
100%.
Before
we were already talking about it before this happened. Does this make you more willing to bring in someone like Stephon Diggs, who also isn't exactly a perfect citizen,
Yes, neither he nor Hill off the field. I was talking to a former Chiefs wide receiver, Garrett Dieter, because they have a charity pickleball thing coming up next Thursday,
nice.
and we're doing an episode of Kansas City Huddle taping out there. So it's at Chicken and Pickle OP. Look it up. Nice. Cool stuff. You can play pickleball against Chiefs players.
Nice.
You sign up. But anyway, he said he wants him to get either Tyreek or Diggs, and he said, yes, these guys have baggage, but they don't bring it to the field.
The facility.
They don't bring it to the locker room.
And that, I guess that's always like the part with like the surgery stuff or this other things is, Tyreek always got in trouble, but he was like known as this like tirelessly hard worker and all these other things. And you're right. He never got Tyreek, for all the trouble he's been in, has never been suspended a single NFL game. He never let it come to the facility, even if he was having off the field nonsense. When he showed up, he worked and all this other stuff. Rasheed, it's like it keeps coming into the building. Like there's part of me, I told Gold, it's like part of me, it's like if you're this dumb, then you're not smart enough to work hard at your craft and get better and take that leap. It's why I'm a little bit down on, I was with you for a little while where I thought maybe he was going to have a 1,200-yard season. I'm like, you know what? It'll be like 1,050. I'm not sure he's smart enough to like put it all together to work hard enough. The dedication required in order to like turn into that type of player, because it takes dedication and commitment and all the things that he has shown an unwillingness to do to even just like keep himself out of jail. Like small things.
I mean, we don't know really his work ethic because we get to see 5 minutes of practice, but you would think that would.
I worry about it. I'm guessing.
It's very hard to disassociate how you handle your personal life and your professional life. I mean, it's going to bleed over at some point, right? Unless you're, really, really good at it. Kaiser Soze.
Yeah, you also just wonder. We all know from last year, based on the shirts they wore, they clearly his teammates supported him.
Yeah, that didn't age very well.
That was not a good decision.
I don't think they'll rock those again.
Because I was going to say, like, at one point, are there guys in the locker room, though, are saying, like, well, we're just giving this guy another chance? Or is it one of those, hey, we're in a lot, we know he helps us win football games, and so guys are able to turn their head the other direction?
Probably a little of both. I mean, that happens in every NFL locker room. What do you think Bieniemy's going to say to him next time he sees him?
Somebody's like, he needs to just live in his spare bedroom.
Live with EB?
Yeah. Look, EB's going to, I'll say this, EB on the field is going to work him hard. Like
that's probably what he needs.
And he's gonna, you know how this is, idle hands, right? So like, I imagine if you're this, you're like, I'm going to try to make you the number one receiver in the NFL. I'm going to give you so much work you can't possibly imagine this is how hard I need you to work.
Right.
But it is. I'm going to give you stuff to do off the field to work on getting better.
Football 100%, 24/7.
Keep the man busy is probably the best method at this point. Yeah, other than saying, hey, can you just find a different friend group? Because whoever's in your circle, they're not like if Alex was going to go to jail for 30 days and missed the show for 30 days because he couldn't stay off weed, and I saw him hitting the pin, I'd be like, Alex, be cool.
But again, it's not even the issue. The issue is not that Rasheed Rice smokes weed. That's not the problem.
I'm just saying,
the problem is he violated his probation. Again, I know for a fact there are other guys on the team, plenty of them, that smoke weed. That's not the issue.
Travis and Jason once said that they think it's 90% of the NFL.
That
That's
is not
right.
the issue. No, it's that under the terms of his probation, you can't smoke weed.
Yeah, I have no problem with him doing that. It's just, you have
Those were the terms you agreed to.
Terms that you have to adhere to, or else you're not going to play or get paid.
Correct.
I mean, that must have been one hell of a strain to cost
better
you
be.
$10 million or whatever his big contract would have been.
It better be. Yeah, we played LaShawn McCoy. Did you hear LaShawn McCoy? He has his podcast. They were talking about the Rasheed Rice.
Oh, I didn't hear
I
it.
never personally smoked weed before. A lot of my homeboys did. They must love it, man. If you go smoke weed to go for 30 days in jail, you must really love it. Him and Josh Gordon should throw a party, home. It should be puff, and party should be called Puff Puff Pass. If you can smoke weed and go to jail for 30 days, you must really love it, home. You know what I mean? Like, you must really love that.
No
dog.
blunt is worth 30 days in jail to me, bro. That's crazy.
And I don't know what type of brand. I know it's a lot of different brands. It's a Cali, wherever it's from. 30 days worth? In 30 days, he going to be back to play with the Chiefs, right? He already know the offense. He know Andy Reid. And Andy Reid knows brothers like to smoke that green. He knows that. And he understands that. But who don't understand that is Rasheed Rice. You cannot smoke the green because you are in trouble, son. So when I look at this young brother, I'm like, damn. Yeah. Put myself in his shoes. Okay. Phone ring. Ring, ring. Yo, what up? What you doing? I'm just relaxing. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you can't smoke. I know. If you get caught, it's 30 days.
Jeez.
We did learn as a part of that, Rob, that Ricky Williams, his weed brand is called Heisman.
Yes. High, spelled obviously different.
H-I-G-H.
Yeah. I mean, that's creative. That's great.
All-time name. Incredible name. I give them a ton of credit. Are you enjoying the whiskey, at least?
It's very good.
Good.
Thank you.
I gave Drew his. He was a little behind us. I felt bad.
What do you think?
It was good. I've had whiskey before on the show.
No, we believe you. It's just that normally you're not.
It's sponsored by Jay Rieger. We've certainly served him whiskey, but I think normally in cocktail form. But I know that you like just like a good glass of whiskey.
Straight whiskey, yes. I would say it's good.
I was catering it to our guest. I guess I should ask our guest next week what kind of drink
Coors Light or whatever beer you want to put in a cup. This is way better than that.
Okay, there you go.
There you go. Look at Drew.
How about that endorsement?
I told you guys in college I would have like the Svedka, just straight Svedka.
It's like an old Russian guy.
Svedka.
just
I've
drinking
had Svedka.
Just drinking
strawberry
vodka
lemonade
on the rocks.
Yes.
We drink
Anyways.
Ice House.
Okay.
Because it was cheap.
There you go.
Burnett's.
And then Trash Can Punch.
Yeah.
From the fraternity
McCormick
house.
And we had Admiral Nelson instead of Captain Morgan in college. Oh, yeah.
Admiral Nelson?
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
Horatio Nelson?
Yeah,
Oh, my
Admiral
God.
Nelson instead of Captain Morgan. That was the cheap stuff. All right, up next, let's get back into what else is going on this weekend in sports. And also, I do want to get Rob Collins' perspective on some terrible news in the NASCAR world. We'll do that next here on Cody and Gold.
You're listening to Cody and Gold.
We're going to try to tickle your tonsils.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Dispatch, this is Mindy at CM Mo's & Son.
Putting off fixing electrical problems in your home can be a real hazard. Visit cmmosandson.com to take care of your electrical problems today. CM Mo's & Son, license 202058.
Chris DeGaulle lied about President Trump.
Donald Trump's not a conservative. I will not support Donald Trump.
And now he's lying about Nathan Willett.
Woke Willett spent $631,000 of your money on transgender outreach programs.
Those are flat-out lies from Chris DeGaulle, who attacks President Trump.
And here's the proof.
He voted against trans surgeries and trans bathrooms. Nathan Willett is a Christian, conservative, and seventh-generation North Missourian.
I'm Nathan Willett. I'll fight for President Trump, and I approve this message. Paid for by Nathan Willett for Congress.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? During the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, now through June 15th, new customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi, just $50 a month for 5 years. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. Plus, add one line of Xfinity Mobile Select and you can save an average of $60 a month over Verizon and AT&T. You can even try it free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Savings based on 1 gig internet and 1 mobile select line compared to similar Verizon and AT&T plans over 5 years. After 12 months, regular rates apply to mobile select. Xfinity internet required. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable.
Get everything you need for the entire job delivered. From lumber to drywall, flooring, and fixtures, get it all delivered from the Home Depot. With same day, next day, or any day delivery. Staying on track and on time is crucial to your job. That's why it's our job to get you what you need when you need it. We deliver the supplies. You deliver the results. Brought to you by the Home Depot.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
Shawnee Mission Ford, on a mission to do more. Visit our inventory at ShawneeMissionFord.com.
Hey, it's Gold, and I have exciting news. Ford has announced employee pricing for everyone. Over at Shawnee Mission Ford, you pay what they pay, and you still get the rebates and incentives offered by Ford, along with the top trade-in value from Shawnee Mission Ford, who's on a mission to do more in 26.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Rob Brennan. We hope you're enjoying Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's biggest sporting event. It's presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. New episodes released every Wednesday on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, back here on a Fan Club Friday, brought to you by Jay Rieger & Co. Hope you guys are having a good Friday, getting set for a nice, long holiday weekend. Hopefully for a lot of people, it is Memorial Day weekend. You got any, Rob Collins in the studio, you got any plans this weekend?
Work, man.
Just working?
We work all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TV, man. They don't give you any of those.
No, nights,
holiday,
weekends, holidays, man. That's nothing. No, we Indy 500 obviously is Sunday on Fox 4, so that'll be fun. And then Memorial Day, we'll be there. Baseball, NCAA's announced.
Yeah.
We'll find out if Kansas hosts.
KU, they got a semifinal coming up.
Yeah, tonight.
Okie State.
Right. I think if they get to the championship game, they'll host.
You think they have to get to a championship game to get a regional?
I think so. I mean, I think
they're
on
good
the
for
cusp
regional.
right
I don't
now.
know if they're going to get have the right seating for a super regional.
Yeah, I think they're on the cusp right now.
Okay.
I
saw Jeff Passan write about Kansas baseball.
Well, because
that's how good it's been going.
Because Fitzgerald's done a great job, back-to-back Coach of the Year.
Yes.
Hopefully they can keep him there. I'm a little worried about that, but JUCO market has been where they've lived, and it's
He
worked
said
out.
that's part of it. It's because the shrinking of the minor leagues have made the way college baseball looks a little bit different, and because of that, the JUCO market's been a little more ripe for the picking for a lot of these.
Well, and there's a lot
coaches.
of heavy hitters at Johnson County Community College.
That
Cavaliers,
team's playing well.
They set
Are they still
records
undefeated
for
or
home
something,
runs
or?
this year. Yeah, I believe they're 62-3
Crazy.
this season.
Yeah.
Undefeated in the conference.
The Cavaliers.
They're hitting so many home runs. They're playing in the JUCO championships in Colorado, which is perfect for them, man. Launch some balls, baby.
Man, yeah.
They don't have a humidor for the JCC championship.
They do not. They
Y'all
do
can
not.
just go out the building.
You mentioned the Indy 500 and obviously auto racing, but yesterday Drew was texting us about just the awful news on the NASCAR side of things with Kyle Busch, just 41 years old, passing away. I said earlier in the show, I think from a local perspective, I think you probably have covered more NASCAR than anybody else, certainly in TV in town.
Yeah, probably so.
We know you were just at the races a couple weeks back and talked to Michael Jordan. Did you ever have a chance to talk to Kyle Busch?
Yeah, several times. I mean, everyone who covers NASCAR will tell you that they're the most fan and media friendly organization.
Very much so, yeah.
I mean, think about it. You're walking on their field of play 5 minutes before they race.
Man.
You think the Chiefs will let you walk on midfield 5 minutes before the kickoff?
Nope, they kick you off about 2 hours before.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And these guys, they understand how fans and media relate to each other and how that draws in the audience. NASCAR drivers, all race car drivers, and Drew will attest to that pretty much, are very open to talking to anyone, almost about anything. And they're mostly all candid. And that's what I liked about Kyle Busch. You knew exactly where he stood on and off the track. The nickname Rowdy, of course, he lived up to it. Got it from Rowdy Gaines, the movie that you've probably seen, Days of Thunder.
For sure.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies.
Yeah. So it's just unbelievable. When it happened, Drew texted me, and I was like in shock, no words. I just couldn't believe it. I knew he had been sick because we heard at Watkins Glen when he came on the radio and said he needed a shot for some sinus issues.
Just because somebody's having sinus and pneumonia, like you don't think they're
I mean at 41,
die.
And then he had trouble with the simulator and had to go to the hospital. The family release said severe illness. So we don't know. I'm not going to speculate because it's none of my business. But it's just unbelievable shock that could happen to a 41-year-old guy who, quite arguably, was the best driver of our generation. 234 wins across all 3 series is by far the most by any driver.
I guess he's got the reputation of like, if it's got 4 wheels and a steering wheel, he can win it. Because he was like a big time truck series guy.
Yeah.
And
well, he won the truck race, the last one they had.
Yeah. And Drew was telling us that like people were like, he could have done IndyCar if he wanted. Like if it had wheels, he could drive it.
He almost tried to. It was so. There's one driver this year, Catherine Legg, who's trying to do the double. Tony Stewart's the only driver to basically. They race the Indy 500, do all 500 miles. They get on a PJ, fly to Charlotte, do all 600 miles in the same day. It's only been done fully twice.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch was in line potentially to do it, but it never came through.
Kyle Larson's tried it a couple times too.
Kyle Larson has tried, and it hasn't panned out.
Yeah, I mean that is crazy. You think about Indy, you have basically a 2.5 hour window to get from Indy to Charlotte after the race.
And so you have to leave.
So the race,
you show up and hop in the car and go essentially right away.
I mean the race has to end on time at Indy. It usually gets rain delayed. Drew can tell you he's probably been there a million times from Indiana, but its timing is so crazy. You get on a helicopter from Indy, go to the airstrip, private jet
That's crazy.
to private airstrip,
Private car,
helicopter to Charlotte.
And still, so it's all going to line up perfect. We saw when you were at the race a couple weeks ago, you got to talk to Michael Jordan?
Yes.
First time?
No, I've talked to Jordan before in a locker room scrum scenario. Because I used to work in Rockford and Champaign, and we covered the Bulls when they were making their run in the 90s, the second three-peat. But no, it was cool because I saw him take the flag when Reddick won. He went down to the stripe. I'm sure you all saw the video. He's celebrating. But where after the race, NASCAR gives you 3 or 4 guys right there. They call it the bullpen. The guys who finished in the top 5 other than the winner, they're sitting there to talk to you. And Denny Hamlin was there, and Bubba Wallace was there. And, of course, they're 23-11 Racing. So they were talking to each other. And I saw Jordan. I'm like, I guarantee he's coming over here to talk to these guys. So I just stood right next to Bubba. And
I'll just wait.
I'm waiting. And then he talked to Bubba, did their thing, and I just put a mic in his face.
Nice.
You got to be – I've heard with him before, it's like – you got to do it with some swagger or confidence. Like you just like put the mic in front and be like, "We're talking."
Start asking the questions.
Because if you're like, Mr. Jordan, sir, he's like,
I didn't ask.
The hell out of here.
You start asking the question.
Yeah. So
you just start
luckily
talking.
he gave me 2. I mean, he started walking away and he answered my follow-up because he saw other media members coming. He's like, I'm not doing this all day.
But you got the 2. Who cares?
And then the VP of communications for NASCAR came over and he said, that was pretty cool. He said, you're the first affiliate he's ever talked to. And I was like,
let's go.
There you go,
I don't
Rob.
know if that's true, but hey, I'll take it.
You got to do it with, like, if you're like, Mr. Jordan, sir, may I put, never, ever going to talk to the guy.
And I had a suit coat on and a button-up shirt. So
and
it
a
wasn't
camera,
like,
and you're just like, here's a microphone. How do you feel?
No, I told my camera guy, Jerry, I'm like, just roll right now, just in case. Roll in, and then bam. So it worked out pretty well.
That's very cool.
Devastating news, man. I mean, I'm sure we'll get more information on why.
Yeah.
Not that it really matters, but it's just devastating. So
no, it doesn't change. Sadly, it doesn't change the tragedy part of it by any means. Really sad. I mean, that was surprising because I mean, he's still an active racer.
I mean, he's driving last week and 41 years old. And I know you guys may not have been to a lot of races. I know Drew has. When Kyle Busch came out, you would never hear a louder chorus of boos, and he loved it. He loved the villain guy.
You need villains.
He would always pump up the crowd and stuff.
Yeah, and
I think you'll even attest to this too, Rob. I don't know what it's like when you're interviewing the drivers themselves, and I've been a fan of the sport my whole life. It feels like Tony Stewart was a villain and he was great for the sport. Kyle Busch, I think, was great for the sport because he spoke his mind. Like Carson Hocevar is kind of that way as well. But the sport is not necessarily full of those guys much anymore. So his presence, I think, alone in the drivers' meetings, as well as just being a person that people can go back and forth with, will be missed for sure.
And if you think about it, what sells in NASCAR? Obviously, people on the track getting into accidents and personalities. I mean, it's hard to sell. Watch people turn left for 4 hours. Right. You got to have melodrama. You got to have heroes. You got to have villains.
It should be a little bit like wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what NASCAR understands. And that's how they reach the audience. Because, I mean, how many people do you see wearing NASCAR shirts of their favorite driver, and if you say something otherwise, they're going to throw down. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So, and it's like Kyle Busch was a love or hate guy. You either loved this dude or you hated him, but you damn sure respected his ability behind the wheel.
Yeah, he could race. I mean, just still.
So awful news yesterday. Kyle Busch passing away at the age of 41. I'm assuming NASCAR will, this weekend will.
Yeah, I mean, it's already a somber weekend because Memorial Day, but there'll be a lot of tributes. There have been over the last 12, 14 hours from other drivers, and I'm sure they'll have some pre-recorded things to share.
Looking ahead a little bit to, I guess, 20-something days away, we got the World Cup coming to Kansas City.
Heard.
Yeah, I know. You might be a little busy with that, Rob.
we won't ask you to come on the show for those 3 days.
Yeah, that's going to be available.
Busy month of June for everybody. We were discussing, as I'm sure you've seen a lot of the headlines about just the build-up for it, and is it going to be a letdown? Is it not? The hotel mess that's going on. What do you make of some of the, I guess, the reporting that's been coming out around, FIFA and how they've handled these hotels, and now feels like there's a bunch of hotels that have vacancy that were blocking off rooms, and now they're left with a bunch of open rooms and maybe not going to have a chance to fill them.
Yeah, the hard part is this: you don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, something of this magnitude has never been here, especially with 4 teams calling the Metro their home base. So, I mean, how do you even make projections like that?
I mean, they guessed, and they always aim high, but
sure.
It is difficult to know. I don't know how you begin to start. Like you said, this many home bases, and World Cup doesn't usually come to a city this size.
Right.
We are in a very unique position.
Mm-hmm.
And Kansas City's been punching above its weight sports-wise for some time as far as things they get to host. But I'm fearful it's going to, be a little less than – because you hear 650,000, you're like, this town's just going to be busy for a month straight. But it's stretched out.
I don't know how they're going to count that, but I don't believe it'll be that many people.
No, I
It's
don't
just
think
my
so
personal feeling based on nothing other than my opinion.
In fairness, hotel prices have come down a little bit.
Yeah, well, the ticket price FIFA and the games are ridiculous.
It is, but those are coming down too, though.
Well, good.
Yeah, so Alex and I were looking earlier today, you can get into Argentina game for less than $1,000 for the first time.
Yeah.
So the price
still though
it's
less than
I know, but
800 right now.
It was like 12, 13 for a long time.
No, I'm sure if it pans out.
Trust me, they've gone down because I have tickets to 3 of the matches, and I'm
really?
selling 2 of them, and the price keeps going down as I'm trying to sell a few.
I was asking myself, would I pay if I didn't have a pass to go?
I'll pay, but in my position, I'll pay to go to I'm going to be at Algeria.
Yeah.
I can't pay as much as if they get the quarter here and it's
Messi
and Ronaldo, and I want to see that.
You're going to have to fork over $10,000.
I don't have that. They don't pay us that good in radio.
Yeah,
I can't afford.
It's not that Fox 4 TV money, baby.
No. I wouldn't pay it. I wouldn't pay.
It's just hard because
$800 to go.
I also know that my kids are
but
7.
I'm cheap, so
my kids are 7 and 9, and even they'll never live long enough to see a World Cup game in Kansas City again. So it does feel like when Alex plays, it's very much once in this lifetime's opportunity.
Yeah. I just
to
want to go
watch
to the
a
one
World
match.
Cup game in your city. So it's I'm gonna have to look from afar unless it's reasonable. But the Algeria one, I can get in for $200.
Austria, Algeria. It's the last group stage match in Kansas City. It's at 9:00 start. And so those tickets you can get in for $200-something.
$220. That's the number I can do.
That seems like the one if you truly, if you're listening, you're like, look, I want to experience, but I'm not forking over $700 or more for a ticket. That feels like the match that I'm not saying $200 is cheap either, but that one seems like all right. You can maybe pull off.
It's doable.
Yeah, you can maybe pull off if you want to experience the World Cup.
I mean, $200 that's cheaper than going to a Chiefs game sometimes.
Sure.
So that I'm not saying it's cheap. It's definitely not cheap, but it's at least a number that you can. You can tolerate.
Yeah.
When you start seeing the figures of $1,500 to go watch Argentina, I'm like,
no thanks. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm jaded because we've had press passes for so long.
I know.
It drives me up the wall that I have to pay for. I know this is a first world problem, and I sound
one's gonna feel bad
I sound
for us
like
at all
an
on
a-hole
this
right
show.
now. But
yeah, I hear you.
Because we're lucky the access we get because of the jobs we have. It's just, when I go to a concert, whatever, I'm like, Man.
I know.
No.
Like Alex and I, we've joked because it makes us look so bad. Someone's like, "Hey man, I got a ticket for the Chiefs game today," and you're like, "Is that number start with a 3? I won't see you there." Wait, is that the 300s? No, thank you.
Yeah, we've been
in the press box eating chicken tenders at halftime.
It's terrible, but it does make you like jaded in kind of a bad way sometimes for sports.
Yeah, it is bad, and I fully admit that. And yeah, anybody listening is like, yeah, tough.
It feels so bad for you, poor souls.
I am intrigued.
That's
also,
the trade-off from working nights, weekends, holidays, and being out there when it's 50 below zero.
There you go. I wonder too. This will probably be more for you. We aren't going to go to these, but I'm assuming you will, or at least maybe Harold or Taylor on your staff as well. But the host sites though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where look, England's not playing a match here, but they're going to be camped in Prairie Village for a month or whatever. What do you think that's going to feel like? Are we going to have just a bunch of England soccer fans just hanging out just so they could watch practice?
I'm sure they will if they're allowed. If they're allowed to watch practice, and they'll camp outside of wherever they're staying, the facilities, just to get a look. I mean, we have reporters assign specific teams as their beat.
Nice.
So we'll have reports from base camps coming up probably pretty soon. We have a wild World Cup Wednesday segment every Wednesday on our 11 o'clock show.
Okay.
So we've had that for the last 3 weeks. We'll have it up to the kickoff.
Can I pitch a feature for Fox 4 that involves Alex and
Dr. Diego Gutierrez is our special insider.
Oh, nice.
So,
okay.
What's your pitch?
Alex and I, we meet up with different fan bases and find out if we can outdrink them as Americans.
Oh.
As Americans.
Be careful who you pick.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, we got to do it for each fan base that's staying in town. So we got 3 to do it. It's a 3-part series.
We got 4.
Or 4. It's a 4-part series. We'll go to the
I think you're in trouble
you guys
with
have no chance against the
or
Dutch.
England. I mean,
no chance against the Dutch. I've been drinking my whole life,
No
Drew.
chance.
No chance.
Not against the Dutch or England.
I've had alcohol
England's
with a Dutchman who lives in Kansas City. He's a professional darts. I'm fine with him.
I would give you Algeria.
Give me Algeria. Who else can I beat? You don't think I can beat the Dutch?
Argentina, right?
Argentina, that's tough. I don't know enough about it to know if I can. That might be a tough game. Drink for drink. 4-part series. Me and Alex versus the world.
Versus
the world.
Cody and Gold versus the world. This summer on Fox 4.
It's just 3 minutes of us going to a pub and then figuring out whether or not we can hang.
I don't know, man. My money would be on the Netherlands.
Absolutely.
My money would be on everyone but Algeria.
Oh, man.
And that's still a wild card. That's still a bit of a wild card, too. You never know.
I know I would lose because I'm a lightweight.
I'm curious. And look, I think it's got to be a mix of alcohol and beer. We got to.
Well, I would definitely lose this
you're
beer.
mixing drinks too?
Well, I think it's like, you got to go drink. You got to have the same kind of drink.
Yeah, sure.
And finally, it can be in their prepreferred drink from their country, if that's fair. So, like, if
you're not helping yourself right now. I mean, I could drink one Guinness and I'd be like, I'm done.
Yeah,
You're like,
I'm not a big
because I'm not a beer guy,
Guinness.
really.
I don't drink beer anymore, really. So I'm more.
Wait, can you taste now?
So it's okay. So
starting to slowly.
I am now. What are we? 2.5 weeks post surgery or something like that. Stints are out. I had a follow up appointment a couple days ago. They did some more cleaning out of stuff in the nose. So this morning, briefly, I finally got a little whiff of the shampoo smell.
Oh,
because I can't smell. So I've been able to taste, but just not full extent.
Sure.
So the smell is like 80% of your taste is smell or whatever.
Right.
So they said it could take a couple months before the smell comes back. But for the first time today, I actually could smell a little bit of like the shampoo, which was that's a big deal.
Sure.
I was like, okay.
Do they believe it's coming back 100%?
They can't guarantee 100%.
Okay.
But they believe the smell will come back. Yes. And the fact that this morning I could smell,
changer.
I could briefly smell like the shampoo.
I mean,
or
that's
I washed my hands.
amazing.
I washed my hands and I could smell like the soap a little bit. Those are the smells that came back that come back first, I guess, or whatever.
Nice.
So yeah, we're on the right track. I feel pretty good. I still have to do like the nasal rinses and stuff, but
sure.
yeah, so much better already. Like airflow. Oh yeah, well it's not. Yeah, it's something similar. It's like this nasal rinse where you just hold the bottle and tilt your head a little bit and.
Oh, I've done the neti pot a few times.
Yeah, I'm sick of the nasal. I'm sick of the nasal rinses already. Rob, I've probably done about 40 of them already.
Yeah.
I'm about done with that. But I still got to do that for another couple months, I think. But it's been
couple months. Oh.
Yeah, because you try to still because it's a 3 month till it's fully healed. You talk about all that.
I
stuff
think I
up
might
there.
need the same thing that you had.
I've run into so many people that have said that. They're like, I think I might need it. People are like nervous about it. I guess it depends how bad your case is. For me, I mainly did it because of the smell thing. But after going through the tests and stuff, they're like, you needed this anyway. My sinuses were, I guess, just all
mine are always
inflamed.
Messed up.
Yes. Turned out I had some nasal polyps too. They got rid of those.
Oh, nice.
And so all of that, like it needed to be done. And yeah, the doctor's been great. And knock on wood, but I think the smell, hopefully a couple more weeks and we'll have the smell back. Yeah.
Texan's got a lot of opinions, by the way. They're talking about beer percentages, 4.5 to 5.9%. They said that you'll be fine there, but the Dutch are probably going to get you.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said the Germans would destroy you. Not competing against the Germans. They're not here. Like, you don't have to tell me the
He's
countries
just talking
I'd
about
lose
the
to.
countries that have base camp here. So Algeria, England.
And look, I'm
Netherlands,
not trying to claim that I'm like from Wisconsin or whatever, and I can just outdrink the world.
Right.
You know, because if
You
if
were
you've been
born and raised in Madison?
Yeah, because if there was ever a world drinking contest, Wisconsin's what's going to keep us.
I've been to several games there. Ooh, Nelly.
They're going to keep us involved.
Yes.
In the circuit. I'm not claiming it's that, but you know, I think we can still get a couple of countries. Me, you, and Rob against the world.
Oh no, I would not be you need to get Binkley instead of me.
I know.
Yeah,
Bink would be all about it.
Bink would be your cleanup hitter.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm excited though to see what this next month will bring when it comes to the World
It should
Cup.
be a lot of fun. I mean, we'll have coverage. We're going to have every one of the USA games, and I believe 60 others. So go to our website.
Yeah.
There's all the information you could ever possibly want to know about the World Cup on our website.
Before we let you go, we had a trash of the day earlier this week, and
boy.
I don't know if you happen to catch it. Sometimes you do. This involved a landlord and a tenant. Let me just play you the news story. This was from maybe a Fox affiliate in Michigan, actually. I believe it might be. Anyway, this is in Michigan. Just take a listen.
Okay.
Their landlord was supposed to be removing dead birds from the attic. Instead, he was giving a lesson on the birds and the bees on camera.
So right now we're kind of standing at the scene of the crime. What did you guys do? Did you clean before you?
Most definitely. My wife, she's germophobic, so I had to most definitely clean it before she even stepped in anywhere in this house, period.
It allegedly happened Monday in Westland while Javon Crawford and his wife were in the hospital with his sick grandma. His wife started getting alerts from their security cameras on her phone.
She just pointed the phone to me, and I seen him just doing what he was doing right here in our house.
Was it live?
It was live footage.
Oh my God.
Time stamped and everything.
Bonnet down, legs up for about an hour.
I'm wondering too if this guy's done this before. He seems so comfortable.
Too comfortable. So I know for a fact that somebody that comfortable, what else could be done?
That landlord has some explaining to do. We tracked him to his Canton Township home.
Is this you, naked in a tenant's home?
What? The Crawfords have handed that X-rated film over to police.
How hard is it going to be next month to cut that check to him?
You know, it's gonna be hard. I'm gonna probably write some languages on the back of the check for him to transfer to him.
Little special memo.
Yeah, special memo. Yeah.
How about that, Rob?
Sounds like the landlord made a deposit.
This guy,
look, he's done this before. Yeah, he was at it for an hour.
What did she say? Bonnet down, legs up?
Yes.
For about an hour?
And for an hour,
to
and
say.
he made a sandwich afterwards. This guy's very comfortable.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Legs up.
Oh.
Bonnet down, legs up.
I'll tell you right now, when I write that check for rent, it's going to be minus couch cleaning and minus the sandwich.
I told Cody I would.
I'm going to put in the memo, hey, I subtracted some of the fees here. I think
break
you'll
the
find
lease.
them
I think you got to break the lease.
Well, I mean, I'm sure the language in the contract, yeah, you're good.
This guy, do you think he does this all the time? Like
I'm sure it's not the first time.
Yeah. We don't know if it was his wife, girlfriend, whoever he was having sex with. I don't know. Bonnet's down.
That's crazy.
That is
Honestly,
nuts.
I know you write your own